Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together!
Yay!
So excited
We're
about
gonna
this.
do it.
Alright, and we've just, I really am excited about this and where the narrative's going, so we're gonna dig right in. Then, with a smile, he slowly fades away. When I open my eyes, I see moonlight painting the unfamiliar bed I'm in with lazy, dreamy striations. Why are we in an unfamiliar bed? How did we end up in an unfamiliar bed?
Because it's Piper's bed.
It's okay.
That would be my guess. Anyway.
Okay, that's like a Rose Papasan chair, okay?
Like,
the types of chairs that are like a big squishy thing, like almost like a beanbag or like a something sort of thing in a like wicker base that's basically like a scoop, that's a Papasan chair.
I didn't know they actually had names like that, so good for you.
I learned that from one of my relatives at one point, and for some reason it has free real estate in my head.
You're like, I'm here, and this
the
is
way
all
this
I'm
one
gonna
is folded
do.
is it literally looks like a rosette with pillows in it, and that's kind of entertaining.
Right.
I sit up, my brain still fogged from my dream, or whatever the hell that was, and I try to figure out where I am. I love the flowers in here, and the lanterns on the wall, but everyone has the exact same windows, and I love that. I'm just very charmed by it.
It's pretty good.
Then, the quiet sound of breathing pulls my attention, and I spot a blanketed figure curled up awkwardly in a chair the other side of the room. They wouldn't even get in bed. It's so cute. Piper's like, I have not broken the bed barrier with you, so I will not assume. And honestly, that's really good.
It's pretty nice.
That's pretty cool.
How friendly.
Piper. I think it's interesting, though, that Piper was like, you are dying of blood loss and trauma. I'll take you to my house instead of to a healer's. Unless we're in Ezra's bedroom and Piper's there. That would be hilarious.
I doubt it. I think we're in Piper's, though, because that would be the only one that would make sense to me. It's kind of like, why Piper over, Ezra? Ezra's a healer.
Ezra is literally the only healer we know.
Uh-huh.
Like, there aren't doctors or medicine people that we are aware of in people who do medicine.
Medicine
Pharmacologists, pharmacists.
They're medicine people.
Oh my god.
Would you like to check out my medicine person?
My apothecary?
That's the one. There we go. An apothecary.
My medicine person.
A healer, okay?
Right.
Oh my god.
That's fine.
Though I loathe to wake her, I drag my aching limbs from the comfort of the bed and tiptoe towards her sleeping form. Only aching limbs. Like, that's the only place you got hurt. Being, like, barreled into your torso didn't hurt you at all.
Nope, not at all.
I place my hand upon her shoulder, but before I can utter her name...
Oh, no!
Oh, what is she even wearing? Nice tattoo, though. She's shot up out of the chair in a flash, her fingers curled tightly around my wrist, teeth bared. So she does wear a bra canonically. It just also provides a very natural boob shape when wearing it. But it looks like it actually doesn't... Oh, that's a fold in the shirt.
Yeah, no, that...
Okay.
But wait, what? Fold in what shirt?
So see this line coming down here? That's actually a shirt fold, and then there's the actual line of the body and bra there.
Oh.
Because at first I was like, wait, what? But see how the like shirt is sort of gossamer, if you will, and has folds in it. Why would you change into that to sleep nervously beside someone's essentially hospital bed?
Also, somebody you don't really necessarily know that well. It just seems strange.
Also, that's
a level of fan. Like, I appreciate fan service, but I also like reasonable fan service.
Right, like maybe your regular clothes are coming loose, or maybe you're wearing a robe because you bathed and then just piled yourself into the chair to watch and fell asleep.
Perhaps.
Like, specifically changing into these clothes feels a little weird after a bloody, messy fight where you cleaned yourself up and then put this on. Mostly, I think it just doesn't smack of like comfy or pajamas to me. Bless you.
That's again what I said. This is strange
Feels
fan
odd.
service to me.
All right, teeth bared.
What the fuck? Whoa, you're awake.
That's so good.
Woo!
You're awake. I offer her a smile, my pulse thrumming wildly against her fingertips. Her fingertips that are still gripping me rather tightly, and since it is my limbs that are hurting, it hurts.
It do a little bit of
Piper. She watches my rapidly numbing fingers wiggle helplessly. Oh, that is a really tight grip, like no blood to the hand at all.
Instant death.
Also, rapidly numbing. Can you see them numbing, or are they turning white?
Or
she just watches the fingers and they happen to be rapidly numbing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Alright, quickly releasing me with a relatively awkward laugh.
Shit. Sorry.
Whoops! You always wake up like that. That's a thing to be aware of if I'm ever in your bed.
You want to be in my bed? Wait, what? You should know not to creep up on sleeping hunters.
Since I've been a hunter for longer than you have.
What?
Why are you telling this to the only other hunter in the game canon?
I mean, it could make sense. Be like, well, it's not my fault. You should know.
No, I know. I just think it's funny to specifically be like, you should know. I'm like, it could be taken a lot of different ways. I just think it's funny.
Oh yeah,
she's right. I should. Except that we didn't sneak up on her. We literally just walked over to her.
Actually, yeah, I'm like, we did not.
You should know better than to sleep deep enough that someone can sneak up on you when they're shambling over blearily after being injured.
Bluebily. Boobily?
Blearily.
Blearily, boobily.
Alright, a quiet moment passes between us, and I can't help but feel elated to see her. To see that she's okay. It's then that I really register where I am. Who stands in front of me? And it takes every ounce of my wavering willpower not to grab her and reel her in, to never let her go again. Are we traumatized, or just excited to see her, or...
Ever again.
I'm not sure what the feels are here, only because I'm not very connected to their relationship yet. I'm expecting more relationship building still.
I need more relationship. It's very important in this particular case.
As if she reads my thoughts.
Oh, what's the matter? You spent 2 whole days unconscious. You should be aware of that. I nurse you back to health, and all you can do is stand there and gawp at me like a fish. Unless it's supposed to be funny. That could be funny. Maybe that the intention is to be funny.
Also, again...
What's the matter? You spent 2 whole days unconscious. I nurse you back to health, and all you can do is just stand there and gawp at me like a fish.
And I get that, but at the same time, I'm also just like... Would we wait... If we woke up with
So
basically
she's been like this for 2 days.
I was gonna say, or she's just been casually changing into her regular clothes because after a day and a half, she's just like, you may never wake up, it's fine. I'm surprised that we haven't been moved to like some kind of a facility, or that, you know, August isn't worried about us, or things like that, or going, did you guys defeat the creature, and then what happened, and oh, you know, a hunter is down, we need to do something. There's no procedure, I'm taking them to my house.
Oh, but you know, we already know that. Because we literally don't do roll call. They just sort of go, you're expendable, so it doesn't matter. We don't pay attention when hunters go missing.
So what happened is August already wrote another letter to someone else saying they should come take over the job.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Harry who did it, not August.
Oh, right. And so
Harry was like, I don't know where they are, so...
Time to call in another one.
I need another one who's just as dumb. It's really important. Where's the love?
Calling in all the thembos he can find.
Please help me.
Kiss her, embrace her. Well, we wanted to embrace her, so let's embrace her. If we can't hug and kiss at the same time, which is what I would honestly do if they're in the mood that they're describing. If Uwu is in that place of I'm just desperately happy to see you despite my aching and my confusion with my dream/vision and the fact that the last thing I remember is being basically toppled by this creature that I then killed violently. If the oh my god, I just want to hold you so bad, I would think embrace her.
Please, it's really important.
Either I get to kiss you and I can't embrace you, or I get to embrace you and I can't kiss you.
You gotta pick one.
No.
Just one.
You know what? My face and arms work at the same time. I don't know about you.
What are you talking about? I am just completely unable.
Only one or
Only
the other.
One or the other.
All right.
That is how I exist as a character, and next time I write a character, that is all that's going to happen, is going like, I can only do one thing at a time. That will happen, and everyone will suffer for it, and they'll be like, why did you do this? You'll be like, because I was bored. It's really important that you need to realize that what I have is a processing disorder where I cannot do multiple things at once, which actually does happen for some people. They're really like, I cannot track things. So I'd be like, I'm not being unreasonable, but this is totally fair. And everyone will be like, why? And they're like, because.
So
it happens.
I cannot hold and hug while smooch because that's too many things to do at once.
There's too many.
Without waiting for me to respond past a sly smile, Piper fists the front of my shirt, yanking me close and winding her arms around my neck.
So we don't get to touch her, Piper gets to touch us.
I embrace her, and by that I mean allow her to grab you and forcefully slam you into herself. Because that's what I'm hearing.
What is with the interesting level of like, okay, so I've had this curious question hanging around the back of my brain, honestly, going like, why is Piper so physically aggressive?
I was wondering that myself.
Like, and I'm not saying that there aren't, like, characters that do that, but it seems weirdly artificial and incredibly, like, pointedly the same behavior every time. And I have found that to be annoying, even in regards to, basically, dude characters who do the same behavior over and over again. And you're kind of like, this feels a little bit Like, you can't... you
have no diversity. But what I was going to say is it keeps feeling like Piper keeps sort of stealing our lines. It seems like recently, as our relationship has developed with Piper, that we'll choose a thing of us do this, and instead what happens is she does thing that results in that. So it's like we're losing our agency to Piper based on the choices of the game, is the feeling I'm getting.
Yeah.
And without waiting for me to... Let's see. Piper fists the front of my shirt, yanking me close and winding her arms around my neck. Do I then embrace her? I bury my nose in her hair, breathing her in. She smells sweet, peppermint, like a little slice of heaven. So we don't actually embrace her.
Some people hate the smell of peppermint, but I'm glad that our character likes it.
We're not a mouse.
That is really good. We are the true monster.
We're the
monster mouse.
We're not a mouse. Okay, so, in case you don't know, in general, mice...
I'm gonna die. Okay, excuse
What?
me.
You need to blow your nose?
I need to put stuff in my eyes because my eyes are starting to itch like crazy because I made a mistake and I moved books.
Oh, so my friend is suffering from dust, and I'm going to go on a segue while they walk away for a second. Hopefully all of you will still join us for this. So basically, with mice, sometimes they say one of the natural repellents for mice is the smell of peppermint. And so you can use like peppermint extract or peppermint oil or whatever to put around, your space of living, and it's supposed to chase mice away because they find it to be repugnant. So that's what that statement was. But also, there are some types of magical creatures that are repelled by specific things, especially in like classical fae mythology and such, and or legends, where obviously there's a whole like iron and such like that, and sometimes it's silver and various things like that, but sometimes it can just be a specific scent or smell, the whole garlic thing, which applies to vampires. And so I think it would be interesting if with all the mixes of everything they've poured into you, you just have a massive aversion to one random smell.
Right.
Like, and or hunters, in the same way that in our last stream we talked about potentially having some kind of basically an adverse or allergic reaction to a magical experience, such as if you've taken a potion that it might just also give you a rash or something, even if it does make you badass and powerful for a little while.
Right.
That you can have an experience where if they're dumping all of this magical creature blood into their hunters to make them into sort of a soft chimera, if you will, that there could be an experience of going, every one of you develops a weird specific tick from each of them, except for it's none of their known weaknesses, because all of those have already been accounted for. It's something more subtle.
Right.
And that would be, I would find that interesting.
I also find it to be really interesting where everybody likes going, yeah, no, I'm really super powerful, like, my sight's better, my hearing's better, my vision, my all my senses basically are improved, but then nobody ever wants to go, okay, well, if they're really powerful, you have to consider that you're going to most likely going to have, say, for example, like a dog has a pretty good sense of smell, especially compared to a human, much better sense of smell, right?
Right.
And they usually have a pretty strong initial reaction to something that smells just really strongly. It's just like this, whoa, what was that? And then they'll be like, oh, okay. But like, so you never have the character go, whoa, that was really strong, and then be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it would be interesting, actually, if you have super senses, and so you have an aversion to strong smells unless, like, it's necessary kind of thing.
Right. Or, again, you just adapt to it because that's how people work. We adjust to strong smells all the time. So
that's what I mean, to sudden strong smells.
Oh, yeah, sudden strong smells?
And just way more than anyone else in the room. You're just like, whoa. All right.
Can you imagine, though, a whole group of, like, professional hunters just sitting there, and then they all just jerk because somebody walks by who has, like, an incredibly powerful perfume.
Who's just pouring
and there's
perfume
this,
on
you watch
themselves.
this reaction go across the entire workroom, basically, where this one person walks by, and they just this, and then it just, somebody next, and you could just see it travel.
This wave of all the hunters.
And then there's, like, and then the calm, settles on the other side as it, returns, and everybody goes, oh, okay, I know what that is.
I know what that is. That'd be fascinating. When she pulls away, we really literally didn't get to hug her.
We didn't.
Oh my god, they took it away from us. That was the option we chose.
I'm like, why do you do... That's again where I'm like, why is Piper... I guess it is aggression, but it's the only way that I can think of it. It's just being like, Piper really is just taking our... Like, the way that they have written Piper just takes our interests away, which isn't bad, necessarily, because it's nice to have a character that actively goes, I'm interested in you. But it feels sort of weird where it's like the game goes, we will give you a choice, but then you don't actually get to choose the choice that you've chosen. And then I imagine, honestly, it's like, what if the other option actually turns into you kiss her and she kisses you?
Yeah, and
I'm like, so you're literally going
myself.
that no matter what, you don't get to make...
Like, you're not actually choosing...
A gesture towards the character. Where is the hugging? I need so much hug.
Where the hugging... Okay, so I was going to say, that would be an interesting thing, though, if basically you're not choosing for yourself. You're choosing for the game.
Ooh.
So maybe the options in some cases aren't choosing for what does your MC do. They're choosing for what happens in the game. That sounds wild.
Well,
and
it also
hard to keep
seems
track of.
weirdly inconsistent because I've noticed that actually even remember like in the Arcana where it'll be like this is a thing that will happen and then like somebody else does it or whatever else just in any of the other games and you kind of go, why would you say that I have a choice elsewhere? And then when we get here, I no longer am allowed to have a choice. It's just a thing that I get to decide which one's going to get inflicted upon me. Kind of.
The hugging is more of an asexual option for the player. Potentially.
Why is hugging considered less sexual?
I was just saying, not for me, but that's okay. I mean, not if like
at least that might be also based on your interpretation too. And I apologize, that was not me going, you need to have the answer. I'm just kind of like, that is actually a good point. A lot of people have been like, why the less horn option? Like we've actually had people question us in other playthroughs that we've done of other games, going like, why would you do this less basically horny option? And going like, it didn't seem like the character that they'd written was actually really interested in it.
See, and most of what we're going after is basically we said we would hug, and instead she hugged us. I was just saying, but also like I don't know, like there's been just very affectionate, non-sexual kissing as well. And if it's shorthand in games that kiss is sexual and hug is not, that's something I actually haven't picked up on yet. Well, so that would be good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, well, and that would also be a thing probably to teach your audience that you consider all kissing to be sexual and all hugging to be less
sexual. Because I was
asexual.
Because I have kind of wondered about the couple of options of kiss her or hug her, or just let it go, or whatever it is, and not knowing what basically they were driving for in that case, of going would it seem like this would be a time that my character would think to kiss her, or if they're asking, and if they're specifically asking, are you horny for her right now, that would be a different way to think about it.
There's also the thing, though, that actually to consider, that within certain parts of even just the world globally, not every culture kisses.
No.
It's actually really kind of, as far as I understand, it's more like a European or American thing to do, like, and that includes Canada, just being like, there's a lot of obsessive kissing, and in other cultures, they're kind of like, that's really fucking weird. So it's interesting that dichotomy would come up anyway, because they'd be like, why would you kiss?
Well, I mean...
You sort of like, you kiss children because...
This is written by, white people.
Right?
Who are kissing.
Right? Or basically someone from a particular cultural background. But that is actually something that I think is actually really kind of cool, and I wish more people would play with that in games, of going like, kissing doesn't have to be sexual.
Additionally, someone grabbing you and slamming you against their body and then embracing you can be extremely sexual.
Yes.
All right. When she pulls away, Piper exhales a sharp laugh, her eyes shining in the almost darkness as she tips her chin to meet my gaze. Wait, so we're taller than her, or like she's looking? That just implies that she could be looking down or up. It's right.
She tips her chin. So tipping is either she looks down or she looks up.
Right.
Tipping, I've always heard contextually go up though.
I would say usually it's up, but they don't specify. So I think they're actually trying to allow you here to have the height of the character you want, any height except the same height as her. Because if they would say she tips her chin up or she tips her chin down, then it implies your character is either taller or shorter.
I still think that they think that everybody's basically taller than Piper. I don't know why, but I think the tipping in this case is more about her looking up at you.
Okay, I just have found that in this game they've specified the MC's height a lot less. Like
I'm not saying that it hasn't.
And I think it's nice. But I think it's really good that basically here, even if context, kind of implies that tip up, it's not there, so it could be either direction depending on the height you imagine your character.
Right?
Unless you imagine them the same height as Piper.
Right? I guess also the other thing, too, that I find to be, like, you embrace someone. Okay, so, I've read, like, a ton of books, and I cannot tell you the amount of times where they say, embrace person equals fade to black because you go bone.
Oh my god.
Embracing is not just specifically a, like, non-sexual, like it's very much for that polite thing of walking around going, you embrace this person because you're gonna go bone them.
Right.
And I just, like, I find that to be funny of going, like, well, there's kissing. We could be like, I will awkwardly kiss your cheek, maybe. Like, because it doesn't say what kind of kissing it is. It just says kiss or embrace. What do those mean?
What kiss?
Anyway, I was worried about you, annoyingly.
It's bothersome to care about people. I hate it.
Damn it.
I sigh of feigning indifference. Why would we do... I guess it's because that's supposed to be the in-jokes between us. If we both pretend like we don't care about each other. But there wasn't... really quite an establishing shot.
build up for
enough
this?
building. We didn't get brought in on this in-joke. We're having to learn it now.
It's him.
I should hope you were. I nearly died, you know. I imagine, based on the ghost vision I had.
Right.
Then I lean in and whisper, didn't I? She swats my chest, and I do my best to pretend it didn't hurt. Okay? It did.
If not for Ezra, you would have. A wound like that is a death sentence. So lucky that we know the best healer in Eskria, right?
A wound like what? What kind of a wound do we have?
I mean, you could barely keep track of the fight scene, so I don't even know what kind of wounds we have. Also, I'm kind of entertained that she actually hits you in the chest, because I can't tell you, even when I've been around people where, you know, you just kind of likely whack them, it's not like you're like, I'm like, is there a... I don't know. I'm having a weird, like, would you just whack someone in the chest if they'd have tits? Socially, I feel like that would be inappropriate.
I mean, every time I've ever seen anyone smack someone in the chest, no matter what they're equipped with, it's always been a little awkward.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's dude trying to, you know, smack somebody's pecs or what have you, it always just seems like an awkward gesture. Like, to me, that scans of, this is an awkward, I don't know what to do, darn you, kind of thing.
It sounds very Cinderella, like, gesture, too.
I think it's interesting, though, of going, yeah, so I guess I either you've been moved here while you were knocked out, or I took you to, or I took you here and then went and got Ezra, or something like that. Anyway, what kind of a wound did we get?
I would love to know.
I contemplate that statement for a moment, fumbling to reach beneath my shirt, to press my hand to the place where I so vividly remember blood spilling against my fingertips.
Which is somewhere, everywhere.
Somewhere under your shirt.
Honestly, though, it was probably a place where you would die slowly, so that they would have enough time.
It's a gut wound.
It's a gut wound.
It's always
gut
a
wounds
gut
are
wound.
terrible, and they talk about actually how people die way too fucking slowly from gut wounds, and it's terrible.
Yeah, if you're ever doing, like, author research, like all of us casually do to make our search histories look like we're horrifying murderers.
It's true.
I was gonna say, then there's an experience of going, like, gut wounds can sometimes take a couple of days to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's pretty much like nightmare
They're
fuel.
big and they're bloody, but also I love where people are just like, you want to go for, like, big and bloody? You'd be shocked how much, like, tiny cuts on people's faces just bleed.
Head wounds. Head wounds bleed like crazy.
Yeah, and so that's actually one that a lot of people have been very confused by in terms of, like, media portrayal, because they go, what? But it was a tiny thing. It's like, it's because you have so many veins in your face, in your head, because you have your brains up there. Excuse me?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean...
All right.
I don't have a brain, so...
Where vividly
if
remember,
I only had a brain.
blood spilling against my fingers. You mean also from your ears, I guess?
I guess.
I guess everyone's ears are fine.
Everyone's ears are perfect.
I also think it's interesting that we're not, like, inspecting Piper at all.
Mm.
Like, the tone of the scene of, like, the priorities is kind of throwing me off. Because it's like, I'm really excited to see you. Now we're gonna make a couple of jokes like we're not really excited to see each other. And then kind of be like, well, with a wound like that, and good thing we know the best healer in all of Eskria, but being like, we're not talking about what happened at all. And we're also not getting lost in each other. It feels like we're kind of, like, awkwardly going, and now we'll just do talking, you know?
Uh-huh.
The way you do when you're suddenly in a very intimate situation with someone that you don't actually know that well, even if you really like them.
Yeah, which is fine. We can have complete awkwardness.
I just think that's interesting.
More explicitly clear that it's awkward. So it's a thing that I've had difficulties with in regards to lots of games and even stories themselves, where they don't convey their tone very well sometimes when people are talking. And so it's something you really have to spend a lot of time going back and rereading the story itself to try to understand the tone they're going for. Because sometimes the author doesn't realize that they're not conveying emotion. And like either like through the tone of voice that they're using, or even the way that they're writing the sentences, they can be really different based on the person who's coming to the book.
Additionally, for me, when I read games on my own, since I tend to have a slower reading pace than a lot of people, I tend to get a very different emotional pacing experience. Some authors write so that basically things only hit in an intense fashion if you read them very quickly.
Yeah.
And when you read them slowly, it's completely different.
Oh, and if you want to ever ruin books, my lovely people who are watching here, and also my friend, I've mentioned this to my friend.
And some of them only go the other way.
An audiobook And if you can put it up to actually a higher, like probably about the fastest speed, basically, you can tolerate and still understand it.
Like
you
1.5
will
maybe.
ruin most books because you will also realize sometimes just how quickly, like, either you filled in the gaps yourself in regards to writing, or actually sometimes I've even noticed where authors don't realize that they literally made a point like 5-10 pages ago, and then they reiterate it or they completely forget they made the point. And you are kind of like, what happened to that thing? So if you want to, like, screw with a lot of stories, you can actually put books on audiobook and just listen to them and be like, oh!
It's an interesting test of, like, pacing and story to read them extra fast as well. All right, Piper watches me with a raised brow, smiling to herself when I find nothing but smooth skin, not even a scratch. But my limbs are hurty.
I have
and my chest is hurty.
I have the sore.
I owe Ezra my thanks, it would appear. Why are we sore then?
I grew back. Because tension. So that would make sense to me. So, like, if your body's all, like, especially, like, I've been hurt pretty bad before, even only mildly, but you're just kind of like, it really does. You'd be surprised how much tension your body, like, just basically seizes up with. So you have a lot of muscle.
While we're passed out, we've been really, really tightly clenched, do you think?
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
No, that's what you're expecting they're trying to communicate.
That's what I'm thinking, at least, because I've heard also Wow. Well,
I
careful.
got cold.
Okay, I support you. I'm just like, just be careful because the crackly crack can happen, and then
That's
it will
true.
go through the earphones, and it hurts.
Okay.
But
anyway.
yeah, so I've especially because my dad's a doctor. I remember hearing a lot of stories. Actually, people would be like, they were completely unconscious, and then they get up and they're like, I am so sore.
Okay.
Right? And you're just kind of like, my whole body feels like I've been hit. And it's like, yeah, because you have a lot of basically body tension typically. And so you're trying to literally move to stretch things out, get things moving.
So even though you've been seemingly like a rag doll because you've been passed out, that's not been what's going on the inside.
And there's also the fact that, like, going to a complete ragdoll state to trying to get things to move again can be that thing of going, now I have to apply tension to something that has been so slack it hurts because it's not used to carrying that weight anymore.
Even after just 2 days?
Yeah, sometimes.
Huh.
But if you knock someone out pretty hard.
Like I said, things I'm not familiar with.
Yeah,
anyway. I owe Ezra my thanks, it would appear. She shrugs.
Shrug. Maybe a fruit basket.
Does he like fruit?
Do we actually have fruit baskets in this world?
I was going to say, is fruit an available thing readily here?
Hang on, and I have a stupid question. Excuse me. When were fruit baskets introduced?
I mean...
When were...
Just because they call it a fruit basket doesn't mean she doesn't mean a basket full of fruit.
No, but I think the gift fruit basket is specifically a thing.
It is.
A gift basket. Yeah, no, I know that.
So yeah, specifically.
I'm pretty sure they've been around for a long time, honestly. But
all right, I exhale sharply, my dream coming crashing down upon me, hitting me like a fully grown chimera, which we've never seen. All right, I take.
And we won't talk about.
I mean, maybe the thing in the forest was a chimera. Technically, we're a form of chimera, so Piper smacking us in the chest is a fully grown chimera.
Hey! Oh, we've been hit by a full... You're right.
It's true.
You look at Piper. Hello, fully grown chimera. Piper.
You look like a fully grown chimera that I want to... Oh.
Aha!
I take Piper's hand and guide her over to the bed, prompting her to take a seat beside me, when I settle upon the mattress.
What's the matter?
I just woke up from a near-death experience.
What? Like, you seem really particular. No, I'm tired.
I'm
sorry.
It's
sore.
Not, I forget. It can't relate to what's actually going on right now. It just happened. It has to be something else.
Oh, right. Of course.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I have a few things we need to discuss. I had a dream. At least, I think it was a dream. Except for I actually think it wasn't a dream. Kind of. Because maybe it was a dream, instead of maybe it wasn't a dream. I also would love it if we commented on her state of undress. And or reacted to it in any way. So we haven't, again, even looked at our stated preferred partner and gone, is she okay? Did you sustain any injuries? How do you feel?
Right? And again, also, what's been going on? Have you talked to anyone? Hey, how's it been?
Do you want to catch me up on the last 2 days?
Right? Also, like... So this is the thing that I think is really weird about stories.
Has Ezra examined the corpse of the monster?
Oh, that's a good question. But also, like, the big thing that I think now that I've had more attention called to it, it is actually bothering me to kind of consider it, is going like, why wouldn't your character for the person that they're interested in not talk about in text of how attractive they find the other character to be.
Or how much they enjoy them styling themselves. Like, there really was she puts her hair up, she takes her hair down, she's wearing this thing, and then it sort of went away.
Yeah, I'm like, that's
and
again
we mentioned the festival outfit, too. But, like, I feel like it would be really good, if we did actually talk about what she's wearing here, and it would make sense. Especially when we've mentioned, like, Finn's fancy dress and stuff like that.
Doesn't just, I don't know, I'm just like, it feels weird.
It does.
Feels
again, it also
artificial.
feels weird that we're not engaging with her at all, which I'm trying to figure out what the authors are sort of suggesting. Like, maybe our character's still really detached, really sort of stuck in the experience of the sort of vision they had, what have you.
Yeah.
Alright, regardless, I found out some things that are going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. In everyone's, actually. Literally, because we didn't like the taste of it. Oh, she laces our fingers together. Still affectionate, even though I suspect she's as terrified as I am. Telling her this, why would she be scared?
Why should she be terrified? Also, why are you terrified? I thought you were just mostly, like, disappointed.
Or sort of confused, like, why did it go this way? I didn't, like, I guess from the flashback experience, dream thing, I didn't get the impression that we were terrified in the moonlit ritual of drinking the blood, only that we were confused of going, wait, that's what it is? Oh my god, we're a goddamn monster too? What? Not like, that is the most horrifying thing I've ever heard, and the tone of voice that I'm going to say this in is going to terrify her as well.
Yeah, like, I don't...
So I'm not picking up on that.
Yeah, I don't get it either. That doesn't... It's okay. Go on.
Terrified. More terror in your voice. Oh, wait,
it's okay. Go on.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. Never mind, I regret it.
You should regret it.
I had a dream. Maybe something more, I suppose. But I saw James, and it felt so real. Like he was right there in front of me.
Oh, James. What did he say?
Tell her about the initiation. Tell her about Harry and James. Okay,
What?
Harry and James isn't what he said. So if we're going to actually answer her question, we'd have to tell her about the initiation.
Was it that Harry and James were secretly married then? Why do we need to tell
But
her
it
about
wasn't a
don't you know-
secret.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, why are we telling you about Harry and James? What is that option for?
I am very interested as a player what that option means, but I feel like as a character we would answer her actual question.
Yeah,
Because we're pretty direct and to the point. We're not very extrapolative as this character.
Yeah, but
given that we don't investigate or...
I also imagine at the same time, too, it is one of those things going like, we're going to give you a couple options, but this one, you're going to get to ask both these questions. And then you go, okay, but why are we telling you about Harry and James? It feels like, hey, so do you know the things that you have on your belt are daggers?
That does feel weird since she's worked literally with both of them. Because
Or she
wasn't she there
about them?
before James died? No, because she was called in after the murder started.
Oh, no. She was there. Yeah, she's totally there. Why
So she would have known both of them.
I'm like, oh, maybe it'll tell us what we're supposed to then tell her.
Anyway,
so
so
one of the things also I dislike is like this level of where sometimes also stories don't feel like they're, you're just asked. It doesn't feel like a natural question because the player is also not really understanding. Going, why would I talk to you about, like in this case, why would we tell her about Harry and James?
Well, and the thing
then
is,
it's like, oh, we're going to tell you that there's something you're going to find out in here. And you're like, why wouldn't my character then either know that / the character is me, or are you saying that I'm just sort of guiding a character around? You've got to pick one.
See, and that's what I was going to say is actually that it sounds like an experience of Uwu is going to break down what they understood about the Harry and James experience, even though in the literal last chapter we didn't seem to understand anything.
Yeah.
Because we didn't seem to understand that Harry was talking, or that James was talking about Harry as spearheading this research and being the problem in, close to home kind of thing.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to tell her about the initiation.
We're going to do it. Tell her about the initiation. That's the only one that makes sense to me so far.
He took me to the academy, the one I grew up in. By the way, since we know very little about you, which one did you grow up in?
Right?
He took me through our initiation. I'd forgotten everything, almost as if my memory had been wiped. Do you remember yours? I would ask.
Right? Because that's exactly what happened. There's no other explanation, unless they thwacked us on the head for good measure after whatever the fuck they did to us.
I guess that's a confirmation that she doesn't remember. I carefully gauged her reaction as my next words spilled from my mouth.
Hang on, I don't really see how those lines follow.
Okay.
Does this... Okay, hang on.
Hang on.
So he took you through initiation. I'd forgotten everything, almost as if my memory had wiped, because that's exactly what happened. There's no other explanation unless they thwacked his head for good measure after whatever the fuck they did to us.
I think basically Piper is assuming it's a universal thing of going, yeah, none of us fucking remember what happened. And it's sort of they're in knowledge together.
Okay.
That is what I'm assuming from it, is basically it's going, I'd forgotten everything. And Piper's being like, of course you did! There's no other explanation. Everyone's forgotten everything, except for she doesn't say that, because she assumes you're so far into the knowledge, I'm speaking to another hunter who knows.
Okay, I'm like, there's something, I don't know, there's something
So
about
that
the way
makes-
that line is just, there's something about that just seems strange. Maybe it would make, also again, maybe it would make more sense if it was out loud.
Maybe. I carefully gauge her reaction as my next words spill from my mouth, tightening my grip on her hand as if I'm scared she might flee. Now, I don't know why we're carefully gauging her reaction.
It's because we don't trust anyone.
I would say, other than the idea that we are suddenly terrified by our knowledge, which I didn't pick up before, and we're afraid she'll be terrified as well, because we really are projecting that she already is terrified.
Right?
The ritual, I take a deep breath. They fed us blood, Piper. Vampire, demon, lichen, fae. That's what made us what we are.
I love the fact, honestly, if you study anything to do with, like, fae and the fairy and any of that stuff at all, half of those things already are considered to be fae.
Also, I was going to say...
It's a little redundant.
Also...
Anyway, I'm fine. It's okay. I'm just like, I know that's a social nitpick thing, and also, like, in this world, they're all separate and very distinct.
Interestingly enough, I was going to say demon and fae, to me, have always been large categories of things, not individual single species.
I was about to say, and there's that too, let alone the fact that, like, people would say that demons actually came from fae.
Some people have said
some
that.
people have said that,
fae
like,
came
culture.
from demons.
Yeah, because that was how Christianity actually demonized, old beliefs, was by saying, look, they're all true, basically, spirits or things of evil. So, and a thing that is evil is a demon. I'm also like, so where are the angels, though? If you have demons, you gotta have angels.
Right? Why don't we have angel blood?
Why does nobody have angel blood? Because we would get too far
into the religious mythos.
No, not just that. It's probably because we would get way too far into Cassandra Clare's rip-off series where she's already
into the Mortal Instruments series.
Yeah, where she's gotten in trouble from other
But a
authors
lot of other people have
her.
done the whole angels and demons. Like, it's not like it's copyrighted to have angels. You've stolen a plot point. You had angels and demons in your story. Be like, dude, the Bible's stolen all the plot points, okay?
I know! The Bible is honestly the ultimate, like, fan fiction of itself.
Okay, but I was just gonna say, like, I think it would be interesting if you're going, okay, what kind of fae blood? What kind of demon blood? Well, there's literally only one kind of demon. Oh, okay. So you're saying all demons are functionally identical, and then we're saying there's only one kind of fae, but what does a fae look like?
Friend, we already know, though, that there are angels in this world.
Oh?
Because they've already called Lucifer the fallen one.
Oh, if they did, that means there are angels as well.
But that would make sense, because also then if they're all only one type of demon and they all come from Lucifer, then
it works. They are.
Then it works.
On the other hand, is there literally only one type of fae, and what is it?
Right?
Every single one of them is Oberon's offspring, and Oberon made them by himself.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
I am the one offspring of everything all fae are from, and of me, and like me, but not as good as me.
Right?
All right. Piper's hand begins to shake where I hold her. She shakes her head once, and then her expression sours.
I think you must be mistaken. I can't.
She takes a deep breath. Eyes closed and exhales. All right, everyone in the chat, deep breaths. In. Out. I wish that we would mention her tattoo. We've mentioned other people's, like, scars and tattoos and things like that. Like, it seems weird that this would be the first time we would see her without a shirt and not mention her cool-ass tattoo.
I'm also, like I said, I think a lot of basically the level of what they consider to be flirty, where you'd comment on people, really was just a thing you could do in the beginning, and now that we're in the meat of the story, suddenly your character doesn't feel like a person anymore.
It feels really odd.
But now what we're trying to do is not sort of interfere with your viewpoint on the character.
I guess.
Which seems silly. I'm like, decide what your character's doing, because people will decide what their reaction to it is anyway. Mm-hmm. You know?
Right.
I don't. Sorry, I suppose always had an inkling, you know?
What's so bad about being fed blood anyway? Is there a specific taboo about drinking or eating blood?
I'm also just like,
I guess it's because it makes you like a vampire? Maybe?
I don't understand this either.
Because that's what's taboo about vampires. It's one, that they kill people, and two, that they drink blood.
Right? Honestly, if you were just more, I don't know, the things we can do, the way that we're so connected to all that normal shit, in tune with it, with them, we're still not, it almost makes sense, as nefarious as it is. Is it nefarious?
Okay, weird thing.
I mean, are they just being like, no, the tragedy is that we're the Witcher?
Okay, I mean, it really is. The tragedy is that we're Witchers, and I'm sorry you've been biologically altered by magic. I say, but, like, the interesting thing here is, like, They fed us blood. Does literally drinking anything's blood give you properties from that thing?
So, we've mentioned this before. When one sticks blood in one's stomach, it tends to get digested.
Not assimilated into the DNA.
And we understand now that basically what you're saying is now you've basically ingested magic,
But telling Piper they fed us blood versus there was a magical concoction made of blood that they, gave to us, maybe that's an assumed extrapolation because why would they feed you something mundane?
Right?
But, if you went and you drank werewolf blood on your own, would you just have characteristics of werewolf? If you went and drank generic fae blood on your own?
That's actually a really good point. Like, there is a weird level of assumption of going, well, if you drink it, it'll do something to you. And it's like...
Will it?
Will it, though?
Will
it, though? Because this...
All right.
I don't know. I'm like, especially because, okay, so should you just start, banging out in enormously long ears and pointy fangs, and you start growing more ears on the top of your head,
And you grow a devil tail?
You grow a devil tail, and you have...
Whatever fae have, because we don't know what they're like.
Wings, I guess?
We don't know. They're not fairy, they're fae.
I don't know.
You become sparkly.
Ooh! You do become Edward.
Oh my god.
All right. The Cullens.
Nefarious as it is.
Alright.
This information is dangerous. Is it?
Is it?
And I think someone here is taking advantage of it. Okay, so we're saying that it really is like a huge, massive secret, and we ourselves, as Hunter Uwu, understood instantly that this is one of basically the deep state secrets of the world, and that only Harry and James understood it, and that Harry is exploiting it, and no one knows what he's doing because no one else knows it except for apparently the people who produce and administer the ritual.
Uh-huh.
And it is a closely, I assume, guarded secret, and they're trying to communicate to us that no one knows this, even though we've, again, got 3 points of data.
Why is that bad, though? There's literally no human characters in this entire damn cast. You don't have a human character who would look at basically your non-human. You've been transferred. Okay, so usually when people in stories, whenever I see, they'd be like, oh, you should have sympathy for this character because they're not actually, like the people that they thought they were. And it's like, but you usually then have a human character to sort of illustrate that point of going yeah, you are really scary.
Right, you're super different. And yeah, we haven't met any
There are no
humans.
Yeah, there are.
Because even your regular humans, such as Ezra, are still witches.
Yeah, I'm like, well, that's what I mean.
Which makes you more powerful than a regular human.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, there's lack of contrast, but also, again, it feels like Uwu jumps to conclusions really, really quickly with only 1 or 2 points of data.
Right?
Which sounds... Okay. Sounds really like... either extremely aggressive personality, sort of like your headstrong leader, shoot first, ask questions later of, I will decide what this means and I will not investigate further or gather more data. Well, if a thing happened, we need to do stuff.
Right.
Or it sounds a little bit neurodivergent. Someone said A. All of reality is now A.
Right.
Instead of, even if that person isn't necessarily a trustworthy source, if you have no other information, you apply that to your entire existence because you've got no other information.
Right. And it's also very, it sounds very childlike also. Not just necessarily neurodivergent, because neurodivergent and childlike are very different in that sense, obviously. And, I mean, you can have similar characteristics, but that would be silly.
Brains that haven't developed fully are like brains that have developed differently sometimes.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that they're the same.
No, not
so,
at all.
Children do that a lot, though, where you just go, you tell them a thing, and they go, right, that is the answer to the thing. Or, as people have also pointed out, it sometimes takes kids a long time to figure something out, because, like anyone, they have habits that they have developed on their own, where you go, hey, you need to close the door whenever you leave the room. Mm-hmm. And, and it takes you about 10, 20, 30 times. Sometimes, like with an adult. Sometimes with some adults, though, they figure it out after about 2 or 3 times.
Well, and I was specifically referring to basically Uwu's behavior here.
No, I know.
But there is an experience where some people require 500 points of data to be comfortable in this experience, in the way of you go, one person, hey, pick up that pen, put it there, do it over and over again for an 8-hour shift. Other people, here's why you pick up the pen, here's why it's going there, here's what it's doing down the line, here's where it's coming from. Otherwise, they're like, well, why do I pick it up and put it over there?
Right? And that's why I think the thing is, for me, is I really just wanted to be more clear, and maybe we'll get there. And I don't know, I'm not necessarily looking for spoilers, and I apologize, us talking about this is always fun to me, but, so I really kind of hope that we get these answers in the game itself.
I do too.
But I really do kind of want it to answer, going why is it a bad thing that you were magically altered?
And also, well, I think, I assume the reason is because we're so prejudiced. Those things are creepy and separate and other. How can they be a part of me?
Okay.
That was what. So that piece I picked up on immediately. Of it is disgusting and horrifying to have the other and enemy out there be a literal part of inside of me.
But it also seems like at the same time they're kind of like, no, but they altered us, and what's really wrong is that they genetically did this thing to us, and it's like...
Okay, hold on for a second. I'm going to say a controversial thing.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to say a controversial thing. All right. So, Uwu finds out that they are part monsters, like a white supremacist finding out they're black in their ancestry. Okay? And they go, I can't be that thing. Got it?
I can see that.
And that was... And it doesn't mean that's what it is, but that's how it scanned for me.
Okay.
And I think someone there is taking advantage of it. Piper nods, her expression stoic but stern. James heavily implied that... I pause. If it's who I think it is, do you think it's anyone? The implications could be beyond terrifying. I almost dread uttering the words. Because I think it's been made really explicit that it's James or that it's Harry at this point. Like, I think it's been made exceedingly clear that it's Harry. I think I know who it is. So this is just supposed to be showing, like, basically how tentative we are in this one case, even though everything else...
I mean...
We've literally shot the gun before loading it.
It makes sense, because when you're... Okay, so I've seen people, especially when you're super indoctrinated to something, you really are like, I'm trying to give you every benefit of the doubt that I possibly can. It cannot be this one thing. Even if it's just blatantly right there in front of you, and you go, but it can't be that thing. Like, you're trying so hard to think of anything else but that one.
Because your boss is unimpeachable. If you
right, exactly. Fire before loading.
Hey, you gotta fire. It's a blank.
I got fire, and I missed.
It's a blank.
What did you do? I fired, and then I missed. I got a popsicle, and I passed out in the snow, and then I fired, and then I missed.
And I hit someone, but it wasn't what I was aiming for, so I guess I missed.
I missed.
I think I know who it is.
I think I do too.
How do you freaking know?
I
tell her about Harry and James.
You just need to use the
Sorry,
thingies.
I forgot to spacebar. I forget every time. It's okay.
It's okay. Just do the thing.
Alright. I also saw Harry and James together, as if James was trying to tell me something by showing me pieces of his memories with them. You mean something. You have no idea what it is, but a thing. I'm like, I feel like we know exactly what he was trying to show us. There's so many parts of this game where I'm going, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what's going on. In this case, I'm like, this makes perfect sense. Character, I have no idea what's happening. And I'm like, there's so much dissonance I'm experiencing.
It's actually really kind of frustrating. That felt really obviously explicit, or just being like again, going like, or is it supposed to be because your character is also so resistant, not just because it's their boss and they're like, well, I'm never supposed to doubt the institution of the Catholic Church, you know, kind of thing. What?
Doubt.
The button doubt. Or it just like or it really is going to be in the end where they're just going to go, pulled a 180 on you. It's not actually Harry. Like they're trying to.
I don't know. If it's misdirection, I'd be interested to see.
All right.
Pieces of his memories of them. They were so happy together for a while, for a time. You literally saw them being unhappy as well.
Yeah, I was like, and also like James explicitly in his head was kind of like, wow, this shit's going bad, and it's been getting more and more awkward and more like we are just missing each other on a lot.
We are becoming ships passing in the night.
Uh-huh.
They were so happy. There was such an easy mutual admiration and affection.
James was the best mentor I could have ever dreamed of having. He shared his knowledge so freely and made me feel at home when I was just a scared kid.
How does that compare to me talking about his attitude towards his husband? Are you saying you had a massive crush on him as well? This follow-up.
Everybody
They were
James.
super into each other. They were so close. Their chemistry together was amazing. Yeah, my chemistry and his was great too, is what I'm hearing.
I was going to say that, like, again, I'm like, there's tiny little, like, non sequitur. They don't really... It's a lot of do not follow.
And I think Piper's just trying to be like, I thought James was great too, but I'm also like, we were literally talking about both of them as a couple, and you went, yeah, James!
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's kind of like, I'm like, what are we doing? Alright,
It's okay. I was just a scared kid.
I watch her face light up when she thinks about her fallen friend, her hero, but the jarring truth comes back like whiplash. James wrote Harry a letter the night he died, asking him to think about what he was doing. To ask him to think about
now your
anything
character
that
remembers.
he was doing. Okay, but the weird thing is there's an experience of going, we haven't told Piper at all that he was doing anything.
Yes.
So asking him to think about what he was doing should be her going, what was he doing?
Right.
Piper tenses, her brows furrowed, and then her shoulders slump in defeat. I don't know what he was doing. She huffs.
Ah,
Time to
take
take
a shot.
drink. Drink, everyone.
That's time.
A bitter laugh, shaking their head in blatant disappointment. Is she, they?
I think... No.
No?
No. I don't... Why? I don't understand. Why the shift in pronouns? It's okay. It's strange.
Suddenly she, they? Maybe? I don't know.
Oh, fucking course. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it?
No, since I literally haven't even told you that Harry was doing something, I assume you now know all of it?
All of these secrets, the lies. What other secrets and lies?
I say, also, no one's been lying to us about our initiation. They just assume we've forgotten it and don't bring it up again? Lies, no one said they're in the dungeon, or not in the dungeon, and they are, as far as I can tell.
Right?
Like,
I mean, I guess... Okay.
What lies have there actually been, canonically?
I mean, other than the fact of going, like, the stuff with Azazel, the stuff with Aya, the stuff with the other vampire, like, those things...
But who lied about them, rather than just didn't give us any information?
I
don't
think
feel like
some people conflate basically that type of obfuscation equals lying.
Because,
or, like, lack of sharing.
Because, like, are we... Okay, lack of... But nobody's been volunteering information at all.
I know!
So are we saying that everyone's been lying to us the whole time by not speaking?
Well, that's also why I was, like, lying by not saying a word?
Because
like,
there's
lying by omission, that is
But there was
thing.
never, like... Nobody's really ever talked about Aya except for August and Piper. So are we saying they're both lying? Or one of the two of them is lying?
I don't know. It's fine.
As well as,
the
like,
secrets
Azazel
part.
and stuff.
I'd just be like, all these secrets.
Lots of
and
secrets.
then I would just stay with
And,
secrets.
see, the thing is, and the lies. Me, I am the lies.
Hello,
right
lies.
Here. Hello. Nice to meet all of you, I'm Lies.
Shocking surprise.
I interrupt, trying to stay on track. James holds a lot of guilt over what happened, over him not killing the creature when he had the chance. He hesitated, and you and I both know that isn't something hunters can afford to do. Yes, it's been spelled out since the beginning. Consistency.
Hesitation means death.
Yes, that's almost the mantra of the hunters.
James was the one who used to preach that more than any other. He'd seen too many cases of kindness getting his comrades killed.
Okay, I'm gonna ask again. Did she not care that Harry was doing something and the something was causing a problem?
So I was actually just going to say that. We haven't been explicit at all, and we're just kind of moving on. Like, Piper just gets it entirety and in the full form.
Or that she doesn't care about details at all. Going, that makes sense that he'd write him a letter about something.
What is something for him to hesitate?
I nod, remembering James's words, his disappointment in himself. Correct, possessive, apostrophe, props. The thing that killed him, or the person that killed him, he knew them. That's why he hesitated. That's why he died. I can almost see the cogs turning in her mind as she processes that, the realization washing over her as it did me. Wait, the realization of what? As grateful as I am that I'm not alone in the strange uncertainty that settles in the pit of my stomach, it pains me that we had to find out this way.
Wait, is the whole stupid thing... Hang on. I was kind of wondering vaguely, very, very vaguely. So I will not say that I had any idea that this potential plot point is going to be the plot point, but is the idea really going like, the hunters all die in the line of duty? Is that literally because eventually this combination of blood causes you to mutate into a monster?
Or, basically, you don't have a very long lifespan anyways because it slowly kills you.
But I think
James
knows...
I think the monsters are on purpose. Otherwise, you'd have noticed it happening over time. I think you have to do something to spark a monster transformation.
Maybe.
Which is what Harry's been working on. That's what I've been picking up.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I'm trying to figure out, like, where exactly...
But also, when she goes, that makes sense, does she mean, I've always been suspicious of what Harry's been doing, too?
I'm like, what has Harry been doing?
I know.
I don't even know what the hell his job's been.
Also, same realization. Uwu's not been explicit about the realization they've had, and so I don't know what it is yet.
Depression.
We've been living our lives in almost blissful ignorance. Years under the service of an agency that betrayed us the second we were in their care.
How is that betrayal?
I mean, apparently feeding you blood is betrayal, apparently.
I don't understand this point. We've been betrayed. Have you? I'm sorry, I hate to tell you, but, like, the army fucks people over all the time, and most people, unfortunately, don't tend to think of it as a betrayal. They're like, one of my cousins actually had signed up to be a part of the Navy SEALs, and he was like, I don't know what they've ever given us in terms of shots. He's like, all I remember is walking down a huge line that was just lined with tons of doctors and nurses, and they would just stab you in both of your arms and in both of your legs, and you would just be injected with things.
Uh-huh. And it's
like, who knows?
You're being vaccinated, or you're being boosted, or you're being whatever. Who
knows?
Who
knows? It's like, I'm not feeling this.
It's okay.
I'm fine. It's okay.
I'm interested, but I'm really confused.
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
I know it's a lot to process.
You can say that again, but we have each other. We're really not going to talk about any more detail. I don't understand what's going on here. That's okay.
We're expositing information, but only like a little bit in reference.
Vaguely.
But also we have each other and going, do all the hunters have each other, or do you and me have each other? And then we're not really a community where we're going to support anyone else. It's literally just, it's okay because we have each other.
Don't worry, it's you and me against the world, baby. We're going to write our own self-help book. We're both a little bit monstrous, right?
You're taking this in a real chill kind of way, actually. She nudges me with her shoulder, grinning from ear to ear in that playful, beautiful way that lights up the entire room.
Right.
Right.
Huh.
What?
Dibs not being the one to tell August.
I mean, I tell them almost everything, so I'll tell them. Plus, I'm also above you in command and rank, so that would mean that it would fall naturally to me, so that's kind of...
I mean,
you're
my
being
eyes
playful.
widen comically.
My eyes widen comically, and Piper laughs at my obvious disdain. I don't feel like we have a problem talking to August, but the game keeps sort of suggesting that we do.
I know, I don't actually get it. You have to be alert at all times. Rookie mistake. Especially, like... So, in that way, because I can't really tell when we're having options to talk to August, and we have choices, that any of the choices are actually bad choices, and you worsen, air quote, your relationship with August or really anyone else.
I know.
So that just seems sort of strange. Like, there's been, obviously, a couple of choices now that we've had where we don't get to see the other option. And some of them that were very clearly, not going to be, you're never going to be able to pick. You have to pick one or the other. So I don't... This doesn't feel as hardcore as it, I don't know, could be.
It's true.
Fine.
I'm grateful for the much-needed tension breaker at Piper, and Piper is an expert.
I mean, imagine, honestly, like, actually having to pick through dialogue options with August and not make them either explode, as everybody seems to be super concerned that they're going to do, or piss them off, or basically get them to not work with you anymore kind of thing, or not want to help you. Like, and actually have to deal with that, rather than this? Because it just, I don't know, there's no tension in it for me. I'm just kind of like, meh.
She leans a little closer, her body so warm where it presses flush against my own. She traces lazy circles upon the back of my hand with her thumb, the silence that hangs between us, comfortable. After a little while alone with our thoughts, Piper sits straight, regarding me with a curious gaze. We really aren't going to talk about this at all.
We're really not.
I was just like, this would be great. We can finally share more information. We can also ask about things that happened while we're out for 2 days. I don't know about you, but for me, if I go to sleep and then I wake up and anything has happened while I was like napping or while it was nighttime, or if I've been on a night shift and stuff happened during the day, I'm like, what happened while I was out? I need to know.
Right? I mean, you've been gone for 2 days. You're also the person who's the
We've
general hunter for this particular...
I was going to say, yeah, we're the highest ranking hunter around in this area based on what we've been told so far.
Or
we
at least
came in
for this particular
specifically,
case.
like I said, for this particular case. And we came in specifically to deal with this case, and we don't seem to be interested in this case at all. But again, that's they go where they tell you, do what they tell you, that's it. I was to say, but there's an experience of me going, like, wouldn't you want to know about the huge freaking break in the case if we've killed the monster and now have access to its corpse?
Corpse? Yeah.
And going again, what happened to the corpse? What happened to you? And also inquiring after if Piper needed any healing at all. Like, there's a lot of this...
Emotionally distant?
Like, a lot of the scene feels like it's very empty. That it's missing all the places I'd like it to fill in. Alright, let's see. After a little while alone with our thoughts, Piper sits straight, regarding me with a curious gaze.
Can we just forget about all this just for a little while? We haven't fucking really... That's fine.
We haven't
That's
really
fine.
interacted with all of this at all, and I don't know if anything's going on.
Come morning, we'll have to start all this shit again, and it's been so nice having a little bit of peace from it all.
Like, how have you had peace? So
what
for 2 days, nothing has happened. There hasn't been a break in the case. They haven't been looking at the corpse. It hasn't yielded any new information. Nothing
What's happened?
at all has happened. Giving the body to the agency or telling August that we killed it, nothing's happened,
You're kidding.
I would feel like that would be a huge amount of things happening. Also, have there been any more murders? Have there been any more indications that there's another monster? Has anyone else come forward to interact with anything? Like, it seems like a ton of information would spill out immediately after all of this and going, you've literally just been given a 2-day break from your job to sit with your brand new partner that no one knows you're dating yet?
Right?
That's wild that they would just let you do that. All right. Also, is it nighttime? Like, or is it evening? We woke up in the evening of the third possible day.
Unfortunately, the lighting is magical. I cannot tell.
Well, in the morning it'll start again, suggesting it's nighttime right now.
Oh, that's true.
Or that we're going to end this day at some point.
Maybe it's really, really late or early in the morning. As much as I hated you being all unconscious and everything.
I had no responsibilities while you were.
I
playfully roll my eyes, pressing my hand to my chest as if wounded.
And then I flinch and pull my hand away because, I forgot that I was stiff and sore. Ow.
I move my arm. Ow.
Ow.
I touch my chest.
Ow.
I lean against Piper.
Ow.
Ow, flirt. I'm glad my suffering made you happy.
No, but you make me happy.
And my being unconscious in your bed is desirable, eh?
Flirt.
Oh.
Let's just savor it. Yeah? Well, we can.
Aye, because no one's calling us into work because we don't have phones. And no one will knock on your door but me, so we're okay. As long as we never leave this house, we're good.
We'll be fine.
The way she looks at me. She leans in, chin tipped, eyes sparkling. Why do we keep mentioning the chin tipping? Like, I know it's only been twice, but like... what is it specifically supposed to look like? Like, is it that are we supposed to think that basically, depending on our character height, that she's looking down at us attractively, or that
she's looking up at us,
or that she's looking up at us sort of invitingly? Like, I'm not sure what the chin-tipped thing is going for, other than, again, asserting that we're a different height than Piper.
Pretty much.
Because, I don't know. What?
I'm trying to figure out if she has, actually, like, a scar or something on that side.
When...
I think that's just her vitiglio, honestly, on her shoulder.
Oh.
You see up in here?
Yeah, I think that's that, as well as there's a
because
lot
it suddenly
of shine
has,
on
like...
shirt.
Oh, yeah, no.
There's a whole lot of shine in that shirt.
There's a lot of shine.
Much shiny shirt.
I still like, why wouldn't you talk about the tattoo?
Alright, sleep with Piper, don't sleep with Piper. We've got all night, right? Let's rest together. Oh, wait, so when they say sleep with Piper, they mean have sex?
Do they mean bone?
Because it's let's rest together.
We are a mature,
or does it mean,
ranked game, and we cannot say have sex with Piper.
Or does it mean I will stay awake and just rest through the night? Or does it mean I will actually go to sleep with you? Oh, it does mean boning. Thank you, Niagaku.
It does mean bone Piper. Okay. Why can you not say bone Piper?
Or have sex with Piper, or even go.
Because we will literally say fuck.
Yeah, it means sex.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I have sound if I do a sound test. So, sorry that you lost the sound.
Yay!
I don't know what happened. Okay.
Sorry.
So, we were specifically basically going, would everyone like to vote on whether we sleep with or not sleep with? Because I feel like I'm leaning towards let's rest together rather than bone, but we were sort of just discoursing on that experience and whether or not we could find an actual, like, character angle for which way Uwu might go based on the fact that they seem tired and disorganized with their thoughts and overwhelmed and also in pain. So if anyone in the chat would like to, like Niagaku, if you have an opinion of which one we might choose and you'd like to share it, that would be welcome. Otherwise, I think we're just gonna go with don't sleep with Piper because that's the only thing I can sort of connect to at the moment.
Yeah.
Sorry about the sound loss. Yeah, sometimes I guess our setup just does that. Though it looks like somehow the computer ended up on top of the cord, and I'm not sure when that happened. And I kind of want to move it, but I'm afraid of losing the sound again.
You don't.
So I guess if it's working, we'll just leave it.
Yep. Alright,
we've got nothing. Shall we go ahead, friend?
Sure. If nobody has any other opinions, because I don't know either. So I'm just like...
Alright, so based on the fact that we've had, like, basically we seem overwhelmed and scared and hurty, I'm gonna go with just rest together.
Okay, well, now I'm paranoid again. Hang on. Well, just stop for 2 seconds.
Okay, so hold on, we might lose the sound. Possible.
Is it back on again?
Let's find out.
Yeah,
I think we should have sound again.
Whoops.
Yes, it is on again. Oh, you didn't push anything, did you? Okay.
Nope.
It's working here
There
in
we
the preview.
Okay.
Okay, well, I will not put it up there again. And we have rearranged the cord so that hopefully it won't disconnect itself and nothing will touch it. Because
Wah!
in the vein of the hardware that we have, there is an experience of going, some of the setup is pretty sensitive because we only have this one type of thing. All right. Before I can respond, a rather impressive yawn catches Piper unaware. She presses the back of her hand to her mouth, her lashes fluttering from the shock of it. A shocking yawn. Oh no. Oh, that's all you're wearing. You don't have like pants or anything. Oh, we've gotten back to ogling. That's a really cute picture.
Oh, that is pretty cute, actually. Oh, shit. I'm fucking exhausted.
Sleeping in a tiny chair will do that to you if you've been sleeping at all. Why didn't you sleep beside me? Because she was being considerate of your boundaries and the fact that she couldn't ask you. Honestly, I respect the hell out of that. I think that's amazing.
Right?
Also, they can't seem to decide where she has, like, lighter skin and not sometimes.
It's okay. I mean, in regards to sometimes keeping track of that stuff, some of it will shift as you go along. My biggest complaints is, like, just in regards to where they will describe colors, and the color is not the thing that I'm seeing, and
It's
I'm like,
true.
I don't agree.
It does look like they definitely, like, softened her for this picture, though. More femme, if you will. Just more femme. Alright. She shrugs. Her smile wicked. Ah, that is a wicked smile if I ever saw one.
It is incredibly. Because I'm a horribly aggressive sleeper. Do you like black eyes and bruised shins?
I'm pretty sure I already have them.
Piper, have you assaulted everybody else who's ever been in your bed then?
I mean, if she can only wake up with one intensity, no matter what, maybe she has.
Perhaps.
I contemplate that statement, tilting my head this way and that. I actually have one friend that has a sleep disorder, and they don't usually actually sleep with their partners that they're dating, even, you know, when they are physically involved with them, because they're like, yeah, I kind of do like some sleepwalking and also will interact with objects and just basically can talk in my sleep and stuff, and just I'd rather not have you in the room if I'm going to be doing these things, because I can't control them and I don't know what they'll be.
Right.
Alright, tilting my head this way and that. Then I crawl to the head of the bed, pushing back the sheets and climbing inside. Were we laying on top of the bed and it was made, or did we make it when we climbed out of it to go and see her in the chair?
I thought we were, like, literally in the bed. So why are we pushing a bed? I mean, pushing back the sheets could also be, like, we sort of, like, half-heartedly, like, sort of crumpled them up and we didn't really pull them all the way down when we got out of bed.
Okay.
So it could be, I pushed them down so that you also have room to get in as well.
Mm-hmm. Also, in case we didn't say it, Nigaku, thank you for mentioning the sound. We appreciate it.
Yes, that was very helpful.
Yes. Alright. It just sounds like that sounds like something you do for a bed that's made, you know?
I agree. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but that was a little unusual.
I'm also like, do you really not have any pants on? You fade out into nothing below the screen. It looks like you're wearing something down there, which is not the same as when you were in bed.
Yeah, no, I think she has something, but I can't...
But apparently it was off for the premium art.
I can't tell if
for
it's...
the fancy art.
I can't tell. Well, honestly, I couldn't really see through the soft gossamer, as it were. The soft silks. The lovely, you know, bits of cloth in the premium art anyway.
What are you doing? I beckon her with a curled finger, patting the empty space beside me. Apparently nothing.
I'm doing two things at once. Her brain should immediately fry.
That's okay, two things. It's okay. Maybe you do one and then the other.
Right.
Okay. She obliges with a roll of her eyes, but her smile betrays her.
What a traitorous smile.
She settles against my side, throwing her leg over mine and nuzzling close.
Nuzzle.
That sounds cute.
It kind of does.
With a content sigh, Piper closes her eyes, and my arm tightens around her as we rest our head upon her pillows. I was picturing very much like her laying on you some, but that's okay. Both of you are on the pillows. Got it. The moon is still bright in the sky, her curtainless window allowing it to illuminate the bedroom.
Oh my god, I would hate that.
My
room.
friend would never be able to sleep.
I would never sleep.
Oh my god, when we had a night shift at the same place together, there was this experience of my friend going, I have to create a blackout room. If there's any light at all, I will die. And I'm like,
oh yeah, because I'm
that's
so
fine.
like,
I can sleep anywhere.
Ridiculously annoyingly light sensitive, especially like, so I can sleep in the sun when I am tired, but most of the time, like consistently sleeping when there's sun out is the worst thing for me.
As soon
because
as your
body
get,
goes
the bare minimum rest, you're like, I am awake. It's daytime.
Yeah, pretty much, and then you're just tired again. And you're like, I can't do this.
All right. Curtainless windows allowing it to illuminate the bedroom.
I'm also like, does she have violets in her room? Are those violets?
They honestly look a little bit more like, clematis to me, but I don't know. I'm not sure what the way, like, the bloom pattern is, or the way the petals are at all, but I don't think there's violets.
These are petunias.
Yeah, they're not petunias. They have too many petals. Petunias only have the one petal.
Are you sure?
Yes. Petunias have a single petal. These have separate petals.
I mean, these look like separate petals, but that doesn't mean...
I'm telling you, I know these flowers.
No.
Don't have them.
Stop.
Okay.
So what I was going to say is that they look like several petals. So somebody could have drawn it going, there are several petals.
Delta Whiskey, sleeping with the light gives me a headache.
Oh, I feel you. Yes. So what I'm saying is that someone could have gone, indentation, I'm going to draw the lines for that. Okay. So that's my guess. So what did you think they looked like? Was what?
You said violets.
I know, but
and
I was
you
also...
didn't search it.
I know I didn't.
Okay, so I said they look like clematis.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're violets with a couple too many petals.
I don't think they're violets.
Okay.
I would say they would be either...
So try clematis.
How do you spell that?
Clematis, I believe. Yeah.
Clematis. Ooh.
Uh-huh.
No. You are solidly wrong.
Yeah, no, they're way too round for
I'm like, that
flowers,
looks
some
like
clematis
petunias.
can have a lot of petals. At any rate, we're gonna move forward, and if anyone, see, the thing that's getting me though is like the growth pattern of the buds in the back. That's a specific expression up a branch pattern, which petunias do not do.
Do
so
petunias not do
it's
that?
more that no, they don't. They're a little sort of bush plants. They don't actually have like creeping vines with buds on them. So that's kind of where there's two things to look at when I'm trying to identify a fantasy plant. One of them is like the shape of the petals and the leaves, and the second one is like how does the branches / growth pattern express? Does it? So if you have these sort of like, it almost looks like a type of weird rose because of the yellow center, and some roses have less petals and are more round because of the pattern of the buds, which rose bushes do that quite a bit, where they'll have a long branch with a bunch of separate buds going out at, basically opposing angles.
Well, and part of the reason I was kind of wondering is because, at least according to Wikipedia, it's for symbolism and folklore, it says the Maya and Inca believed that the scent of petunias had the power to ward off underworld monsters and spirits. Their flower buds were bunched together for magical drinks. According to New Age folklore, petunias will only thrive where there is positive energy and will not grow in places where there is negativity. When given as a gift, petunias have, in the language of flowers, two mutually exclusive meanings. Symbolizing on one hand being comfortable with someone, and on the other, anger and resentment.
And I was going to say, the language of flowers is a really cool thing, and you can actually make bouquets that basically have an entire conversation in them.
It's true.
If you know what flowers mean. It's kind of amazing. There was actually this lovely Tumblr post at one point where someone was like, wait a second, because someone had made a huge list of basically what flowers mean, and the meanings behind them, and they're like, some of these are really aggressive, and they're like, you could literally make a beautiful bouquet that was like, fuck you, in the most positive sense ever.
Right.
And they're like, yes. And then the florist went and put one together and shared a picture of it going, this is an elegant and beautiful way to say fuck you and your entire family. Everything you stand for.
I actually also really like the one florist who was really like, you guys, you're reading way too much into this. Nobody does this amount of detail or really ever has. This is me, actual florist. This is what we do. People do not have any goddamn idea.
I was going to say, and most people don't know the language of flowers anymore. Florist. Florist. I was just saying, but if they do, yeah.
I like it when it's an Annie.
So it's this one. So there's an anime that I watched
Natsuyuki?
a while ago called Natsuyuki Rendezvous. And what it is it's about this woman who's a florist, and her husband, who she's a widow, and her husband had been a florist as well. And she just sort of carried on his craft, but didn't know as much as he did. He actually went to school for it and such. Right. And all throughout it, there is this sort of recurring theme of these different bouquets and arrangements that he made for her on each of their different anniversaries that meant different things.
Aww.
And it's a really interesting anime because she has her ghost husband around, and the new person that's trying to romance her has to sort of contend with that. But it's kind of like soft, and it's not very long, and I really enjoyed it when I saw it back in the day. She's also a protag with short hair and is nonetheless considered extremely attractive, and so I really liked that as well. But it's a very quiet, sort of soft anime, but it does have some of the language of flowers in it. But I like that my friend here is just going, do those flowers mean anything, in reference to like the beliefs of hunters and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, why would she have these specific flowers in her room?
Right.
I also really want to know where that vine is growing from. Is it just like cracking through her roof?
I mean, every time I see this, I keep going, yes, it is meeting in the flesh. We are back in Niarg's room.
Honestly, I would have loved to see Niarg's actual bedroom, if indeed he had one.
If he sleeps.
If it wasn't, I was just saying, if it wasn't basically that room with the hanging sort of couch experience.
Uh-huh.
Suddenly Piper sits up, taking my chin between forefinger and thumb.
She sits up, grabs your face while you are still down.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. She just, like that, sits up, turns to look at you and grabs your face. Bunk! Like, and you're like,
whoa.
That
ow.
was a gesture.
Ow, that was my neck.
Hello.
I think I'm falling in love with you, Uwu. It scares me, but it's how I am.
It's okay, you can do this. Just lean in. This is what the character's feeling.
I appreciate that, but I'm not feeling it.
I know. That's why it's called acting. Oh.
No! That's not what I'm talking about.
I know. I want the connection
stuff,
to the story. I would really love the connection to the story.
I think I'm falling in love with you, Uwu. It scares me, but it's how I feel.
All right. Would you like to, when you get a chance, put that in the chat?
Natsuki, rendezvous?
Because that way we as the creators can share the Florist anime.
Sure,
right.
If you want. Why do you want to share it?
I don't know, because I think it's cute.
People can hear us say the words Natsuki, or it's fine.
I don't know.
I don't understand.
That's not us.
I can't help you.
Alright. She drops her hand to gaze as if anticipating rejection, but before her hand can hit the mattress, I take it in my own. Alright.
You gonna walk right into that cord again.
Shit. I cannot put my phone down. Pardon me. I have to hold it. Also, thank you, reference. It's there. It's the wiki. Okay. I've anticipated rejection, but before her hand can hit the mattress, I take it in my own. Why would she be afraid of being rejected? Are we just like that much of a badass that we're so intimidating that we could never accept anybody, even though we actually approached her and ran to her? Like, technically, we started this relationship.
Technically, except that we didn't start this relationship because we didn't talk about this relationship.
It's
and
true.
If they're only now going to be like, we're going to actually date each other because we fell in love with each other. I'm like, does anybody know why you go on dates?
Mm-hmm.
At all?
It's okay.
I feel like I have aged 900 years every time I run into these games, and everybody goes, no, but you can only date, like, Arcade Spirits just blew my damn mind, going like, you're telling me that you can only pick to go out with someone
if you're already in love with
them. Deeply in love with them. Then you're like, well, then I fail at this entire game because I am not in love with any of these characters.
And if I haven't been in love with them before I start dating them or even ask them to date,
or even find out who they are as people, like, Horn takes you to a certain degree, sure, but that can also be a motivator to date, going, hi, you turn me on. Would you like to date? And people go, ooh, we could do that. Or they go, that's not how I date, so no, my dating doesn't include sex, but, you know.
Or it doesn't include sex right away.
Right? Or I have a month rule, or what. I'm like, I don't.
I've been falling for a while now. I love you, Piper. She lets out a heavy breath, almost as if she's been holding it. And then she was holding it without knowing. And then she smiles, sinking back into my arms. She has to sit up. Bah! Oh my god! I need to tell you I'm in love with you, but I'm afraid that this will be bad news. It's fine. Do you want to lay down together? Because that would be okay.
You really just like tried to rip my head out.
I'm still really, really sore. Like the pain is. Ow. Alright. It seems impossible that I found something like this here. Of all places, almost amongst all of the death and deception. When I look at her, I feel alive. Complete. And if anything dares to try and come between us, well, it will suffer the wrath of two unstoppable forces.
But what if an unstoppable force meets an immovable object?
I know, right? So neither of us is the immovable object. We're both an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. What if two unstoppable forces held towards each other and run into each other? Do they both become immovable objects?
They'd have to be, I think, at that point.
We can translate from unstoppable forces to immovable objects.
Ooh.
We hold one another tightly, basking in the peace in one another, and we fall into a blissful slumber. Yay, we do get to sleep.
Yeah!
Oh, end of chapter 7.
That was very short.
That was extremely short. Whoa. Okay. Every time you do a chapter, it gets faster.
It does get faster. Chapter 8, Dust to Dust. Also, you're gonna have to forgive me. I'm like, my brain it was like, huh. So if there are 10 chapters, and the chapter 7 is where you explicitly have sex with the character, it is exactly like a romance novel format.
It is. On the other hand, that's like a tried and true tradition sort of thing.
Yeah.
Of going, and in the romance, this is where you hit the beats of here's where the horn shows up, here's where the attraction shows up, here's where, we have to sort of light, like, resolution, resolve, conflict, and flirting, and then you have some kind of tension, tense experience, you have the rising action,
right,
and then you get together and bone, and then you have, your story sort of moving forward, and, dealing with, sort of resolving the actual plot.
Right.
And usually you bone one more time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like
It'll be
romance
like
novels.
near the very end kind of bone.
Like, so if this is, and honestly, if if this is one of the one of only a few games that they have written, writing this game in the format of a romance novel makes good sense because it gives you good structure to follow.
Right.
If you're not familiar with these types of with the story you want to write, if you're not an experienced author of the kind of story you want to write.
Desperately wish I still had my Fabio romance novel.
Oh no.
Oh my god, I don't know where it is. I think it's actually buried in some of the book boxes that I still haven't unpacked after over a year. But I think at one point I will read parts of that because the goddamn thing is just hilarious.
It's Fabio as a pirate in his own novel.
Where he, has his series about Fabio.
Oh, when I wake, Piper is stirring beside me.
Beside me.
She's warm, pressed close, and mine, apparently. Oh, okay. She's warm, pressed close, and mine, apparently. Got it. I was like, wait,
mine.
what? And
Apparently.
mine, apparently, is something. She's the obvious, okay. She yawns, long lashes fluttering open, her sapphire gaze meeting mine.
Does she have long eyelashes? It's fine. It's fine. We'll put it down.
They flutter, but they could be long. You don't know.
It's true. Well, hello, gorgeous. Fancy waking up to you.
Her smile is sleepy, with morning affection. Her voice raspy, seductive, and my lips curl in response.
And she goes, curl, curl, curl.
That sort of crackly, grumbly sound.
Good morning.
Good morning. Waking beside her like this feels like coming home. Like the most natural thing in the world.
But we've already said.
But I also,
okay.
bro, I want to know how comfortable the bed is. We've commented on our bed every single time we've woken up in the wolf. I need to know about Piper's bed. Is it comfy?
Oh, but if it's really natural, then clearly it's comfy.
Because
the most natural thing in the world, it's very
comfy.
Comfy
Like natural is
equals
a state of comfort.
Yes.
Our natural state is
It's
comfy.
comfy.
That's it. Canon, Uwu's natural state is comfy. Mm-hmm.
Even if they're a dummy and they cannot freaking investigate for any
they
amount
are
of their
an
entire
oblivious thembo badass that is comfy.
Comfy.
That's why we can't see our uniform, because it's super comfy. And and the reason everyone reacted so strongly to us is because everyone saw us and went, "You are a badass that I want to cuddle so bad I can't stand it. Why do you look so cuddly?
Beautiful.
Why?
And cuddly.
So cuddly." And we're
Why?
like, "Hello, I'm an important badass with a purple sash that says I am in charge of all things.
And I am comfy.
And I am so cuddly, you're gonna die."
You're so cuddly, I'm gonna die. Oh my god.
Alright, like the most natural thing in the world. She yawns again, humming to herself as she shifts a little closer, her hair messy against her pillow. Not the pillow or a pillow, specifically her pillow.
What was the pillow that she ganked? So, it's my pillow. How are you feeling? These last few days have been rough.
I mean, I've slept through them, so you want to tell me about them?
I
sigh, relishing in the comfort of a decent mattress against my aching bones. There it is!
I told you! Comfy.
We get to talk about the bed. I am mollified. I am thrilled.
Yes.
Rough. Yes? I mean, I've been asleep for them. You mean the days before the last couple of days. But I don't think it's going to get any easier somehow. Especially since we don't know what's been going on with the investigation since I passed out, since you've apparently been here the whole time.
Right. Unfortunately, I think you might be right. But you've more than proven your resilience, and that your resilience knows no bounds. You're so strong. Stronger than I could ever dream of being. And now I'm gonna get into self-deprecation because I'm tired and sleepy and comfy. I have been a little bit overly aggressive with you because I have felt
because I've been posturing
that I'm not worth much and that I'm trying to prove that I am amazing.
Aw, poor thing.
Guess. You won't fail. I know it deep in my bones.
I know it in my jellies.
Except for the fact that the monster's already dead, so I'm not really sure what we're doing now, other than you're trying to now smash open wide a conspiracy that I'm not sure is actually really a conspiracy, other than the fact that potentially, if you want to say that humanity believes that we're normal. So if we tell humanity that we're not normal, and we've been using, genetically modified stuff like the Witchers, that actually completely invalidates any of the work that we've been doing, because people are sheep. And that hasn't been a lie that has been propagated for years by the ruling class in order to control people at all.
So maybe what we're worried about is that we've worked so hard as the literal government and law enforcement to teach people and enforce their hatred of non-humans, that if we find out that the vehicle we've been using to basically alienate and control and destroy the non-humans is essentially not human itself, it will break down the entire premise of our organization. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
And therefore, the government will fall and there will be chaos? Yeah. Is that what we're actually afraid of? That would be amazing.
Right? The nurse is lucky to have you looking out for it, and I'm lucky to...
She pauses, reaching out to press her thumb to my bottom lip.
Chew, 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 chew. To call you mine. After I was going into some self-deprecation, and then nothing happened. We just sort of let that pass by. Why would your character not say anything to that? Because honestly, I'd be like, what are you fucking talking about? You're fine. You do great. You do awesome work. And I'm just...
We've also built her up a couple of times where she's been like, maybe that's why I failed. And we're like, no, we don't think that's why. Like, there's been a couple of times where we're like, no, you're still good even though you've been demoted. It just sounds like you had a rough time of it.
Right?
So...
I don't...
It would seem reasonable for us to stop her self-deprecation and tell her, no, you're good. You're definitely as good as us.
All I get to be is the pretty crown jewel upon your arm.
I kiss the offered digit, taking her hand in my own. I'm the lucky one. To have you by my side is more than I could ever want.
Even though I don't connect to the relationship at all.
More than I could ever want. I am incapable of actually wanting as much as you are. What?
Yeah, okay, yep.
Not more than I could ever ask for, but more than I could ever want. Which is an interesting way of saying that. Like, I don't know if I've ever run into that before. There's a lot of people, more than I could have expected, more than I could have asked for.
I have heard the more than I could ever want so many times in the stories.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe it's just like a side effect of growing up Mormon, but that is really common. Okay. More than I could ever want. You fulfill me so much that I need no one else.
I guess that would be what it is.
Us against the world.
It's basically a statement of more than I could ever want, because I will never want anything ever again. All my needs and more have been completely filled. Is that what that is?
To me, that's what that sounds like. I mean, that's just a really, again, like I said, maybe it's just a side effect of growing up Mormon, but that sounds really typical to me in regards to romance stories. Whoop, you are dripping water, don't get it on your phone.
It's okay, I get it.
Okay, I just said...
I was getting a drink. It's not a shot. It's okay.
It's okay. Right. But yeah, I don't know, and I've always found it to be a little weird, because you're like, more than you could ever want in regards to what? Romance, or fun, or attention? Like, I don't even know really what your characters are connecting on, other than, in this case, you could make the argument, at least these two characters go, hi, we both have a hunter background, so we have sort of, shared trauma / shared assumed similar history. But that's about it, because we actually have barely talked to Piper about anything she's ever really done. Our character has mentioned, well, Piper's been really successful in committing the murder.
Her reputation precedes her. And I don't think we're building any of this relationship on that. It's just a sort of inherent kinship of we feel comfortable together and drawn to each other.
Which is fine, and I'm not saying you can't have a relationship based on that, but it seems weird to me, because I'd be like, are you going to have a really strong or fulfilling relationship if you literally don't talk about anything or share anything, or...
I don't know. If we can literally read each other's state at all times, maybe it's that nonverbal magical communication that happens more. But that's not a standard that you can relate to in the real world.
Yeah, no.
Her expression shifts into something a little playful. I gather I'm in trouble.
Troubling? It's pretty early. The sun isn't even up yet properly, I say. There's a golden glow that fills the entire damn room. Because we are inside...
She's flirting with us.
In the middle...
Of her house?
Of a city, actually, with very large buildings. The sun's not up yet.
It's okay.
No, that looks like the sun's up.
We have established that light just pours in through all windows at all times. That's how windows work here. Windows work, and if a window's to let light in, okay, imagine someone magical, okay, like this is a thing. Just imagine someone really magical, right? And they're having to make windows, and they're like, "What's a window for?" And they're like, "It's to let light in." And they build the window, and they stare, and they're like, "Light's not coming in." Enchants the window so it makes light because it's letting the light in.
Oh no.
That's what all your windows are. Okay?
That'd be great, honestly.
Her words carry a deeper meaning, I assume, as the smile that crosses her lips only grows. She stretches, deliberately arching her back in blatant provocation, causing something as warm as honey to settle deep in my stomach.
That's where you... I always giggle about stuff like that sometimes, where I'm just like...
Arousal happens
in your stomach. That's where boners lie.
I
This
guess.
is where my boners lie. Would you like to know where my boners lie?
It's in your stomach.
It's in my stomach.
The sight of her is enough to erase any other thoughts from my mind. We are very visual. Again, I like that they're actually like maintaining the fact that we're really visual, not only in our attraction, but also in our prejudice to things. You look non-human, so I'm prejudiced against you.
Right.
You look attractive, so that's what gets me going and is interesting to me.
Right.
Like, I've rarely met a protag that's as visual as this one. Like this person, like the MC they're writing is really the way things look is what's
Which is
driving
also
me.
why I said though I was frustrated, going like, why aren't you commenting on literally goddamn anything then about her appearance?
Which is why it's
You're
interesting
very
that we also
visual.
don't describe the room or describe what she's wearing. So it's this weird thing of continuing to establish that we are really affected by and drawn to visual things in the same way that we can't stop, picking apart like Omen's glamour and stuff like that. But we also are really, really intermittent about it.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I feel like that's probably just an experience of the writers.
Maybe,
All
yeah.
right.
But it's also one of those things that I feel like you might also run into more often when what you're trying to do is sort of just have the character be a vehicle to whatever you're interested in talking about and not going, I'm writing a character.
Right.
Which causes a problem when you have people like us who come along going, okay, I will play the character you have written because
And
I
they go,
have...
who is this person?
And they go, but there isn't. You're supposed to pick what sounds interesting. I'm like, I actually wanted to see what your story was.
Yes.
Because, so shockingly, I usually read stories to experience something like, or someone else, not always just play myself. It seems like...
Well, the thing is since I've never found a story that would allow me to choose options that I would pick as myself, I can't really play myself.
And that's true too. Like, you're like, oh, pick the things you would do. I wasn't raised here. What
I
are you
wouldn't
talking
do
about?
either of these things. So often I'm like, I would do neither of those, or I would only do both and nothing else.
Right? Or how are those things, separate? So let's do them all.
And I remind myself to thank the universe for having her love me. That is an interesting thing, too, that we are aware of the entire universe and have a word for that. I want to know the level of their
has
science.
made you love me. Alright, any idea about what you'd like to do before we tear ourselves from these sheets, Will?
I think that should be super flirty.
Ah.
Any ideas at all? Can you think of a single thing past the time we should get some more sleep?
It sounds like Uwu is more horny now.
I was just say now I'm totally with fooling around. It sounds interesting that if you've never had sex before, that you just sort of suddenly fool around, but I kind of like the idea because it sounds impulsive and more like a real person.
Right?
In a little bit of a way. So we are totally going to fool around here. Like, this is going to be a thing. I reach out to trail a finger over her freckled cheekbone. Her tawny skin kissed pink from the warmth of sleep. Now we're going to notice everything visually. We're engaged. Nothing but eyes are involved.
Now we are.
I decide to toy with her because I'm fully aware of what I want to do to pass the time and the way she looks at me.
And I really hope she does not kick me in the ribs again.
Again, it also sounds sort of wild to be like they're immediately going to go into like obscure or like specifically like challenging or flirting that requires more context kind of thing. Like the thing that's interesting here of I know what she wants to do, so I'm going to toy with her. You've never really been physical with her at all, and the first time you're going to start it, you're going to toy with her?
I know what you want. That's really assumptive, actually. You have no idea what Piper wants.
I suppose basically as sort of basically, and I'll just mention this, as the way the heralds in Valdemar are very fast and loose with their experiences because they die frequently and are able to maintain things very infrequently. It could be that hunters die and get moved around so frequently that they're never able to really develop deep relationships for the most part with each other. And so you really do assume, mature adults, I can just, assume you're completely experienced in all ways.
Right? Mm-hmm. And that, of course, everybody knows what you want. You're like, you only want apparently one kind of sex. That's it. Why are you guys all very boring? It's okay.
Or maybe
that
not.
doesn't mean that
Who
happens in
knows?
the Heralds of Valdemar. God, I remember everybody talking about that, though, and being like, everybody is just horny. They go do all the things. They are the debaucherous debauchee.
Okay, so I have to say that I had a roommate, right back when I was in college, so a few years ago, that tried to convince me to read the Valdemar series, like a couple of different ones, because I know they're most various ones.
They have various series
and
within the Valdemar world.
The way she pitched it to me was so uncomfortable because the only thing she cared about in there was basically the free and unobligated way in which people had sex with each other. And so she described this book that sounded like this explicit, massive romp of sexuality that also involved a disgusting amount of like angst and even like specific like archetypes and like jobs that were specifically for sex, but not like sex workers because they were healers that used sex and stuff. Like, It was all she cared about in the entire series. She didn't even mention the companions.
And I was like, that was the thing I mostly cared about.
Like, I was like, I'm a horse girl at that age. Like, I grew up as a horse girl. Like, I loved horses and unicorns like crazy. And, like, she didn't even try to pitch this with the magical sentient horses. She just wanted me to read it for the sex, and I was so confused, I stayed away from it for years.
Which I'm super entertained by, because I remember reading it when I was like 14, 15, I started reading that whole series. God, I ripped through that series and I was like, there is definitely a lot of horn in here. But there's also like freaking griffins and there's, tons of magical creatures.
There's also magic, there's torture, there's war,
bro.
there's amazing, horse friends that are the best magical animal that's ever come out of fantasy so far.
I
mean,
guess.
Magical animal companions, often a little annoying squirrel, or a bird that can speak to you, or, your chicken that goes along with you.
Yeah, see, no, but I read Dragon Riders of Pern. I don't agree with you, because
Are the dragons magical?
I mean...
I thought they were just psychic. I thought they were science, not magic.
Yeah, but you want to just call that magic anyway, because it's kind of silly.
Nope.
Like,
that's a science animal companion, not a magic animal companion.
Yeah, I don't care, but they could still be in your head and they would still talk to you, but they were basically usually like just a social reinforcement of who you were, which is a lot what the companions were, in my experience.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
Anyway, two well-designed magical companions, animal companions.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay, I think I know what she has in mind, too. Would you like to sleep a little longer? This is when you turn into a butthead with Nadia on the bridge. But what about the eels?
You are a companion. Is that what you are?
Yes, Delta Whiskey is companion. I know. I knew the minute that I made the reference that you would be like, I know that world. But it was
I get it.
And I eventually had one of my friends read the first book of Arrows of the Queen to me, and he just read it out loud while we were doing other things because I'm always busy as everything. And it was really cool, and it was very comforting because when I described the way the series had been pitched to me, he was like,
what?
She was obsessed with a very specific thing, and you will be okay. It's a good series. Let me help you. And it was very good. But yes, Delta Whiskey is a companion. Excellent.
It's true.
All right. Piper quirks a dark brow. Her eyes narrowed as she shakes her head.
I don't think I do. No.
No, not so much.
No.
With a husky laugh, she kisses me, and I once again find myself hungry for the simple press of skin against skin. When have we been hungry for that?
What? Oh, I assumed you picked the porn.
Did it?
I'm getting that impression.
Previously when we've been hugged by her or kissing her, I guess we've kind of been hungry for kisses, maybe, in days past?
I mean, I could be making an assumption here, but to me that just sort of, I'm hungry for this again. Are you assuming that we picked the sex option? Which, again, is not bad if people pick it. I'm just sort of entertained sometimes where it's like...
Your pathing of your game is assumptive.
Yeah, why would you pick anything else?
Her clever, weapon-calloused hands are eager to roam, and Piper shifts to sit in my lap with obvious intent.
Whoa.
What kind of intent requires lap-sitting, I wish to know.
I would like to know, actually.
The usual sharpness of her gaze is gone, softer and filled with affection now. I will be spicy and intense and strong and super soft. Soft and cuddly. Hapu. And she bites her lip before she leans in once again to capture my mouth with her own.
Chomp.
It's a lip bite. It's an anime trope. It's a romance trope. Sorry, romance trope.
It kind of is.
My heart pounds. My chest tight. Yeah, because you've been hurt, maybe? Lips parted. Breath gusting hot. Lashes flickering. So close that we become each other's entire world.
Whole world.
That is the most vague description of a makeout I've ever heard. I'm sorry. So lost in one another that we don't hear the footsteps that climb the stairs.
I think it's supposed to be more emotional and also to give you more room to go, well, this is what I consider makeouts to be.
I guess, like, that was super vague of, I'll be flirty and spicy and intense. I'll be flirty and spicy and intense. Oh, I'll be sarcastic with you. No. And then suddenly raw, intense, connective, deeply emotional, a vulnerable passion. Whoa.
Whoa. Well, that escalated quickly.
Also, we now know that she has at least a loft, but it looks like a 2-story house because there are stairs inside.
Ah, okay.
Which is larger house than I was expecting, but that is okay. So lost in one another that we don't hear the footsteps that climb the stairs, nor the rattle of the door handle. If someone has come into the house without it's got to be August, right? Because the person who would knock and you don't get an answer and then enter the house looking for their person that's been gone for 2 days.
I'm also like, that seems strange anyway, because I'm like, so does everybody just have door handles in this world? I don't know, it's fine.
Also, did you lock the front door, Piper? And did they pick the lock?
Right?
Then a wild August appears. It's a Pokemon! A wild August has appeared! Wide-eyed and turning a thoroughly impressive shade of pink before they swiftly step back out into the hallway. The door opened barely a sliver.
Sorry.
Hi. Wow.
Sorry.
Whoa. Piper barely flinches, turning to look at the door over shoulder?
Yep.
Over her shoulder, I imagine.
Probably.
The door over shoulder. It's the It's the over shoulder door.
The shoulder door over?
Everyone just it's like an over the shoulder shawl. It's an over the shoulder door. She's just carrying. Okay, so this is suddenly dream logic where you're in the room and she's also carrying it on her back. We go.
Nice.
All right.
Do you often barge into people's homes and interrupt them in the throes of passion, Willenheim?
Us. Silent and unresponsive. We just died. Literally. Ghost out of us. Too embarrassed. She's smiling, smirking, and I'm just about willing the ground to swallow me whole. We are
super embarrassed.
We are deeply embarrassed. By the look that I caught upon August's face before they fled, I think we're in the same boat. The theys are embarrassed. Hashtag they are embarrassed.
Yeah! I was just coming to see how Uwu is doing, which I can see now that they're just swell.
They are fine, in fact.
Interesting choice of words, actually.
Okay. Are we suggesting... Okay, so, are we suggesting something about anatomy here? Because, what are you meaning when you say interesting choice of words about swell? I hear a cough from behind the door.
So like I said, I thought actually mildly that unfortunately there is some degree of assuming that the individuals who are going to more commonly romance Piper are going to be a particular set of body characteristics, and I don't know what to think of that. Anyway, it's fine. It doesn't mean that it's not funny, but I'm also like, really?
I don't know what else the reference would be to, so that's why I just wonder.
Or are we just talking about the fact that depending on how much tomfoolery we're doing, that Piper's really like, yes, swelling.
I don't know.
And
say it could be the other
flushing,
thing, basically going. I would say it could be flushing, but also it could be an interesting reference of you're doing just swell and going, oh, you've reduced yourself to basically childlike language. Oh, we just swell out here. Going, yeah, clearly. Just say they're hot and bothered. It's fine.
It's fine.
All right. I hear a cough from behind the door, smiling at the thought of a flustered August, because we still think they're hot.
I think you should say, I hear a cough from behind the door. I smile. Period. I smile, because that doesn't sound like I smiling.
Smiling at the thought.
Smiling at the, it doesn't seem like it works. It says, I hear a cough from behind the door. Smiling at the thought of a flustered August. So the cough is behind the door, smiling at the thought of a flustered August?
I heard that too.
Yeah,
it's
no, I'm
okay.
I don't get it.
The subject is not there.
It's okay. I'll just leave you to it then.
No individual who is our boss. Actually, we do need to talk about the case. Piper's grin widens. A devilish thing.
That would be wise, dearest August.
I feel like since we're in charge of Piper,
I feel
literally,
like you
we
guys
should
used to
really...
be dating.
You really do. I feel like a threesome with them would make so much sense.
I do too.
Like, if you're dating two people, I still am like, from the very beginning, I was like, Piper and August have got to be one of the polyroute options. Like, that was just something I thought from the very beginning. It makes so much sense.
Well, it's also because, narratively speaking, having that amount of, like, conflict and fallout and whatever else would work really well for developing a story or a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So you used to be together, you guys fell out, and that would be interesting to see the fact that you guys were still interested in each other, and then you were kind of the thing that sort of got them back together, but also that they wanted to, they just didn't know how to do it because both of them are dorks.
Friends.
That conflict is interesting.
To lovers, to enemies, to lovers again.
Uh-huh.
It
I'm
could
like,
work.
it could work really well. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of like, I don't...
Also,
What's
dearest
with
August.
the red?
That's the flowers.
It's literally in a couple of spaces, and that's it. There's a red.
Oh, that? Oh, no.
red,
That's the tax
red.
holding up the branches, I assume.
Oh, okay. I hope so, because I don't get it. Don't worry. I'll ensure they're still in one piece when I'm finished.
Oh, God. But yeah, so if anyone didn't notice, like, on the vine on the back wall, there's, like, three
Yeah.
red, like, sort of maroon-colored dots.
Right here. I was like,
Uh-huh.
hang on, because I'd never noticed them before, but also when it was at night and the color scheme had changed.
I assumed they were taxed to hold the branch in place.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me. I was like, what is that?
One piece. They mutter something inaudible
Just
under
don't
their
eat the
breath before I hear the scurry of heeled boots practically running down her stairs.
Why also is August just trained to go, I'm just going to walk into people's damn houses?
Well, like I said,
Why do people have that?
if it was a boss thing, the same way they tried to barge into our room at the Wolf, and that would be the establishing shot of basically their behavior, of going, I have knocked on your door aggressively. I have walked in and called your name and looked for you. I have now gone upstairs and noticed that your bedroom door is closed, so I'm like, are you still asleep? You should be awake for work. I haven't seen you for 2 days, and then going, oh shit. But also going, did anyone else visit us for 2 days while we were down? We have established that we think of all of the people in this game, I mean, all the people with, actual, like, models that are dateable, as family, as being very close to us. We are an odd family. We are people that, we've become a family. Like, it's been mentioned again and again by Uwu that we feel very close to all of the dating options as far as platonic connection is concerned.
Except trust no one.
Right. I was going to say, and so if anyone else feels close to us at all, which has been indicated that some of them do, then would no one come and visit us while we're laid low for 2 days? Would Ezra not come and check on us? Would our boss not come and see us? Like, nothing? Because that would be the question that I would have of going, has August been coming every day to, one, update Piper on shit and or find out why she's not doing her job, or to check on us, or who else has come and seen us? Because, like, honestly, when you're completely knocked out, like, that's a good time for people to worry about you, and if they want to see you, and see how you're doing, that's a really good time to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, down the stairs. Piper turns to me with a sigh, and I would be very interested in what brought them there and if this was expected.
Where were we?
I laugh at her boldness, at her ability to give absolutely no fucks about, well, anything.
Except it sounds like that you guys have wanted to give a lot of fucks, actually. Like, I don't really agree, and that's okay. It's fine.
I mean, no fucks about anything would mean you'd not be worried that, she wouldn't be really aggressively worried about the fact that you have, creature blood inside of you, I would think. But no fucks about anything in reference to stuff that we notice and care about where we're super uncomfortable. Alright, I love you, Piper. She leans in, brushing my lips with her own.
I love you too.
As much as I'd love to, we should. Her pout is impressive, and she knows what I'm about to say, knows that I'm right.
Our enforcer seeing us in such a tangle is a little bit of a mood killer, isn't it?
It more of, to me, suggests
Actually,
you're just out of time.
Yeah. No.
Like, that like, for me, it's not really so much a mood killer as it is a, you need to do your actual job now, actually.
Yeah.
Which is a thing that I've been really surprised that Uwu has gotten this high in the ranks and doesn't seem to focus on what I would consider to be my understanding of their job very often at all.
Right?
And so it's kind of interesting that way. Alright. Actually, no. I don't think anything can make me not want you.
Oh. Well then,
back to it! Alright, yeah. Piper moves to sit upon the edge of the bed, pushing her long hair over her shoulder so it cascades down her back. Was it like, had she literally just been like, I will sit in your lap and pull all of my hair forward and press it against you kind of thing in a way that some people who are really excited about or proud of their hair find it to be very sexy will do. Like, why wasn't it behind her back anyway? I don't know. Okay, see, she does have pants on now. And she didn't before. Wow, your eyes are super blue in this one.
Like, whoa. And that's okay. People's eye colors do change. I'm not saying...
And also lighting affects them a lot.
Lighting does a lot, but yeah, I'm just like...
She's perfect. Every imperfect inch of her.
Oh, God, I haven't heard. She's perfect in her imperfection.
Why are we calling her imperfect? Also, again, I'm like, why do you keep sort of fading out her Vitiglio experience? Let it show. She has massive variations in her skin, and that's great and fine. It looks cool as hell.
I think maybe, again, they're trying to figure out what to do with the lighting is probably what happened here, because a lot more of it is washed out in this particular one.
Also, if this is the first time we've seen her back, I would love to see patterns on it, you know?
I know!
Like, that would be really cool. Not that she has to have them, and some people only have it in a couple of places.
Also,
and I don't mean to, like, say, yes, Vitiglio is beautiful and such like that. It's just an experience that you have, and it can look really cool and be artistic.
Well, and I'm also like, why wouldn't you mention the Vitiglio? Because this...
she's perfect. Every imperfect inch of her scars, her freckles, the delicious tawny hues of her skin, her messy hair. Yeah, if you're looking at everything...
the patchwork of skin that is a different color, you know, or something like...
I know,
like,
the variations of tone on her skin.
Right?
The patchworks that define her, you know, that kind of thing. Like, I think this would be a great time to point out the fact that you gave her a cool genetic variation.
I understand some people go, well, I'm already visually showing it to you. I'm like, then you should take out her scars, her freckles... And the delicious... I'm like, all of this is ridiculous. You just have a picture. Like, there's no point to do... I don't know. It frustrates me.
I think it would be a really good time to mention it. Also,
I do too.
If we're really taking time to just ogle the hell out of her in great detail for the first time with less clothes on, not only would that be a great time to mention it, but also to visually highlight it in the drawing. Pick lighting that works better for it if you're not, if you're not sure how to make this lighting work. Because honestly, she's backlit. She should be washed out as hell. Like, just saying.
And you'd be like, I'm blinded by the light.
Also, she lets her hair cascade down her back. It's literally not on her back.
It's really...
That's like seeing, Omen's brows come together. The literal part of his face that's covered, of thing.
You're like, I couldn't see that. Thanks, though.
It's fine. But I was like,
we have superpowers. We see through hair.
She throws her hair over the back.
Wait, it is true, though. We really do. We see through her hair.
If you choose to have sex with her, this CG would be more nude. Interesting.
Oh.
Does the lighting change, or did you notice when you assumably went that route? Because I don't even really care that she's not very nude. I mean, it's like not a specific point. It's more like an interest in showing off the character that they've designed physically. Because I know for fantasy characters, if you have an art reference for them, or basically an art piece of them, a lot of their character design is how they look. And being in artistic communities and stuff, one of the biggest things I've seen is like, I love this character design. And they're not talking about who the character is or what their personality is or anything. They're just talking about what they look like.
Right.
And I just would like to highlight what she looks like more, because I've actually never seen any kind of a game that has somebody with basically a cool ass skin condition. I mean, and I say cool by they clearly thought about where they were putting this and did it, to try and make her look interesting. In the way that everyone does that with, like aesthetic scars on their characters, because you can't really put an unattractive scar on, your character.
It's true. It's all because you have to deliberately put it there.
But like the fact that they took and they decided to give her Vitiglio is a really neat choice, because there's not a lot of representation out there for her.
And you can see more of her scars in Vitiglio.
Okay. Neat! Thank you. I love that.
I was actually kind of confused, to be honest, for a second, going like, what scars?
I was going to say, yeah. So that is great. Thank you, Niagaku.
That's great.
All right. Messy hair. The way my eyes greedily roam over her doesn't go unnoticed.
Like what you see, huh?
I've never liked it before, but this time I do. Flirt. Very much so, actually. Yes.
Yes.
I reach out to trail a finger down from the nape of her neck, over the dip of her spine, through the middle of her hair. Honestly, it's really cool when someone has their hair down their back and they have thick, long hair, and you just push your hand into the hair and then find their spine and just run it down their back while you also have the hair sort of all around your hand. I would have been I'm for that experience. I'm like, she threw her hair over, onto her back. We dug into her soft hair and we're just like, we're gonna just run down your spine.
We've done it.
Her cheeks turn a subtle shade of pink, and I smile as she shudders under my touch. The ability to make Piper Merriman blush is something I'll forever cherish, since she has no shame.
Apparently not. If only we could stay here all day, just like this.
The idea of lying here with this beautiful woman and burning daylight with each other is more than enticing. However, I think it's
I will
interesting.
be an adult. Or have a job.
I will go and do my job because it's really important that I do my job. I also think it's very interesting that we specify woman, not like person or, you know, my friend or companion or partner or whatever, even if we, you know, because since it's been implied that we think of her that way.
Woman does seem a little bit distancing.
This beautiful
She is an object.
woman.
She could be any woman. This beautiful woman. But, you know, there's lots of beautiful women, but this beautiful
woman is a sort of objectifying term. It's sort of like a distancing term, if you will.
That's what I said.
Because like calling someone your friend, but like so let's say if I picked one of my friends who actually is a woman, right?
Right.
And then I was just like, yeah, over there, so and so, that woman is my friend.
Yeah.
Sounds real distant, you know, less personal.
It's not sharing much.
But
which
also,
is fine.
people go, I want to date a woman, kind of thing. And they don't mean a specific person that I'm close to.
Yeah.
They mean someone who is a woman that I will, you know, basically be attached to. So
Yeah.
to me, that's a little bit distancing and feels weird.
Yeah, I don't like it much either. It's okay. Alas, let's go save this idiot town from itself.
I don't think this idiot town created that creature, so I don't know that I follow.
I'm also like, what the fuck did I thought it was the enforcers, not the town.
I thought it was the monster, not the town. We're saying the town created the monster.
I'm saying, yeah, this is why I'm like, what are you talking about? It's fine, whatever.
Piper has the right idea. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Poor unfortunate
Fortunate
me. Can't stay and born.
Hang on, does that mean that, like, so if you have sex with her, that she would, only the CG would be more nude, but wouldn't that then mean that she shouldn't have any clothes in this either?
I don't know.
Oh, it's probably good then that we didn't, because if the CG is nude, that might mean that this is also nude. We'd be in a lot of trouble on Twitter, like on Twitch right now.
I don't think it goes that far.
I find that to be unfortunate.
Because, like, all the other characters are topless. Okay, so my friend ran into something online when researching this game, that there are topless CGs of all the characters except Piper.
Uh-huh.
And that seems wild to me, because it's like, if you're gonna show your characters topless to make them sexy, why wouldn't you do all of them? And I don't want to hear, like, I mean, and you're welcome to make them, but I don't really want to hear the argument of, but she's got breasts. Like, female presenting nipples just can go right out the window, okay? If you're showing them topless to be hot, let them all be topless and hot, okay?
Right? Make the equivalence there. Well, it's not the same. Yes, it is.
I mean, it's just a topless person, and it's appealing because they look nice, right?
Right? I know.
Anyway, so I thought that was a weird choice when my friend told me about it. I haven't actually seen all the pictures, but I was just like, really?
I actually thought it was really weird. I was like, oh, there's a bunch of these pictures. Where's Piper topless? Actually?
And so, and it's kind of a weird, like, I understand that it's probably for censorship reasons, because on the internet they, you know, consider it to be a completely different rating if you see a woman's chest rather than a, you know, anybody else's chest. But, like, it just kind of bothered me. I was like, why not do all of them? And if you have to, just put that one behind a censor bar unless you're in the game. Be like, but it's clearly that she's there and topless, you know?
Right?
Well, we'll have time when after this is all over. She smiles at that. Something soft.
I really do love you, you know?
It's okay. We have to say it over and over again. It's really important. We're saying we love her for her behaviors that exemplify her personality most.
No, I'm saying, like, I really... I'm
What?
sorry, I don't get the relationship here. There's not really much obvious, like, connection or comprehension or understanding. Again, we spent this entire week with each other, learning to understand each other and get along and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so why didn't you show the player that?
Because apparently
You're just supposed to accept. I don't appreciate it, because if your main point is to have a romance dating game, let me fucking romance/date them.
It does seem like there's more emphasis on the story itself than on the dating, which is interesting if you're
I'm
going to
like-
pitch it as a dating game rather than a story game that has dating in it.
Or also being like, you can have a story that also has dating, but this doesn't feel like dating. It's the same goddamn problem with Arcade Spirits. Arcade Spirits is like, you're gonna spend all this time with people and you're gonna date them. And we really only dated maybe one of the people on the side?
Like,
I don't even know. It was just really confusing. I don't understand what the emphasis is. Going like, What do you think you're doing? This is just romance. A bunch of characters going, I love you. Oh, I know, I love you too. Look at me, I love you.
That is the
I
building
love-
of a relationship.
That-
I am just disappointed that they did apparently a week of relationship building off screen, because that was what I really
it's
wanted.
missing. Yeah, it's already late.
Okay.
All right. I'm glad we have each other in all of this.
Me too.
I just like...
Right. The next few days felt surreal as I relayed my encounter with James to those who most needed to hear. Hang on.
What? Oh, we're going to skip this again.
We're going to do another time skip? That's wild.
Are you going to tell me who most needed to hear?
Uh-huh.
Actually, so then we know who needed to most hear, so we can understand what the emphasis of the game is and the process we're supposed to follow. I'm like, are we really actually supposed to be solving a mystery, or are we just sort of sitting here farting on our hands going, I'm just reading a book?
Well, I was just saying, I kind of think that what they're trying to demonstrate, question mark, is basically this experience that you can decide who you're close enough to tell this information to. But it also seems like a shorthand for writing of, we don't need to decide who you think this information would be important to, or it also implies that perhaps you have a team that you haven't been interacting with this whole time, and so you tell it to everyone.
Everyone.
The revelations were met with both shock and horror, but mostly anger.
Why?
Wait, we're not talking about killing the beast. We're not talking about what the creature is, or the examination of the creature, or its autopsy, or anything like that. Or nothing. We're not getting any briefing or debriefing from August of how the fight went, or how we are, or it's just over the next few days, as time passes in a blur, we tell people about the initiation procedure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that seems to be the only thing we care about, but I don't feel like that's the biggest thing in this specific local piece of the case. That's the bigger case overarching. And the thing that I understand about solving problems and things like that is that you really, or solving social crises, is that you want to solve the local chapter and then figure out what the bigger story is. Like, they even do that in X-Files, of you still have to placate the town people and talk to them about what had happened, even if there's a bigger, secret somewhere.
Right? Also, it's fine. Whatever. I'm also mostly anger. Because they've been using blood and I'm like, what if also maybe some of these demons or whatever the fuck decided, hey, this is how I'm going to support my overarching government that threatens to frickin' murder me by giving them my blood.
Right? And that's how I maintain my value.
And that's how I be a good minority. You know, because a lot of this is basically about power imbalances and oppression, I feel like, but then you would...
Unsurprisingly, we all found ourselves with the very same question. Heavy on the tip of our tongue. A question we haven't dealt with till now. Why?
I thought we already had that explanation!
I thought we know exactly
James,
why. No, but why? Why? To make us stronger, to make us faster, to make us equipped to fight the things. Is it a different question, or am I missing this? Because why? We talked to them about what James told us, which is about the initiation, and then the initiation, everyone going, I'm angry or disgusted or overwhelmed or whatever, and why? It has literally been explained to make you fast enough and capable enough and strong enough.
Yeah, James
to fight
was like,
the
the
creatures you're
first
after.
hunters literally just kept fucking dying almost instantly.
Like, it was in the story as to why.
Is our character a moron?
Or basically everyone else's, no one can figure out, why would they augment us to make us superhumans? Oh my god, why? Why didn't we just tell them why as part of the story? Because we weren't strong enough to fight these creatures without it.
Right?
Because we aren't strong enough to fight these creatures without it. I cannot deny that the world we live in is a terrifying and uncertain one, but it's all that I know. All that I ever have known. And days pass again in this weird miasma. Mm-hmm. Finn tells me that even before the Revelation Day, there were unexplained disappearances.
See, and now it's capitalized.
It is capitalized.
I forgot!
Okay, it's just inconsistency. It is an important day, and they do capitalize it when they remember.
James is like, it's full of shit.
Aye.
Finn, it's really important.
Okay, imagine that. Like, James actually saying it in lowercase because he's disillusioned.
Right?
Right.
Well, how we would be able to perceive that is a thing I would like to know.
It'd probably be like speaking it, like a little sarcastic or whatever. There were unexplained disappearances, murders, grisly things found but never spoken of. Corruption is inevitable in organizations such as this one, but for something so profound and nefarious to be going
That is
on right under our noses. Are we
Okay.
saying it's corrupt to turn us into superhumans?
Hang the fuck on.
Because that's what
Okay.
I'm hearing. It's corrupt to turn us into superhumans.
Hang the fuck on. Okay. Let alone the fact or the concept, the mere proposal that all things, all organizations are inevitable in organizations.
Like all corruption is inevitable.
Corruption is inevitable is actually a thing that people have argued about is not actually true, and I feel like that's a certain... I don't agree with that.
It's a certain trope that's a very negative worldview and fits well for a police officer, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just like, what? No, is inevitable.
Could you plug it in over there?
Such as this one. I don't even think you know which this one is. You know, like, it's fine.
Sorry, I have to charge my
fine.
phone, so there might be a beep or a ding.
Eh.
There we
Get
go.
it.
Excellent.
Well, it dingles at me.
Yes, I would say so.
Bing,
So
bing.
that's a weird one. So yes,
But also
I don't like the idea that corruption is inevitable, but it makes sense for someone who is essentially a super cop,
And-
to think that for a police organization that is also the
Honestly,
government to
bullshit.
think corruption is inevitable.
I think so. Like, honestly, it would be a complex issue if you had real people involved in this scenario. They would go like, "This is not corruption. This is reasonable. This is rational," because you are literally dealing with inhuman monsters. Of course, you need to alter people in order to fit this, and they're making a good, important sacrifice. Or some people are not even necessarily sarcastically, just to being like. Yeah, they're
is
doing
why-
what they have to in order to survive. This is what humanity needs to do. And some people go, we should do it more. You should make us even more inhuman. You should. I'm like, I
Make
don't
us
understand
stronger.
this at all.
Well, and
like,
that's what I'm confused about here. Like, I'm not a big fan of the corruption is inevitable, because usually that's an excuse for behaving badly. Well, it's just going to happen.
oh yeah,
I'm gonna say,
that is
but-
such a.
But for something so profound and nefarious to be going on. So we're saying that, like I said, creating superhumans is profound and nefarious. And or that hiding it is profound and nefarious. But everyone knows that the hunters are better than regular humans. Like, everyone knows this.
Yeah.
And that they have skills that the regular humans don't have. Except they continue to talk about, well, enforcers don't understand hunters because they don't have the same experience. No one understands hunters because they don't have the same experience. But it also seems, again, like everyone still knows that you're superhumans.
Right?
They know you can fight and do better than anybody else. So it's confusing to me.
I don't know.
I can't help but wonder if the ends justify the means in this little scheme that started in the brain of our leader.
You
Wait.
think it was just Harry?
Is Harry as old as the agency itself?
How old is Harry supposed to fucking be? 900 years old?
I mean, I don't know how old the agency
No,
is.
I don't know
so
either. I mean sarcastic.
maybe it's only like 40 years old.
I am being ridiculous for the sake of making
But,
a point.
okay, but he was in the agency and went to one of their schools. So are we saying that he was among the group of people, like when the agency existed, before they actually did genetic mutation, and he came up with the idea for genetic mutation in the first place, and then the blood ritual started?
That sounds fucking bonkers.
And how would we suddenly come up with that and not have told anyone about that?
Oh, it really is it's only a select few people in this organization are corrupt.
And
And then as soon as you get rid of this is
have we we've literally
Wow.
not talked about Harry hardly at all. And so I'm like, is there an experience where we've suddenly decided that Harry was the one that came up with the idea for everyone to drink blood and make the hunters powerful in the first place? Because it doesn't sound like that. Because it sounds like it was par for the course and had always been that way when James had it done to him.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like it was standard when James had it, and they were in the same year. So, like,
What?
on the other hand, we can have wild theories and they can be accurate, but it seems like it'd be confusing to the player.
What? What?
Or unless someone else is our leader, because Harry doesn't run the entire organization for the entire country. I don't.
Oh, it's
think.
true. Maybe if
He's only local. So
Yeah,
we
maybe
So maybe
leader
we're
is
talking
someone
about.
else.
Yeah, maybe we're talking about someone bigger and higher.
Like, if you're talking about Harry, though, I'm going
Oh.
to, like, crack up. I'm not
The
even kidding.
cost is so high. The loss is vast and heartbreaking.
What?
Well, because some people reject it, but it didn't say they die when they reject it.
No, they didn't at all. I'm like, what are you talking about? The cost is so high. What's the cost?
Maybe I don't know.
What?
The cost is so high that all these people who were otherwise regular good humans have become monsters. Maybe that's the cost. Because, again, we're so incredibly prejudiced against monsters, it is unacceptable to make humans monsters. Maybe?
I don't know.
And exactly
I don't know.
when does it
Oh my
end?
God.
I am lost. So lost.
Oh my god.
Where does the line get drawn when the divide between what's right and wrong is so very blurred?
Except that it's not.
I mean, unless...
I don't, because the thing, okay, so the reason I'm saying it's not is because I don't have enough information here. I'm
Right?
saying you're making an assumption for what's right and what's wrong. I don't have all the information. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know what normal and social mores look like for your society. What does it look like in regards to what you have a baseline for normalcy to be? Is it actually anything in accordance to your laws and then your government, which are actually separate things? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
I think they think more about the creature. Maybe? I hope so.
Maybe that's what they're talking about. Okay, that's great, Nia.
I mean, if it is the thing we said, is this the chimera like it is in the the Full Metal Alchemist thing?
right. And then basically they're going.
But I'm like,
but have we made the extrapolation finally? Because it didn't seem like in the dream state that we understood that the creature was. I mean, we did finally understand the creature was a person, but it didn't seem like we focused on it at all. I guess that one.
Well, so I'm like,
and so I guess maybe we are finally talking about the fact that the creature was a person, and going, yeah, how far does it go? When does it stop? And so we're not actually talking about the blood anymore. We're talking about that the creature is a person. But if we're telling everyone not what the initiation is, and only that this creature was a person who was genetically altered, that seems like a very different discussion.
yeah, no, I'm like, I don't. What are you talking? Like,
Which
that's why I'm going like,
even Piper didn't seem to respond much to, like, well, we didn't really tell Piper that the creature was someone he knew, did we?
no, I just said he hesitated.
Yeah.
That's really there was no
like he showed mercy
Uh-huh.
and he had compassion, but we didn't say because it was someone he knew. So I
mean-
guess we couldn't. Did we?
No, I think we did.
I think we did.
might either that or it was like an internal dialogue thing. It wasn't something we said out loud to Piper. That's the thing. I'm like, I remember it was someone he knew, but I don't remember if it was. Is there a way to go look? Because I'm like,
I mean, you have to. I wouldn't worry about it right now.
did they actually say that?
I think they did, but Piper didn't really react to it, which was sort of the weird thing.
Yeah, I'm like,
Piper
why would you-
didn't go. What do you mean
Okay.
the creature was someone he knew?
right? Because I would talk about. That's again where I'm like, what is
The conspiracy deepens.
The conspiracy
The
does
conspiracy
deepen.
deepens.
Dang,
But
like,
thank you for your memory, Niagaku. I appreciate it, because I really thought that we did say it out loud.
I thought we did.
And then it was just wild that Piper didn't react to it very much, going, what do you mean?
I think
creature
the
was
reason why
someone he knew?"
sometimes I forget stuff about this game is because what I expect people to respond to, they just drop.
Right?
Or like actually talk about, they just don't care about. And I'm like,
Or
you
they
don't.
seem to have instant, profound understanding with no discussion.
And there's also like mild. I just don't even get it.
All right.
It's really.
So-
it feels really alien. I feel
Very
so like.
blurred.
It feels a little like being drugged.
This is like 3 days at this point. We're
Holy
just
cow.
staying in we're just stuck in our room again. This feels so weirdly surreal.
Here we go.
Would it have been safer for us to all live in ignorant bliss all the time? Or would they have overrun us eventually anyway? Who's they?
Who's they? Why are we being so vague?
Because we're in our own head and we don't need to expose it to ourselves.
Except we're expositing all of this to ourselves.
I know.
So
Maybe.
just exposit?
But these are the cards we've been dealt. And Harold Addington has a dirty hand. Wait. We're
You are
suddenly
blaming
now
on him.
blaming Harry? Are we talking to people about Harry is involved in some kind of magical genetic research? But again, he wasn't there at the beginning, so we're only talking about the creatures themselves.
So if
We
that's
must?
if they're just talking about the
And
creature,
then why didn't we focus on that with Piper? That would have been a great time to exposit that, to go, Piper, Harry's been involved in magical genetic research. I think he created the creature. Like, that would have been such a profound thing to say.
But what I would like to know is to what degree, why would you be making monsters? Or is it you're accidentally making monsters because you're trying to improve your formula?
I would imagine... Okay, so recently we played Final Fantasy VII Remake on our channel. We haven't finished it yet because the channel's still on hold, though, again, we've had assurances it will be returned to us. It just hasn't happened yet. I was just saying, and in it, all the time when monsters are described in your little Pokédex, it describes them as being accidentally released and or escaping from the laboratory they were made in. So it is standard fantasy canon that you make giant ass monsters in the lab and then, oh no, they've escaped.
Oh,
So I imagine they're trying to create better super soldiers and occasionally failing at it.
Yeah.
And then they break out of the lab and then people go, well, shit, we lost one.
Honestly, though, that's why I actually made the Final Fantasy VII reference that I did last time, because I was just kind of like, this just sounds like Final Fantasy VII in a weird
It sounds
way.
like Shinra Laboratories are trying to make a better super soldier.
And what they're doing is
occasionally
making monsters.
And what they're doing is making monsters, and they're occasionally going, oh no, the monster hath escaped.
Oh no!
All right.
I didn't suspect.
But I would have loved it if we'd have tied this to Harry beforehand, especially when talking to Piper, when they did the biggest scene of exposition that we've had on this so far. And now we're into a weird sort of summary montage again. It's a little weird, but also a lot of it's vague.
Yeah.
Oh good, we went outside again. I'm still biding my time. I also want to know about the body of the freaking creature. You'd think that'd be really illuminating.
You know, like the body of the fledgling. I'm fine, it's okay.
Like the body of the actual person who died the last time and was burnt to a cinder, or was it the same as the other murders or not, or do we ever want to find out, or are we ever going to go to the other crime scenes ever?
Nope.
Hashtag no crime scene.
None for
Hi,
you.
just fight. I'm still biding my time, trying to gather any final scraps of information while I wait for the word from Harry. Wait
Or
for
word that Harry has
reappeared.
reappeared? Where did he go? What the fuck? That line doesn't mean anything to me. I didn't know that he disappeared until now.
So the only time that I know that he...
Oh my god.
Didn't August say he was away for something? That Harry was working on... No, he just said he was working on something. They just said he was working on something else.
Did they?
I think so. I don't remember.
Oh my god.
The only thing that I know is that in our vision, he went away from James.
Yeah, no, I remember
but
that
would
from
have
James.
been in the past before we ever came here. So
What?
did Harry disappear?
Harry has gone off to furiously research.
To furiously science.
Science!
Furious sciencing.
Furiously science.
As I do most days now, I walk the town from one end to the other. Lunaris is easy to patrol.
What? Why is it easy to patrol? You literally said that we get attacked all the fucking time.
And that it requires a whole lot of people to even keep track of one
Oh
thing
my
in
god.
the city.
Okay, so I didn't really blow up at it last time when they were just like, you know, because they said for that week montage, we just go out and training. Nothing really big happens. I'm like, you literally say that Lunaris has been under constant attack, like, almost all the time. There's so much going on. Lunaris is super active. Wow, Lunaris is the hotbed of activity.
But also,
and now
it's
it's
super
the
tiny.
easiest to patrol, and it's super tiny. And
Okay, so patrolling is different than defending, and if we've been used to patrolling like a giant-ass city, this could be even in reference to we can't see the whole thing or get to it easily. It's
yeah, but
really
it
easy to
seems
patrol.
to even cause the enforcers a shit ton of stress in regards to, like, and the shit ton of enforcers that they have
It's
to
true.
combat this. I'm like,
Alright,
decide!
I walk the city from one to the other. Lunaris is easy to patrol, as small as it is, and the town folk seem almost relieved when I pass by. Almost relieved. Except for
Almost.
they've also been scared of you.
They have been absolutely deeply uncomfortable.
The enforcers, who are supposed to be behind desks, have become such a suffocating presence here lately, and every time I encounter one, I can't help but feel like I'm being watched. Do you mean presence here in the town, or presence to you, the hunters?
I don't know.
Are they all in on this?
I mean,
You literally just talked to August. Oh my god. In these 3 days, have you only told August about the hunter thing, if indeed they were one of the people that needed to hear it? I was gonna say, and then, why are we not talking to them more? Dear God, I wonder what this game is like if we date August, because I feel like, given their rank, this would make so much more sense to tell them everything rather than Piper.
right?
I just, like, also, we say constantly, the enforcers, just shitting on August for being an enforcer and just being lumped in with everyone.
Yeah, I know. I love the particular, well, you know, you're the exception.
Except
August
for-
is also still, though, part of it.
And
But
the thing
how
is,
August
like,
also, though, isn't involved is beyond me. What happened? August would have either had to have found out, or somebody would have, Harry would have been like, no, don't trust August for arbitrary reason.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Like,
if
what?
it's an enforcer conspiracy, why don't we think August is in on it?
Like, I don't...
Or if we do, why aren't we getting suspicious of them? Are they all in on this?
Because we're not suspicious of August.
Back to the woods!
At all.
I find myself in the woodland, at the edge of the graveyard. The sun shining, but the air crisp and cold. Grass crunches between my boots, and I see a path of destruction as I walk into an open clearing. Okay, is this where our fight was? Anyone else would be alarmed to see the destruction, I find. Would likely suspect a creature had been the one to carve jagged welts into the trunks of the trees. But
But what?
I know what caused this, and it was certainly no creature.
What?
Okay, if you say it's a werewolf, they're a creature, because we've already established that. So
We really have. So
Piper's been out here just angrily hacking at trees.
For reason. Oh, not.
Ah! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Hey, panic attack, Jack. How you
Hey,
doing?
welcome!
I'm also just like you called it. Oh my god!
I find her a little further in, kneeling in the dirt,
Oh,
her
my
head bowed.
God.
Beside her are 2 pieces of what was once a training staff, cracked down the center. Are we saying that the staff was able to make, like, huge gashes in the trees?
That sounds bonkers.
That's one hell of a staff. We're pretty good. So far, so alright. Like, we've just been sort of confused as heck about this game. But it's still been interesting. Like, it hasn't gotten boring, just confusing.
Like, the biggest thing is I'm just lost. So it's okay. It's okay.
There's a lot of that. Alright. Cracked. I approach quietly, and when she looks up, I see a blankness in her eyes. Her expression sour. Are we literally saying that we haven't seen Piper for days?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, all the days we've been in our room just having this day-night montage, we haven't seen Piper, even though we literally just got physically involved with her for the first time.
I'm gonna angst into the sunshine.
Piper was really messed up by the idea that she's part creature, though. Like, that's what I'm getting. Like, that was super distressing to her.
I don't know. Maybe it's because, like, I have heard the narrative so much, and it's one of those things that I've heard a lot of people discuss, where it seems like individuals who are either a part of, like, the trans community or the queer community really don't mind that they're monsters. Like, this whole idea of being othered that hard, it's like you already are considered to be monstrous.
But like I said, again, so it might not be relatable to the reader if it's specifically a queer game and then they go, you're a monster, but we've also othered all the monsters really aggressively. Okay, that's a really interesting narrative, so just stick with me for a second. So one of the things that's been really interesting about the developing queer community in our current world, like modernly right now, is that a lot of people have talked about whenever, like that they relate to monsters more than they relate to humans. And it's been a big thing. It's also been like part of the furry community kind of thing of going, it is easier to connect to this othered, separate thing that's not a person because I'm already othered by society and there's a safer, more comfortable space there. And so oftentimes the narrative of the monster in a movie will feel more familiar to a person who's been ostracized for their queer experience than the main character's experience will. And writing a game like this one that has a queer narrative and at least can be incredibly queer because of the nature of things going on in it and the fact that you have 2 couples that are straight out queer even if you don't date anyone,
right?
And are represented in the game, it really feels a little bit weirdly tone deaf to go, but the monsters are the others and we're supposed to be, against them or whatever.
Right? Or feel terrible and horrible.
But at the same time, it's also an interesting sort of bold move of going, your main character connects not to monsters at all and completely discriminates against them, and then going, you're really gonna have to learn to connect to them if they're gonna be people.
Right?
And so it's like, I just think Piper was really messed up by the fact that she has part of what she's completely prejudiced against built into her. And the thing is, the reason they're so prejudiced is because of their indoctrination as, super cops.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
She forces a smile, her chest heaving with labored breaths, sweat slicking her flushed skin.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi, you look like a mess. Flirt.
Nice.
She hauls herself from the ground, kicking aside the splintered wood with a grunt. Then, she retrieves 2 intact staffs from a bag nestled in a pile of overgrown grass.
Would you want to say
holds one out to
staffs
me.
or staves?
Usually you would say staves, but you can say staffs. Also, I'm going, that's a really long bag or a really short staffs. Usually you don't store a pole arm in a bag. Not that you can't, but that sounds a little wild.
It's really small. It's
Maybe
like,
they're telescoping.
Oh no,
What?
it's Donatello's little twiggy. From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he has his like short staff.
Oh.
That's like
Could be like a little 4-foot short staff.
yeah.
Okay. I think it's funny that she came out here with a bag of staffs and had just been breaking them against trees.
Uh-huh.
What did I do? I went and got this beautiful handmade artisan product, and then I've just been cracking them apart against trees. I think in history, monsters have been extremely queer-coded. Lesbians, some Dracula films, these characteristics, so much easier see ourselves in these characters. Yes! Than a society's accepted hero. Yes, that's the narrative we're talking about exactly.
Minbari fighting Pike? Yes. Actually, that might
Ooh.
be true. But yeah, no, I mean, that's the big thing that a lot of people have talked about in regards to, like, queer stories. Like, it's interesting, honestly.
Or basically into why the queer audience loves horror so much.
At least in more modern senses, because as if you go back, obviously, far enough in history, people have talked about it going, the reason why you don't have queer or gay stories specifically is just because it was so much basically a part of the culture that you didn't even have the language to go, that is the gay, you just had gay, basically, happening.
A little telescoping thing. Perfect.
Yes.
The Minbari fighting pike.
Yes.
I didn't actually know what that was, so I went and looked it up.
I do remember it because it was Babylon 5.
Right, and it's beautiful. Could be several hundred years old. I like it. But yeah, that's the sort of, and it's just, I found this to sort of be a bold and interesting narrative this entire game. Of one, specifically going, we're writing you as essentially a police officer, but like, again, a super cop. And what you are is you're policing minorities, which are all these inhumans that you have around you. And you basically dehumanize them just as some of our policing methods do with minorities here. And then they're trying to basically appeal to this specifically to a queer audience, which feels like that would be a little bit alienating, but it also seems like if you could keep everybody engaged and move it around to an arc that I don't know if they're going to do, but I've been theorizing would be possible in reference to our character who is assumably not connected to this queer narrative, if you will, at all, and the fact that these people, these others, have been othered, is then going to have to learn to see and treat them as people, and maybe it would then be validating to the queer people playing it, going, not only do I have representation here in the monster narrative, but I then have been accepted by what is the normie.
So, here's my other question, though, actually. I wonder how far this game actually is dealing with the humans versus basically the others in this case, because like in The Witcher, for example, I don't know if you guys know, because we keep bringing it up in reference to it, but in the story of The Witcher, right, in the Witcher world, they are actually literally on another planet. Humans showed up randomly, breaking through time and space through a portal,
and then proceeded to colonialism.
Yeah, and then proceeded to basically have a colonialism, but it was that they were originally the minorities, and they basically just outbred / out-violenced literally everyone else there.
Until they were the majority.
Which is why they have such huge issues, because,
everybody else is like, we have 5,000 years of culture, and the humans are like,
oh, even longer than
we've been here for 600 years, this is our world.
It's ours now! Yeah, so which is really interesting, but I'm like, so is that what's going on here? Or is this like the earlier days? I guess this is closer towards basically that day of deliverance where it actually used to be that humans were actually the minority, maybe?
I don't know.
And then they've now taken over to become the majority. I just don't understand. Like, it might also be that, like, a lot of people don't necessarily realize that they're writing a colonialist narrative.
I say, based on what Niyagaku has shared with us and what we've picked up on our own, I would tend to say that your sort of Day of Awakening or whatever was...
Day of Revelation.
That one, Day of Revelation, was sort of when humans realized that other things were there. And so we didn't specifically colonize their spaces while knowing they were there. Even if we did move into those spaces, and much the way wildlife just moves out, they just moved out until basically they had no further corners to go into. And that's when the Day of Revelation happened, and they went, look, you're destroying our habitat, as it were, not to inhuman them more, but that would be our experience, basically, and we're going to push back. Right. Finally, the deer are coming into the city.
Yeah, I could see that. That could be the one thing.
All right, and holds it out to me.
I know you've come to talk about deep shit, so how about you humor me and let me kick your arse while we're at it?
Okay, that sounds hilarious. Almost into my brand of fantasy romantic.
It's fun.
I keep my gaze fixed upon hers as I take one of the staffs from her. So cocky. Piper shrugs, nonchalant, and definitely cocky. I mean, one of the things about all of the hunters that we have met, which has been 2, is that they're really cocky and self-assured.
I wish we would meet more of the people who are involved in this story. More enforcers. I want more, of, like, the other hunters. That would be really helpful. Like, even just meeting more townspeople. Like, I want a strictly, like, human-only perspective here.
So colonialism has been so prevalent throughout human history that if a storyteller has any race narrative, it would seem like an impossible task not to reference it. I mean...
I agree.
In real life, yes, absolutely. It's just interesting. Okay, so this is actually a really cool thing to bring up, where there's this experience in a lot of fantasy worlds where essentially there's a colonialism narrative without really meaning to it. I'm going to make it as simple as possible so we can keep moving forward. Not that we need to stop discussing this, but just so that, the conversation is clear, if you will. But like in D&D and your standard role-playing games, there's always a language called Common.
Right.
And Common is the language that seemingly everyone knows unless they're part of a really specific tiny ethnic group, like over there. If you're in like the Elven City, if you're in like the, Dwarven Mines, some people might not know Common. But Common is everything in the normal world. And having a unified language across the world of any kind is a colonialist narrative. And so people bleed it into their fantasy all the time without having context for what they're doing, because their whole life has been steeped in colonialism, because that's been their experience. Now, usually when you get people of color who are story creators, you get different narratives, or ones that are more aware of what they're doing, because they've been basically on the butt end of that. Now, not necessarily in the sense of like everyone's going to be aware like that.
Oh, yeah.
But there's more people that have gone, I've been oppressed by the colonialism, so I'm aware of it, whereas me as a white girl was never really aware of it until much into my adult life, and has had to have a lot of video essays by a lot of very well-researched people to get a sense of what it is.
Right, because you don't really get the sense of scope of how much stuff like that has ever affected your life unless you are basically either so heavily involved with it, or basically
it's oppressing you.
Yeah, it's oppressing you. Like you're like, again, like we've had this conversation on here before where both of us were actually really shocked last year, and I was surprised for sure too, of just going like, there's literally a story, apparently, that individuals who live in black communities tell each other of going, hey, so you get a literal talk about how bad the cops are before you ever sometimes end up in first grade.
So actually it was a sort of discussion, and it was actually like a Tumblr and Twitter thread that went around for a little while going, what age, as a person of color, what age did you get the talk? And, you know, a lot of white people were like, the talk, assuming the birds and bees. And they're like, no, the talk that policemen will kill you.
Uh-huh.
Or
that at any point,
any
time, and you have no say.
And that they're not on your side. And it's just a social thing that happens in these communities. But yeah, I would say it's an interesting thing that, yeah, colonialism is hugely prevalent, and largely you have a specific group of perpetrators that are the worst. Let's just say Britain. I would say. And it seeps into all kinds of stories. Mm-hmm. Right. Definitely cocky.
You love it, really, don't you?
I mean, I've specifically told her when she was being a cocky, assertive butthead that I loved her dearly, so yes?
Yes?
Because that was what sparked the declaration of love? Well, yeah. I think it's interesting, okay, in as much as they've left this game a little bit open for interpreting who your MC is, I think it's interesting that they've decided to specifically parameterize why you love the interest that you do. They have decided that the reason we love Piper, the reason we're so drawn to her, is largely, and the thing that makes us our heart go pitter patter, is when she's really cocky, arrogant, self-assured, gives no shits about anything. Mm-hmm. And I've never seen that in another game, actually, where they specifically told you why you love the love interest. Not, I like this thing about you, God, you're really hot, but like, it's never just been so clearly there of like, the reason I like Niarg is, God, when he does that, it is. Are you having
I don't entirely agree. I feel like there have been definitely solid moments in both the Arcana, in freaking the meeting in the flesh, and I've seen it in even like with Arcade Spirits. Even though we never ended up dating / being involved with anyone, there really is plenty of moments where they go, God, I really love that about that person kind of thing.
I was just like, I'd always picked up more of an extolling virtues about them that are positive than I specifically horn for this thing.
I mean, I guess, like, some of them are stronger and some of them are more mild. I'm not saying that they're all as, like,
but like, especially with Julian, I never picked up that Nerd was like, when he does fill in the blank, my heart goes pitter patter. We were just constantly overwhelmed by him all the time.
Yeah, there was also, though, I think a lot of that was supposed to be, God, this is amazing, or going like, you want to basically beat on him or tell him what to do because that's hot. There was some of that, like, I mean...
I'm amazed how soft of a playthrough we managed to get out of that based on what other people have done. At any rate...
They're like, you constantly guys keep picking the least horny option, this is amazing. And I'm like...
And we didn't even mean to specifically, it just fit the character at the time. Our staffs meet with a solid thwack. Those sapphire eyes meeting me head-on as Piper lunges forward with a grin. Watch your fingers! Oh, she's hyper-focused, strong, and I match her blow for powerful blow with ease.
Do you know what I want this to become?
What?
I want this to become the fight with Little John in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh god, where they just sort of like slowly like cracking, and they break the staff and it gets a little bit shorter, and they break the staff and it gets a little bit shorter, and they just keep fighting until they have these little like 10-inch staves, they're just like whacking each other's fingers. It was just... Honestly, if you haven't seen a Robin Hood Men in Tights, that would not be like a very like easy reference, but I bet you could search up just that scene.
It's really good.
Like the staff fight on the bridge or Robin Hood fighting Little John. Like it's really funny. And since it's a Mel Brooks movie, it might not be your type of humor. Or since you're on our channel, it might be.
It might be. There are some definitely questionable things about it. Like there's some of the humor that didn't age very well. There's some, I would call them basically tasteless gay jokes. Like they are really, he has quite a few of those.
I say there's a bit of homophobia in there. I was gonna say, but that one scene I don't think contains any, and it's very charming.
Yeah, it's
a void by itself. All right.
Yeah.
She's hyper-focused, strong, and I match her blow for powerful blow with ease. Honestly, Cary Elwes has done some of my favorite fighting scenes ever. Like, as an actor, he's done some of my favorite fighting scenes.
Because I am the only one with a British accent. That's all I am. I am the only Robin with a British accent.
Because Cary Elwes played Robin Hood, but
I'm
he
mixing
also,
up my accents.
as you are, I say, but he also played the Man in Black in The Princess Bride.
He did.
And both of those have a great fight scene in them where he's, he fights, and I love it.
They're so good.
All right, why are you out here? There's a training room back at headquarters. Oh my god, we're gonna learn more about the headquarters and what's there?
Holy cow!
Oh my god!
Narrative!
Wait, is there a break room too? Because we've been wondering if coffee exists.
I need to know. I also need to know if there's a microwave. I need to know if there are fridges. I need to know if there are, like, sinks with disposal.
Honestly, I want to know if we have phones. That's what I keep wondering.
Right.
It's sad that kind of content is almost expected of, but does show how far. Yes, media has come a lot. Yes, so there's a lot of stuff that's like to previous of 2000s and stuff that does age really poorly. And there is so much homophobia, especially in like the 90s, that it's really like that was the joke for a while. And I remember watching some movies that I saw when I was young and I remember really liking, and I watched them as an adult and I'm like, oh, cringe. No.
I think sometimes for me, what I always thought was interesting as a child is going like, you come back to it and you go, the whole joke here is just the character is gay.
Or the whole joke is he's a man in a dress.
Well, and you're just like, that's it?
Wow,
y'all need to come up with better jokes. Even if it is like, if you're gonna be homophobic, fucking can you do better than that?
Like, step up your humor.
Please.
Actually, we've heard a couple of like queer comedians going, I have better gay jokes than you do. It's like, I know how to make fun of us better than you do.
Excuse me?
Like, step up your humor if you're going to shit on us. It's pretty amazing.
I think they're awesome.
All right, so it's an eye roll. Everyone take a shot.
Huh?
Piper rolls her eyes, wiping sweat from her brow and with the back of her hand.
The less I'm around those traitorous idiots, the better. I cannot hold my tongue as well as most, you see? McNeil?
I have a character. It's actually a Boku no Hero Academia OC, and she cannot censor between her brain and her mouth at all.
I mean, she can. She
just generally doesn't. She generally doesn't, and it's really funny.
Right.
She launches herself forward again, and I have to step back a few paces when she pushes against the pressure of our crossed weapons.
We get locked, matched, pole to pole, strongly pushing against each other.
I think it's interesting that she pushes against the pressure, not she pushes her weapon against mine. Like, she's not pushing... It's interesting. It's
like it. So remember how we observed that they seem to have difficulty writing fighting sequences?
She's pushing against the pressure. It's so
Pressurous.
impressive. It's impressive.
Oh, it's got much pressurization.
Much pressure. I lose my purchase against the muddy forest floor. We had crunchy grass. How is it muddy? It should be frozen with crunchy grass.
Sorry.
Damn it! Why? I guess there's the mud is too viscous. It can't freeze. Too much like pollution in the water. You can't get a good freezing temperature.
Oh boy.
I lose my purchase against the muddy forest floor, skidding, and then she's drawing back, swinging again. Shit. I'm used to one-on-one combat, used to the intricacies of it, but Piper is no creature, and it's been a hell of a long time since I sparred with one of my own kind. Wait. Oh my god, why would you call us one of your own kind when that's a very othering sort of term?
I'm actually, the thing that I'm upset about is going, but Piper is no creature. And I'm like,
what?
What the fuck are you talking about,
Why would
bro?
we even compare Piper to a creature ever?
One of the big things that I think actually is really funny, where I actually really liked it, was people pointing out the person to be worried about actually is the person who has a lot of scars on them, because that means that they don't know how to follow the rules, and it means they're very uncontrollable.
They're reckless.
They're very reckless.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, and then the person who's not means that you're probably going to have them. They're much better at what they do.
Okay, chainmail bikini reference time.
Oh, no.
Okay, so I hope everyone here is familiar with the ridiculousness of, like, women's armor in fantasy tropes and the whole chainmail bikini thing, alright? So, there's this experience where it has been posited that the reason they wear those things is because they are such good fighters that they don't need protection. And so, basically, there's this idea, and it's ridiculous, and it doesn't hold up with most people's at all, and they're damseling of everyone. But basically going, the better you are in combat, the less you wear, and you have no scars because you're so fucking damn skilled.
Okay, so I'm going to make a reading suggestion, but I am also going to warn because it is pretty mature content, right?
Okay.
So there is a comic called Ogloff.com, and you can go Google it, and it will take you to Ogloff.com. Now, if you're over the age of 18, I'm not going to link it. It's OGLAF.
There we go.
And what ends up happening at one point, there's a lot of, like, just little tiny short stories that happen in the comics. The initial part of it has a pretty long story, and then it just kind of peters out because the author got tired of doing the story.
And so there's a bunch of one-shot jokes that are really
a ton
good.
of one-shot jokes, and the biggest joke that one that is in reference to that I just loved was that they have a bunch of these orcs that decided that they were gonna go get, like, sexy plastic surgery. Because it apparently added a ton of defense. And like to their stats basically, and they were like, "We're gonna do this. We're gonna have the tightest butts and the best tits,
the perkiest tits, and
it was so damn funny."
And basically, you have the other armies going, "Oh God, they're hot," and they're like, "No, we can just mow them down." Yay!
And it was real, like, every single person. It didn't matter what their gender was. It was just, you're gonna have a great set of tits, and you're gonna have a great ass, and we're gonna go kick some ass, and they barely wore anything, and it's just fucking hilarious.
And they just mowed through everything. Anyway, so I've read an amount of Ogloff, and it is well written, and it is hilarious. And occasionally, there's a minor dud or whatever, but so much of it is so funny, and it gets really explicit.
And
I'll say,
yeah.
But it's like, the author even admits, she's like, honestly, this started out as a porn project. I really wanted to draw an explicit erotic comic, and then it just got really funny. And it just, it's so good.
I just want to have some fun.
And it's Ogloff. It's really hilarious. All right. I was gonna say, but this sentence is interesting here. If Piper is no creature. All right.
I'm also like, but you did actually specifically mention
we've been training with her every night for a week.
You did that, and also going like, you were fighting the creature, and the creature somehow in the fight fucked you up horribly. So you're not used to one-on-one combat or basically anything to do with it because you got your ass owned.
Is that we keep mentioning that we're used to this, even in our own head, and then keep getting ourselves sort of owned. And so I think the authors are having sort of a difficulty conveying the amount of skill and power that we have, and trying to be like, yes, you're competent, but we also need drama.
Right?
And that's why we were able to take down the vampire so easily, but then this is continuing to be challenging, what have you.
But that's honestly why I say going like, it is better, I think, in this case, to explicitly write a character. Pick someone. Even if you're going to write a separate character for each route, just do it. Because then that way you can actually be consistent with the experience and also be like, here's the way that we sort of maintain tension or maintain or increase the conflict because we know what we're writing from. We gave ourselves a basically set base of skills, so in this route that's, let's say for Ezra, this is what you're dealing with.
Anyway, I think it's interesting also we really had a week-long montage where we said that we trained with Piper every single night.
And you studied with August?
And now you're saying that none of that training was sparring?
At
when
all?
most of our job is fighting?
Yeah,
what kind of training were we doing? Her
None.
staff makes a solid arc towards my legs. And in a vain attempt at darting out of her way, I find myself falling in an inelegant sprawl.
No, it's totally okay. You are more than welcome. We're still going to be streaming for about another hour or so, so you're good.
People can drop in at any time, and we will still tell them jokes.
Yay!
And Delta Wisty will greet you, because they are very friendly.
They are.
It's so good. Honestly, I keep wanting a friendly emoji that we could throw in there, but we're going to have to wait till we get more important.
But yeah. Well, if you look at the companies that like copyright striking us, we're pretty...
We have a great big footprint.
Woo! We have a huge footprint.
We are so visible, it's amazing.
Wow.
Right. Anyway, so Zars Lapan, we are in the middle of a fight. Well, actually, we're not. We're actually sparring with Piper.
Well, with whom we have apparently never sparred before, despite the week of sparring. sparring.
Maybe what it was,
Piper.
maybe we weren't sparring. Maybe what we were doing every day was going to the training room and separately beating up dummies by ourselves.
What if we were boning?
We weren't though, because it was be the first. I don't know.
We were
What if we said training with Piper every night and it was literally just making out like horny teens?
Yes. Yes! That would make I mean, honestly, based on the fact that also, like, if you want your character to be like, yes, and I am deeply in love with you, or I'm just extremely horned for you, I'm like, why wouldn't you just run off and go make out?
I know,
I did that
right?
with people.
Oh my god, I have
Holy
skipped.
shit.
I have skipped like non-obligatory, like you should be doing this so many times when I wanted to make out with someone.
Oh my
like,
god.
if I was involved with someone and I had access to them, I would skip all my non-essential chores if they were available.
You're like, ha!
But that's me.
We're doing nothing else.
Okay, I find myself falling in an inelegant sprawl. It shakes the entire world. I love it when they do that. The world tumbles until it reorients itself when I land on my back. My head tilted back to see Piper standing above me with a far too smug smile upon her face.
It is hot.
Okay, my dude, we should be able to tumble. We should fall, and then if we're going to... So it's not an inelegant sprawl if you can also actively tumble. Okay? So I'm just going to argue here with the description of going... If the world tumbles, like going around sort of thing, and then it reorients itself... then you have like rolled. So that's not really a sprawl.
Right.
And if you've been with enough momentum to be in a roll and you're a trained fighter like we are, you should be able to put yourself either, at least try and put yourself in a favorable position or come up at the end of it.
It reminds me a lot of how they talked about trying to encourage firefighters to land in a particular manner. But yes, the good thing is that you have
we have consistent viewers. Thank you for that, Panic Attack Jack. We love hanging out with you guys.
It's been great fun.
As I have mentioned before, I have enjoyed streaming way more than I ever expected to, and the audience we have attracted has been fabulous. I have enjoyed you guys, all of you, greatly. And it's been kind of cool to be like, I know we're doing something weird, because several people have been like, that I've, invited to come to the stream have been like, this is not a Let's Play, but what are you doing? But I think this is really cool, and I love it that you're all here for this. So thank you so much for that contribution.
It's
great. Hopefully they'll promote us once we get to 50 viewers, and then we'll have a lot of people in here adding to the discourse, and that will be fun too.
Yes.
All right. Smile upon her face, and we don't do anything. We don't continue the fight. Do you know that when you roll, even if you land in an elegant sprawl, you can still defend yourself from the ground? If you've ever seen Star Wars or any martial arts film ever,
at all,
you will know this.
Yeah, you will.
The hilt of her staff just barely grazes the arc of my very exposed throat, and I weigh out my options very carefully. Okay, I'm just going to point this out. Like, my familiarity with tropes, okay? Hold on. You can get your thing in just a second, okay? Or do you want to do it first? You're making the funniest face.
My problem is going just barely grazes, so it's passing by our throat?
Yes. It does like basically your sort of test swipe. Like, foop, I could have just taken your head off. You know? Like,
well, so the thing is, I thought that basically the way that they had written that meant that now you just fell to the ground and you're like, oh, I have lost the fight. But now it's going like, oh, I have just barely missed you. And then because then it goes, and I weigh out my options very carefully, going like, so will I attack you now?
So what I'm picturing, based on, and this is what I just say on tropes, is basically, you have tumbled and fallen and sprawled yourself out. Piper has come over to you, pointed her staff at your throat, and gently run it across it.
Oh, it's the flirting.
Yes, it's the flirting thing, but it's also the I've beaten you, do you concede?
Yeah.
It's not a I've continued moving quickly and I've barely missed you while you're on the ground. I don't think it's that.
I hope not, but I couldn't tell with the last fight either, so that's why I'm like, what is...
It seemed like we stopped moving when we hit the ground and sprawled.
That's why I was saying, like...
That's why I think that's what it is.
Right.
But I was going to say, so... in sci-fi and in martial arts films, there's been a whole lot of that I've seen in my viewing. I'm on the ground and I will fight you from the ground until I can roll over to get off the ground and continue fighting you.
Yeah.
And in medieval and fantasy films, all the time I see when you're on the ground, you concede. When I've knocked you over, you've conceded. If I can get to a point where I even start to have my sword at your throat, you concede. If you're in a compromised position, you just hold still, and then I show you that you would have lost.
Well, yeah, because there's usually not a lot of things about going like it's about your body, it's more about the weapon, as far as I can tell with how people describe basically like physical martial arts versus like sword martial arts, more or less.
Even in martial arts movies where they use staffs, where they use swords, where they use other things, if they get on the ground, even your Ninja Turtles will fight from the ground, spin on their shell, kick and get up again.
Oh, stop though, but Ninja Turtles are based in Asia.
Like
the whole no. But I'm saying like, so they're Ninja Turtles. They're using.
How does that exclude martial art?
because martial arts are considered to be martial arts are considered to be a physical art, right?
Yes.
So a lot of them use their bodies, which is what I literally said. I said sword arts versus martial arts. So if you have somebody who largely uses their body, they tend to use their whole body to get up and move still, or continue to still be moving. In regards to when you're doing medieval fantasy, most people go, "Oh no, I have fallen," because all they care about is the sword.
So you're
I
telling
got the pointy
me
sword.
that the turtles don't use martial arts?
No, I'm saying that they do.
Yes,
I said
and
yes
that's
because
literally
they do,
what I was
and
explaining.
I was agreeing.
Oh,
and
okay.
you said no, and I said yeah because they're
I thought
Asian.
you were arguing no.
No!
Anyway, so yeah, the two tropes I'm familiar with, and since they seem to be writing fantasy here, it means that we've conceded on the ground. Oh my god, that was so confusing.
I'm like,
sorry.
what are you talking about?
I thought you were trying to argue a
No!
different point, then go, yeah, I agree.
I was saying with the medieval stuff, I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm like, I know what trope you're talking
Lies.
about.
I get you.
It's fine.
All right, that's your line.
Gotcha.
I distract her. Yield. Oh, we are attacking. Oh my god, we are attacking.
That is what your character. I was about to say.
Of course we're going to keep fighting. Why would I
Arrow keys.
Okay, I want both of these to be a flirt option with different flavors. So hard. Distract her. Flirt. Yield. Flirt. Like, I so hard want both of these to be flirt options. I seize the moment, taking advantage of her smug satisfaction and attempting distraction.
I want it to be like smugdication or something. Like we use smug satisfaction so much in fiction. I really, at some point, desire to see the word fused one day.
One time, smugdifaction.
Smugdifaction.
Smugisfaction?
Smugfaction.
I think smugisfaction might work.
Smugisfaction.
Got that smugisfaction. You're beautiful. Her brow draws together. Her plum lips curling into a snarl. Is she wearing lipstick today? What?
What the fuck? She
We-
curls into a snarl. That sounds more like, I'm a little confused.
Also, I'm going...
What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, I'm really just getting this experience of going, we try to distract her but not do anything? We just stay frozen there and speak to her.
Fruit punishment! Thank you!
Yes!
I actually was like,
Thank you.
Food
Her
face.
plum lips. I'm like, also, we haven't really described the color of her lips much at all, even though the two of us have commented on people's makeup quite a bit.
I'm like, everybody here is just rolling in makeup, and it's great.
It is. They look great. I love the fact that we have described August as looking utterly wrecked out of their mind in so many cases, and they look on point like you would not believe. And the same thing.
And they're also like dark circles, and I'm like, what dark circles?
What dark circles? They look
I
amazing.
have darker circles on the bottom of my feet.
I have darker circles when I'm well, hydrated and well slept.
Yes,
I just
actually.
say, but also we did the same thing with Alcar of torn shirt, a mess, destroyed. Looks so perfectly and beautifully put together in their adorable little poncho. It was amazing.
Honestly, that was the funniest damn description I think of. I was like, look, torn and whatever. I'm like,
to be honest, if you just stood completely still and did nothing mid-conversation, it could be pretty distracting.
It
It would be pretty distracting, except that we were already frozen and in the essentially yield position. So I'm like, shouldn't we start moving? Or is the fact that we're talking confusing instead of yielding? But I feel you. If
That's
someone
true.
just freezes and doesn't move at all, you're like, whoa, my entire attention is on why aren't you moving?
yes.
I swing upward with my staff. The angle, terrible, but not entirely useless as it serves its purpose, hitting hers out of her hands. Ow! 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 Oh my god! Oh my god!
What?
Okay, we haven't been able to use the reference from when we played.
Oh god, the Masm game.
Was it Jack the Ripper?
Yeah, Jack the Ripper.
Okay, so we did.
Oh no, just Jekyll and Hyde.
Jekyll and Hyde. Thank you, Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh god.
we played this one-off app game a while ago, and it was this company called Masm, and it was Jekyll and Hyde, and they're basically doing manga or anime style retellings of these classical stories.
It's like I don't know if you guys have seen it at like your local library or at the store where they have manga like classics.
Like they have classical stories as manga, but these ones are basically a live action sort of like a visual novel / game that is a classic story. Like it doesn't change the actual story very much. It's just, you have bishies and silver foxes in it and stuff like that, anime style, like you do. And anyway, at one point there's this experience where we just got to make this joke where this young girl was trampled horribly by an individual and everything about her was completely destroyed.
And it's this bloodthirsty scream of agony that just rips out of the game, right? So that it comes from this voice acted bit where it's just this screaming
constant
child
echoing
that
scream.
has her leg broken because somebody stomps on her leg, right? It's Jekyll breaking this child's leg.
Right.
And
It's pretty
then
graphic.
the text just comes up and it goes, ow.
And
With
I
a period, and I was just, because I had picked, I had elected to play the child in this role, I just kind of went, ow. And my friend exploded, and I was just like, but that's what's there!
And it was so bad. Like, you have this really, like, explicit sort of horrifying scene.
Yeah.
And then this terrible blood-curdling scream. And then, ow.
It was so bad. It was the
so
funniest
good.
damn thing. You're like,
Anyway, so we whack Piper's staff out of her hand. Ow! I jump up, brushing dirt and leaves and whatever other crap lives in the Lunarian forest from my trousers. Whatever else the hell lives out here.
I have pants
Just-
on, I guess.
It's fine. We are wearing trousers now. We're wearing a sash and trousers. It's canon.
All right, we've got it.
That's it. That's all we're wearing.
And we have weapons.
I
Let's both go in the same sheet.
We have a number of weapons that is more than one.
Who knows?
Watching, and one of them is at least bladed, whatever else it might be.
Yeah.
Watching as Piper holds up her hands in defeat, her chest heaving. Wait, we have a terrible angle and we've defeated her by knocking her staff out of her hands?
Yep.
And we're supposed to be really good at head-to-head combat.
Like I said, nobody here is strong in the martial arts. It's all about if you don't have a weapon, you're dead.
Oh my god, we're so weapon-oriented. It's like police
Yeah.
relying on their gun. Oh my god, we're just cops down to the... Okay, so Delta Whiskey, you said it suck all the way down. This is cops all the way down. All the way to the bottom.
Who is the monster in the end? What, it was really us? Who's the monster? Monster.
The monster was the monster of the monster. I don't know if you saw, but we quoted you on Twitter because it was hilarious.
It was really good. I thought that was great.
She eyes her staff, but it's too far away from her for her to reach.
She's also like, my freaking fingers, you tried to break them.
Also,
Ow!
she's standing above us still. We're holding our staff awkwardly while... No, we did stand up and brush stuff off
We
us.
did something.
How come she did nothing while we stood
We're
up and
gonna
brushed
brush
ourselves
ourselves off?
No, but like, we knock the staff out of her hand, and then we take time to stand up and brush ourselves off.
And this means that she has no time to go over and go get her
And
stuff.
she just stays there and does nothing the whole time.
I think she just gave up.
Do you yield? The kind of yielding they offered for us to do, she did it. Do you yield? Flirt. Piper steps closer. Closer. Taking my weapon in her hands and shoving. We're nose to nose, her lips but a breath away from mine, and Piper is as hot as hell.
All cops
Hotter.
are. All cops are.
All cops are!
All Yes!
Yes, that one.
good.
Right in there. Alright. Hotter. She shoves me back, but it puts us super close together. So are we saying that she shoves us against a tree, maybe?
Hot as hell.
She's very polite to wait for you to complete your turn.
She really is. It reminds me so much
my
of like
God.
watching movies. I don't know. Like again, I bet you guys can viscerally though feel me when you're just like I'm watching a movie and you just kind of sit there and you go, oh, you're in the middle of a battle, and then for some reason the good guys stop to talk for like a minute and a half or something.
And everyone just lets them.
And everybody just lets them. And you're like, this is a life or death battle, and the bad guy just stops?
See, I just say,
The
yeah.
bad guy just stops.
Our initiative was really good, so she had to wait for our whole 6 seconds of standing up and brushing ourselves off.
Oh, we got a speed boost of some kind?
I say we just rolled really well on our decks,
Ooh.
and then she just seemed slow as hell.
We rolled a 20. Piper was just like, I rolled poorly. I'm tired. Never
Yeah.
mind. I'm done.
Piper was like, I rolled a 2. Even with my natural bonuses, you just went really fucking fast.
Right?
Alright, Hotter. I think she must be shoving us against something, though. But yes, extremely polite for her to wait for her turn in the initiative, stack.
To you? Never.
You're not gonna yield to me. Oh, she pauses, eyeing me warily.
So, what did you actually come here for then?
I mean, I came to the forest, not to you, so... I hate to be harsh about this, but I actually didn't come to see you. You just happened to be here. Oh,
Which is actually what I'm really curious.
Wait!
What?
We're gonna lie and say that we came here to see her?
What?
But we just wandered to the forest after our patrol.
What?
We weren't looking for Piper at
At
all.
all.
And now we're gonna use that opportunistic thing to be like, no.
Why do authors want to do this to encourage tension? You either write from the character's perspective or you don't.
If we were going to the
stop
forest...
picking first-person perspective if you're not going to actually write first-person perspective. Because your character is literally not talking to themselves about their own fucking process.
I say, if they're not going to share with us what Uwu/MC is thinking, why are they sharing so much of it? Like, it's so selective, it drives me nuts. But like, So we are saying that for the last 3 or 4 days, we literally haven't seen Piper, and we haven't tried to, and we've not been effective at seeing Piper, and Piper just has been disappearing off. And then for some reason, we didn't tell ourselves that we were going to the forest to see her because we knew she would be there. I feel like this is just BSing and trying to play off an opportunistic encounter as, no, I was totally looking for you in an effort to relationship build. This sounds shady as hell to me. And, like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, you can do that kind of a white lie to sort of make a partner feel valuable, but it's not something that I'm always comfortable with. Like, usually I always play it as a joke of course I'm in the forest to see you. And they know you're not here for them, but then they know that you're glad that they were there anyway.
Right?
You know?
But I'm also like, I don't really know what our relationship dynamics are like. This still feels really
Also, are we saying
strange?
that in this whole time that we've been sharing really detailed, important information with everyone about what being a hunter actually is and how they were turned into one, which everyone's reacting really strongly to, and we've been talking to all the people that need to hear it and developing our conspiracy about Harry and apparently the fact that he is involved in this in a way that we're not describing specifically, that we haven't been interacting with her at all, but we didn't tell ourselves that, and now we're learning it?
What?
You've been avoiding me. Piper purses her plum lips, averting her gaze.
She purses her strawberry lips.
She purses her beautiful full lips.
And she purses her her hamster lips.
Interestingly enough,
They're plush.
hamsters don't have lips. They just have soft, fuzzy, adorable mouths.
No, I see they were very soft and squishy.
Yes.
So you know the hamster lips.
Okay. So, softest lips that I've ever encountered in all of my experience is llama lips. Okay?
Llama lips?
Llama lips, because they're covered with soft,
Oh,
silky
yeah.
fuzz. So they don't have hairless lips like some like many of your, hooved animals do not. And as I say, but llamas have like the softest, silkiest velvet on their like mouths and noses. And like if you're ever feeding one and they're just lipping on your hand, it is so silky. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So her silky
llama lips sound amazing.
They are!
Alright, take that out of context.
Right.
I would have flew the llama.
Yes! And like it's really short fur, but it doesn't have any of that bristliness or even like the stabbiness of like velvet or anything. Like it's just so silky.
So kinky.
It's silky. Llama lips.
Llama.
I would tend to say if you're ever in a place like a petting zoo or something like that, or someone's farm where they have like tame or docile either llamas or potentially alpacas, but I don't know if they're close enough related that they would be soft.
Let me floof.
Llama lips. Ah! Woo! Yes.
Yes.
Say, but I would say totally take the experience if you can to like hand feed them, or if they're friendly, pet their faces down by their cool little nose and their mouth. It's so soft.
They're really
I will 100% recommend llama lips to everyone. Pet those lips.
Pet llama lips. This is your school assignment.
Like if I had to rate them, I'd be like 10 out of 10 would pet again. Like super silky and nice. And like horses are pretty fun to hand feed because they do have soft mouths and soft lips, but like nothing compared to the llamas I felt. Like just no. But anyway, I'm just like, we never talk about the way she looks.
Horse noses. I know.
They're beautiful. They're
horse
fabulous.
noses are great.
I love how much dexterity horses have with their faces. It's amazing. So you're saying, tell my next partner that have llama lips after kissing them but give no context.
Yes!
Yes! If they have really soft, well-hydrated lips and it just feels good, be like, God, you have such llama lips. It's amazing. And then just be like, what?
And you'll be like, don't worry. It means you're soft.
It's so good. No context. And then just
You
just be like, yes, it's so good.
It's so soft.
So good.
Let me get soft.
Yes, llama lips should be an
Kiss me with those llama lips.
Come on it. Put your llama lips on my face.
I just put them all over me.
It'd be amazing. Yes, I totally recommend trying that. Do it.
It'd be really important.
But in this game, like they don't talk about how anyone looks physically, especially now that we've been involved, unless it's for horn purposes.
It's true.
We never admire her unless it's for sex. We don't go, she looks beautiful while she averts her gaze and looks pensive. She is gloriously pensive. She's elegantly pensive. I just admire the shit out of her. And just, she's so pretty. We're like, no, purses her lips. No descriptions, none. She has been actively staying clear of me since the day after I woke up. But I've given her space and respected that the things I divulged would be difficult for her to swallow. We're literally saying that she cannot handle at all the fact that she's part monster.
Aye.
And that no one told her. Like,
Okay.
and or that hunters are part monster in general, and the bigger implications of, since I consider this to be a massive and inappropriate secret, it means everyone I've ever trusted I can't ever trust and is horrible. Like, she is having a real time with this that I would love to access and support her with, but I just can't, because I don't know why it's such a big deal.
Yeah,
But as time drags on, we draw closer to a point where we'll have to face all of this corruption. And I really am just like, the only narrative I'm getting over and over again is they are profoundly and deeply corrupt because they've combined us normal good humans with bad disgusting monsters and lied about it. Yeah. Like, that's all.
Or just kept it from you, which I...
Well, and made it a secret. They didn't necessarily lie about it, but they have made it a secret. And like that you're deeply and profoundly disturbed and hurt, and you feel as your trust has been betrayed since you're not a full human anymore and you are the other, which is despicable. Like, that's all I'm getting from this.
Me too.
And, well, I need Piper. The only other hunter I can truly bring myself to trust. But most importantly, my friend, the only other hunter you've spoken to as far as we can tell.
That's why I said, honestly, if I was going to redo this game, I would be like, please, give me
hunters.
other characters.
And I like,
they
specifically do have illustrations.
I have no one else. You're like, but there is literally no one else. So this feels really artificial. Like, it's like people call it going, there is no one else. You're like, yeah, you're right. There is literally no one else.
Because the game doesn't provide anyone else. And honestly, every time there's been other hunters in the scene, they've been over there, and the only time we've ever spoken to them was to dismiss like the two that were escorting us on the way to the vampire thing,
and it
on
really
the way
wasn't
to the crime
even
scene.
Like a conversation, it was a description.
Like I said, all we did was it was described that we dismissed them,
yeah,
and that we go, and with it they don't need to stay and help us, and they don't need to take care of it. And it's like, so the only other time is we've seen August speak to them in a general offhanded described kind of way, and so it's like, it's so weird that we don't interact with any other hunters at all, and that we're literally a team of two sort of facing this, and that both of us are shit at investigating. Like, we are spearheading this investigation without investigating. And also the question that my friend asked last time of, if August isn't ever getting any sleep, what the hell are they doing all the time if they're not investigating either? I still really want to know. What are they awake doing? Unless they are constantly investigating and they're just literally never sharing it ever. Because that's the experience, basically, of going, I won't share this with you because I've told you I'm keeping secrets and that I'm going to keep secrets from you.
Right?
Damn, bro. Alright, the only other hunter I can truly bring myself to trust, and the only one I'll speak to. But most importantly, my friend. You know, it's hard to trust people if you never speak to them. It's almost time, you know? For what?
For what?
At
You
least-
did this last time! It's almost time for what? For us to go bother Ezra and freaking August
For us to
performing a spell
actually-
where we literally had no point or purpose in being there, but we didn't even know what our character was running off to go do because they wouldn't tell us!
I know, and we didn't know why we spent a week waiting in our room doing nothing. Anyway, so I don't know what we're getting ready for, but it's almost time. At least, I hope. She pokes the dirt with the toe of her boot, as wonderfully defiant as she always is.
How is... Okay.
Gently
Poking the dirt with the toe of your boot, in my reading experience, has always been characterized as extremely childish.
Or a sort
that
of
is
like,
not defiant.
Grumpy,
that is throwing a
thoughtful, like, I just sort of like scuffing the dirt slightly. Uh-huh.
And I'm like,
I
that's
love
not
the
defiant.
idea.
That's just sort of whiny.
Someone standing there, like, takes that thing where they just sort of twist their toe into the dirt, that sort of like thing of, you know, shoof back and forth, and it's like, wonderfully defiant.
Look how defiant you are.
Uh-huh.
God, see the defiance as she curls her hair around her fingers.
Right? But just pokes the dirt. Like, she's just, like, basically prodding gently at the dirt. Defiance. A portrait of defiance! Imagine this person standing, sort of pensive and, you know, and stressed looking, and then just gently poking the dirt with her toe.
And the narrator!
And basically the name of this painting is just wonderfully defiant.
Oh my god.
She's defying the earth by kicking it in the face.
Yes!
Gently, with the toe of her boot.
With
Kicking
gently.
it. It's gentle kicking in
Hopefully
the face.
it's consensual, but you know
No.
what? Sometimes it's not. I know. I want to get it over with, right?
Get what over with?
What are we? He'll crawl out of whatever hole he's scurried into, and everything will burn.
So we're talking
Where,
about Harry? I guess?
Why are we fucking... Oh my god, I'm really just like, it really is Harry. Oh
Why
my
are
god, we
we-
called it almost instantly.
You did.
We showed...
You're like, he's the bad guy. He's hot. He's the bad guy.
He's the bad. I'm like, who did you want to date? Me. Him. He's the bad
He's
guy.
the bad guy. I don't know if any of you ever had that problem with either anime or video games where you immediately like, oh, that's the hot one. He must be the bad guy. Like instantly in one scene at all times, you're like, if I find him hot, it is the
bad
tell
guy.
that they are the bad guy. Like that's
Honestly,
how I know.
Yeah, like I just like, god damn it. Like if he's really the bad guy, my whole life is gonna be over.
But I'm also just like, are we talking about Harry? Since when have we been as a group waiting for Harry to reappear? Since when has this been our shared experience?
It's okay, we're all sluts for monsters.
We love us some villains as well. Honestly, they usually have more interesting stories.
They really kind of do.
Honestly, okay, like Ursula's motivation for power made way more sense than Ariel's motivation for boy.
Yeah.
Because it didn't, like, she was fascinated with the human world, but her entire motivation seemed to be, I want to get to the boy.
Yeah, sluts for villains, it's fine.
Yes.
I cannot fall for villains.
They actually have a personality. And that's the thing it is. It's just like, the villains usually have, like, if they're, like, fleshed out at all, they usually have more personality because it takes some thought to want to have the world.
Honestly, though, also at the same time, too, I felt like sometimes villains are more interesting because they don't really have a personality. And that concept, though, too, where authors or creators will also specifically go, here is this high-intensity, very dedicated, powerful person. That's sometimes far more interesting than the main character who's like,
I'm just sort of a schoolboy, and I just ended up here, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Like, and that is just like, that is way less interesting.
So, there's also, even if your villain is just, I'm evil to be evil for the sake of evil, I just want power for power's sake. It's like, you have a level of dedication and focus and single-mindedness that our hero or heroine, who the plot is literally conveniently happening to, has no idea about. You have a level of agency that is not otherwise being written into the story.
Yeah.
And even if you're bland and one-dimensional, the extrapolation of the fact that you can focus to do what you're doing gives you more personality than our basically layman's access point that is the protag.
It's also at the same time, too, I feel like it is really just that point of conflict. Stories are interesting because they have conflict. Who tends to sometimes either cause the most conflict or be a part of the most conflict is like your main villain. Your hero, in a lot of cases, to me, just seems to be mostly reactive. They're not very active. They're mostly just going, I'm trying to catch up to whatever the hell the villain is doing.
In a lot of cases, your hero is having the story happening to them. Mm-hmm. Even when they have the agency of essentially a male character. Even when they have agency in that way, they're not usually starting stuff.
The self-doubt tantrums are annoying. Oh my god. Especially when, like, there are the entitled, like, dude heroes. God, I have wanted to, like, drown
There's the self-doubt tantrum, and then there's the it shouldn't have to be me tantrum. I don't like my station. I don't like that I've been chosen for this. I didn't choose to be born a prince or a hero. So there's two types of tantrum, and they're both equally annoying. The one of, this was shoved upon me and I shouldn't have this responsibility. And the one of, but what if I can't do it? What if I'm not strong enough? What if the mentor that just died so they couldn't do it themselves didn't equip me well enough?
Right, especially, like, that's the other thing that always baffled me, and I love somebody pointed it out at one point. I think it was a Vine, where they were just kind of like, hey, so there's this thing we need to have taken care of. So main person who's really good at doing that thing, I need you to train this complete newbie to go take care of the problem. They're like, I'm skilled at this. Why do you want me to? Nope, go train them. And they're like, we're gonna lose.
We're gonna lose. And it was so good, and it really just crystallized or epitomized the problem with most people's fictional mentors really freaking hard, because most of those mentors are well equipped to deal with the problem way better than the hero, but they sit there and train the hero because the chosen one or whatever.
Also because you're the newer generation and you need to solve my problems rather than you, like, me fixing something that I might have even caused.
Oh my god. Okay, so progressive fairy tale, right? And in one spot in it, just like picture it however else you want, you have the hero and our plucky protagonist meets what would be their mentor, who is extremely powerful but old and retired, right? And they're like, I will train you to do this thing. And they say, okay, boomer.
That is so terrible. Fuck yes.
Alright, he'll crawl
I love
out of whatever hole he's carried into and everything will burn.
Yay!
Her eyes are fierce and bright when she finally dares to meet my gaze.
Yes!
Thank you, I appreciate it.
It was fitting. Okay,
I felt inspired.
Okay, because that really, like, that is a thing that I have actually noticed.
Write that. You
Oh
know,
my God.
I have been trying so hard to write some books sometime. If I ever do, I will let all of you know. And it might be, like, I feel like my first book is going to be really awkward because it's going to be like a fever dream panic attack, if you will, of I finally will get something written down.
Please!
Because my problem is I start and don't finish, and I have tons of ideas, but I don't get them, like, actually into writing because writing itself intimidates me. And it's probably, to some degree, because of the huge pressure of, well, are you an author kind of thing, rather than I just write stuff. And also the fact that I struggled to learn how to read and write when I was young, so there was a lot of pressure around it.
Yeah, yeah.
But thank you. I appreciate the support,
Aw, yeah.
and I appreciate that you like my ideas and our ideas. And honestly, I'm gonna credit everyone here as being amused, because that I would have never gotten to that conclusion without the progressive conversation of everyone's contributions. Bless you. Which is why it is so cool to do this together. Many blessings to you. I say, so I would read all the things.
I turned
translation into an art. Me too. It's the
Yeah.
I will sit at the computer to write, and then I will be like, I could reorganize these files. You know, the desktop is kind of messy. I should update that thing. Like it just. And then, like, you know what I've wanted to do? Learn how to bake a pot pie with a real functioning crust. I should do that right now.
And you're just like, I will do anything except the thing that I want.
Yes.
So at some point, you're going to be able to come up with going, there's something that I have to do that I don't want to do. I should write a book!
I've done that.
I know, but that's a way to trick yourself into doing it,
Yes,
honestly.
sometimes that's the thing. Anyway, I appreciate your guys' support, but honestly, it is, like, it's the fact these ideas come from group conversation, and I love the shit out of it, and it's really cool. My good friend Scandal here gives me so many ideas, and they're like, you have so many good ideas! I'm like, I don't have them until I'm bouncing off of you. It's a community process, and it's so good.
Nope, it's just you, don't worry.
Me in a void. No. It's okay, we're all in a void. The void of Twitch.
Oh god.
Not everything.
What he's done.
Are we literally saying that
it's just Harry,
who was at the university that that we went to, because he and his husband went there as well, that had the same process done to them, except for his was rejected and his husband succeeded, as far as we can tell, that he somehow spearheaded all of this? Or again, are we circling around back and we're not talking about the process, we're not talking about the fact that we're monsters, we're only talking about the one creature and that it was a person, but we haven't been telling people that the creature was a person?
I don't really know what we have or haven't, because there's also really vague conversations happening, and then sometimes people will say things, you're like, okay, I guess we talked to them about that, so
Right.
here we are!
Maybe at some point, if we make a Discord, we can do live writing in the way that people have had, like, live stream writing, and then people can read all the things, and it'll be freaking hilarious and bad.
Right? What he's done.
She scoffs again. Anger rolling off of
Take your
her.
shot!
Time to shot. It's a scoff. Rolling off of her in messy waves that break over me. Almost leaving me breathless. She's strong, radiates the anger. It just seethes from her like an ocean, a sea.
If I have to kill her, if she became what Azazel did? Oh, so we have just said
Wait,
that
we
the
know
creature...
that thing was Azazel?
Yeah, that's what that is.
When did we learn that that thing was specifically Azazel?
We didn't. They have just told us.
No. And we've sort of told which one was figured out. Did Piper figure it out? Did August figure it out? Did we figure it out? When and
Did we
whoops?
actually look at the body? Who knows?
When
I
and
don't.
whoops?
The writers of this game do, but I don't.
I mean, and it's fine to reveal it in this way. Like, you could reveal now. Like, there's a way to do it and go, you've known this information and you're revealing it now as a shock to the player. But then you need to have let the player know when you learned that and how it came about. Especially when there is so much secrecy. I need to know how we figured out that the boy that we killed, I assume boy, was Azazel.
I will tear the Enforcers to the ground to avenge her if I have to.
You guys were totally involved. Piper
You are totally both.
absolutely gets completely attached to every new hunter she's paired with. Pep! Instant relationship. We too close.
Immediately. He better have a really good fucking explanation for all of this, you know?
So I understand better, actually, now what you were talking about, Niyagaku, when you said that they were just referring to the creature itself. Like, we didn't have context for it, but it sounds like that's what they've been talking about the whole time, and maybe that's what everyone at the agency is enraged about. Not, you have monster blood, but this creature was a person and someone you knew.
Right?
And if that's what we've been talking about the whole time, I have not caught on to it
At all?
All right. You know.
Oh,
All right.
dear.
Let's see. Whoa, I'm beginning to think he might sympathize with Harry. Nothing could excuse what he's done.
Oh,
Sympathize with Piper.
no!
Okay, that is the worst choice I've seen this entire game.
Oh, God.
Oh my god. Okay, so we've barely spoken to Harry, and Uwu has seemed pretty seethingly grumpy towards him this entire time since we've gone through our last little montage.
Yeah.
So our little montage of days going by seemed to establish that we are freaking pissed
Like-
off with Harry.
James didn't really make any case for him. Nobody has really made a case of, you should sympathize with Harry.
So, while
This feels weird.
Okay, can we save it here? Because I myself am very curious what it is to
All right.
sympathize with Harry, but I don't feel like Uwu would do it. So at some point, I'm going to come back and find out what that is. But I feel like Uwu themselves would really be like, nothing can excuse what he's done. Because I feel like that's the space that they're in. They have described profound judgment in themselves and outrage and dissatisfaction and just really like, oh my god, when he reappears. And there's a little bit, like, it's not as intense as Piper's. Like, Piper's is way more intense of, I will be all the rage. I'm all the rage.
I will be all the rage.
Hi. Yes. Actually, good song. Do enjoy. I was like, so that one? But, yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead here.
Oh, isn't it a good song by
Yes!
Aibek? Yes.
It's a really fun song. God, I've listened to that thing for days at a time sometimes. Yes, All the Rage is good.
So,
all right, so we're
you
gonna
do not need to use the
right.
mouse.
I don't need to use the mouse. I can remember this. It's just arrows. Yes. Arrows. Okay. So I am going to go ahead.
Like, I think it would be interesting to sympathize with Harry because I'm beginning to think he might at least he thinks he might have a good reason. Like, that's the only thing I have is going, like, so far, everything that I'm hearing, even though I don't really understand what the fuck is going on, he clearly believes that something is going on that he needs to be very extreme about. Mm-hmm. That is interesting. I would like to find out what the fuck it's about.
Yes, and I'm very interested in that too. Harry has seemed interesting the entire time. And I feel like based on how much the authors have worked to establish the natural and profound chemistry and the incredibly deep, intimate connection he and James had, that it wouldn't just be the, well, my partner's gotten distant. It's that he believes in something else so deeply that it has distanced him from James.
Now, that doesn't mean that what he's done
is
isn't
good or okay.
Yeah, or good or okay or even right in this way. You just...
Cool motive, still murder.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, but like, it does make me sympathize with his experience and go, he probably has a really fucking good reason for what he's doing, but that doesn't make what he's doing okay.
Yeah.
In the same way that sometimes you can have people in your life and they'll have done something and you're like, now that I understand why you were having or did this behavior, it makes way more sense, but it also doesn't mean you didn't hurt people or that it was okay to hurt people.
Yeah.
And so, that one. But I feel like the way they described Uwu's experience and the way Uwu has been going, and the fact that they couldn't relate to James's, sort of description of things at all at first, I don't feel like we would have sympathy for Harry.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
All
and
right.
I wonder if in the end they'd be like, well, the better ending is that you sympathize with Harry.
Probably that you care about everyone.
Because, we're all really bad. We need to have this narrative of, just everybody's kind of bad.
Everybody has their limitations. And
God.
so I don't...
Billionaires just really have a hard time, don't you know?
Uh-huh.
They just struggle a lot. When they have hedge funds that they just use to crash the economy, they just have a hard time,
Oh my god.
It's fine.
I don't even understand, but it is horrible when people are like, I can do this thing for sport, and I literally have no emotional connection to the fact that it is other people's entire livelihood and security, and it's amazingly exhausting.
I'm sorry, destroying thousands of jobs? I have no connection to that.
Nothing could excuse what he's done. How could he? He's killed people. His own people. There's not a good enough reason for that. Even in the name of science, you don't murder people to find a vaccine.
They used to. They still kind of do, depending on where you are. His husband, indirectly, but still. Imagine that.
I can't. I can't imagine it. At all. None. I have no pictures in my head.
Not even slightly.
I look at Piper, and I appreciate that she looks amazing still, which I won't say unless it's a sexy moment, because I can apparently only look at things visually if it's about sex. I look at Piper, who is amazing and strong and well put together, and also still sweaty and a mess, knowing with everything I have that I could never hurt her, even if I was a beast. I love her too much. It's unfathomable.
Now I love her. It's been 2 montages and
It's
a
been
couple of scenes with you, but I have fallen
been basically 2 weeks since we've been together, so this is a high school romance.
Oh my god, right?
And it's been basically a month and a half since we've met her at all. This is totally a high school romance.
Oh, look!
It's unfathomable, and he'll pay for it.
Fucking right, he will.
How expensive is it? Does it cost like an arm and a leg or the whole body? What's it cost? We need to measure up, equivalent exchange.
It might cost a single testy, but you don't know.
Neil Armstrong has entered the chat.
Neil Armstrong, I'm sorry, I'm summoned. What?
Then her shoulders slump, and she slowly looks around at the mess she's made of the clearing.
I should go. I need to clear my head in a way that doesn't involve beating the shit out of trees. Which is called probably going to go get drunk, which doesn't necessarily clear your head. It just relaxes you a lot, and because alcohol is a depressant.
Just awkwardly sing karaoke with her, and you're in.
Yes!
I'm in. Hacker voice. I'm in. But you know what? Honestly. Yes. We need to sing drunken, angsty karaoke.
Oh my god,
much.
we need to sing Cruel Angel Thesis while drunk.
Yes, it would be amazing. But yeah, beating the shit out of trees. I mean, we've just literally said that we need to get ready for the mysterious thing, which is potentially Harry reappearing. So what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Or me?
Or you.
You weren't really beating the shit out of me. It's fine. Honestly, you yielded. I will remind you that you yielded. Flirt!
Won.
Aye.
I'll see you around, yeah?
Yeah, you might want to go take a shower. It might be really good.
And right now I'm going to... And then Piper walks around. And I'm going to walk around you. Nice ass.
Aye. Lads, I will let you ogle me as you go. It's fine. I hate to see you leave, but I love to watch you go! Alright, without so much as a second glance, Piper turns and disappears into the forest. I should go into the trees deeper, where I won't beat the shit out of trees. You just headed towards more trees.
Piper, where are you going?
Piper, you're going the wrong way. Like, oh my god. I understand why she's hurting so much, and I wish I could help her, because she knows Azazel's dead, but we only just now figured out that's why she's hurting so much, which would have made way more sense if we'd have told her back in the bedroom, but then it would have made less sense that we'd have made, had potential sex and making out. I don't know. In speaking to Harry, maybe I can...
Fart!
Wait, in speaking to Harry, are we planning to speak to Harry? What is with the angelic voices? Oh my god! It's fine. I approach the Aibek with the same... Alright, one of these days... Okay, so there's this karaoke app called Smule, and it lets you do group karaoke and, cooperative songs with strangers and stuff, and I really, really liked it for a while. It's SMULE. And I don't know if it's still around because I liked it a couple of years ago, but I actually suggested to my friend at some point that we stream karaoke, and it might be fun if we could coordinate a group karaoke with somebody, with everybody at some point, even if, whether it would be, in a Discord where other people could have microphones if they wanted to sing or something like that. That might be actually fun to do.
That could
Multiple people have suggested we get a Discord, and I'm hesitant to do it, but at some point it's probably going to happen.
I think part of the thing I am hesitant to is I don't exactly know how to run one.
I have no idea.
I have a Discord, which is to say I have a thing to interact with Discord, but I do not know how to manage a server or anything like that.
It meant we were in space. Yes! 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 This is the music that goes, "You are in space." Sounds horrible and amazing. It would be horrible and amazing, and all in good fun. Sing well, sing badly, know the song or don't. It would just be in good fun.
It would be. That would be the point of existence. Just have fun.
If we're not hanging out and having fun, what are we even doing?
Why? Right. Why are you doing?
Alright, I approach the Aibek with the same level of caution and awareness I always do. Since the first time, which we didn't.
Which we've only been there twice?
Yes, we have been there twice. Even though now I'm quite well acquainted with its inhabitants. Who is that? What? Is this another? No, they don't have a sash. They're not a hunter. They're no sash. There's a young woman standing at the doors, and she straightens.
I was already having a problem with the assumption that same level of caution and prowess that I fucking what?
There's
and
always.
then I know there's another person. And I'm sorry, one thing bled into another. What the hell?
So you're saying I should prepare with singing to Asia?
Yes.
I mean. If that is what you're motivated to do. Anyway, we'll keep people updated as we slowly develop into this experience that is being social media and performers. Okay, so there's been a guard at the Aibek the entire time. This whole ass game. Every minute of it, there's been a guard that was a hunter stationed at the Aibek. But this person does not have the purple sash of hunters, and I don't know what this is. There's a young woman standing at the doors, and she straightens when I approach. Something in that single movement, not to mention her attire, and the pistols that decorate her holster, suggests a trained fighter. Where's the actual guard as well? Standing with her, near her?
Why does she have a yin-yang?
You mean just the yin?
Yeah, she has just the yin, so I'm expecting at some point we're gonna find just the yang. What is this with this game and, like, really enjoying, like, twins? Because I'm expecting basically...
Also, we know that guns exist now in this game. We haven't known until just now that guns exist in this game.
We have confirmed that guns exist. Alright, cool.
Also, if we did do karaoke, there'd be no obligation for anybody to sing. It'd just be if you want to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that one. Trained fighter. The armor and the weapons don't suggest anything. It's her posture. But it's fine. But when she meets my eyes, there's only curiosity there, not wariness. Aren't we going to comment on the fact that her eyes are purple? Because I would comment on the fact that her eyes are purple.
Are they purple?
They
look brown.
I think it's like, I thought it was like a brownish purple. Maybe it's just brown.
This looks brown to me.
Alright, maybe just brown. There's like
honestly, I will tell you, because I was a nerd for 2 seconds, I went, what is this? Is this like Harry and James's kid?
You know, honestly, could be based on their visual composition. Alright.
Yeah.
I remember Harry mentioning a guard who worked at the Ibex sometimes. What? The guard has been there. Like many of the times you've been there. The guard has literally been there. And we've gone past the guard, or seen the guard, or nodded to the guard.
Why would you not show us the guard until now? What's
the
need for holding off on revealing the character?
I don't know, but also mentioned a guard. Like, you know there's a guard. You've talked about the guard. The other people have talked about the guard. It's not just been mentioned, it's been present. Lux, or Raven's partner. Perhaps this is her. Who's Raven?
Raven. Finn's daughter.
Thank you. There we go. That one. What do you think?
90 million other voices later. Antonia, I assume.
I nod, offering her a small smile. I mean, given that she has a bite, I would assume that it's probably you have been nibbled but not changed. Because I don't think that's just 2 little freckles.
I don't think so either. I thought that for 2 seconds and I was like, hang on, have you been bitten?
So that would be like Raven has, I nibble my partner, but do not change them. Because they need to be available in the day. Also, the fact that, again, if this is supposed to be a hunter, where's their purple sash? That's been the only consistent uniform piece on any of them.
Right.
I nod, offering her a small smile. She appraises me for a moment, and then her wariness fades. She sticks out a hand with great enthusiasm, and grins from ear to ear when I take it. Because she's never seen us going in and out when she's been there too, at previous times.
No, we literally said hello. Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Why have we literally held this back until now?
It's nice to finally meet you.
Likewise. May I enter? Though I've never asked before, but I guess that's because you're standing in front of it. She inclines her head and steps aside, arms crossed. So we're saying the guard isn't a hunter, it's just a guard generically that's been assigned. Because I remember there was a guard assigned. She looks like she's got combat training. We're saying subtly that she's not a hunter. She's just a guard of some kind, which is a different rank experience.
Right? She's not a hunter, just a human bodyguard. Okay. I mean, that's fine.
How come we haven't known that there were human guards until now? But thank you, Nigaku. Like, damn. Okay.
I'm not gonna stop you.
I give her a polite nod and quickly move along, able to feel her eyes on my back until the door swings shut and spares me from her attention, which is intense and focused. She is on top of things. Hello.
Are you sure you're not a hunter?
Are you sure?
Are you sure about that?
It's okay. I'm just like,
I'm not sure.
we suddenly have an illustration
Can't
for
even
her,
think.
you know, 8 chapters in. 8 out of 10 chapters.
Why?
I don't know, but I assume
It's
it will be
okay.
important. Also, why didn't we understand? I would have liked it to know if there's humans that are either basically hired as contract workers by the agency,
Right.
or if they're actually a rank inside the agency and they just also have these, you know, guards that are assumably under hunters. I don't know. It's cold inside, even though it's daytime. I'm getting the impression that it's winter where you are, my dear. You keep mentioning that it's cold constantly. The place is just as dilapidated as it was when I first visited, but towards the altar at the end, it seems someone has been cleaning up. The floor is swept, a crimson cloth covers the altar, and seated upon it, with her booted legs swinging, attention firmly fixed upon what looks like an embroidery hoop, is Elaine. She embroiders, and she also still acts very, very youthful, kicking her legs and such.
And also very femme. Which is not necessarily to say that that's a bad thing, but I'm really like...
It's a distinctive thing. It's different from other people. No one else seems as bouncy as she is.
But also like, I'm a Joss Whedon character, I'll murder you.
Yeah. Adorable and deadly. I wait a moment before approaching to give
Probably
her
also
some...
filled with sexism and abuse like him.
Oh, God. I mean... Yes! Zazaplan's gonna die. You're gonna did it. Oh, no. I wait a moment before approaching to give her some time to notice me, but her eyes and hands remain focused on her task. Eventually I give up and just go up to her. She has no senses. Actually, she's ignoring you. She likely knows I'm coming from down the street anyhow. We know she's ignoring us. Sure, her demon senses let her know that we're here. We waited for her to pay attention to us. She said no. We like to pretend that she's not just ignoring us. If she's anything like most demons I've encountered. Sure enough, there's no surprise in Elaine's brown eyes when she looks up at me. I thought that Owen was the first demon we've encountered.
Wait, what?
If she's anything like other demons we've encountered, she can sense me from
No.
far away.
There's been the implication that
Owen was the first polite demon, the first one
Yeah.
we've talked to, the first one we didn't kill that we've encountered.
Yeah.
That's
Because we've
right,
mentioned, we've read another that, wow, you guys are really the exception.
We have mentioned
You're
that.
the exceptional sparkly minority.
That you are. Okay, thank you. That took me a second. All right. Smiling
It's
warmly.
okay, I support you. Like, that part I can at least...
Yep, and setting her project aside. Hello, Nya. I stop and blink, and Elaine frowns immediately, pressing a finger to her lips. I apologize. Did I misspeak? Oh, no. I'm just so used to being addressed as Hunter, I suppose. Why so informal?
Oh, is that really what that was? I'm sorry to catch that at all.
Everyone calls us actually Uwu usually, and sometimes Nya. Most people do not actually call us Hunter the whole game. They call us Hunter Nya sometimes when they're being formal, but not just...
Yeah, no, I'm just so used to it. No, I'm like, okay.
Maybe we're used to... Goodness.
Excuse me.
Bless you. The precursor of... Bless you again. Hunter at all times. In fact, Elaine is probably one of the first people who doesn't use my profession like it's a prefix to my whole identity.
Thank you.
I love how you spell bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Though, perhaps, I can't exactly blame them for that. One of the first people who
Like
doesn't
it's
use my
a
profession,
prefix.
it's a prefix. But okay, spelling error aside, lots of people have not used our prefix like our entire identity. In fact, one of the worst offenders might be August at this point, who calls us Hunter Nya most frequently. And other people use Uwu almost all the time.
I'm like, I remember the character saying the Hunter now, but I never thought it was...
I
don't know. I'm like, okay, so we've learned a new thing about the character. The character has been only really paying attention when people call you Hunter Nya. I'm so wrapped up in my profession. This is the only thing I care about. So when people do anything else, honestly, our characters should have been surprised every single time, but they weren't because they were too horny.
I guess, or they just weren't paying attention. Too much horn, can't do.
Can't do.
So yeah.
Head empty, only horn.
Head empty, just horn.
I guess.
Honestly, that could be a version of a dating game. You just have the most, like, himbo main character ever, if you will, or thembo, fembo, whatever you want. They have a bow of some kind.
They're a bow.
So that their head is empty, and they just are, like, looking for love. I horn.
There it is.
Like wholesome horn all the way through the game.
I am here.
Which I have spoken many times on the channel, and so does my friend, that being horny and or being interested in sex does not have to be necessarily mature or deviant or serious in any way. It can be incredibly playful, it can be very wholesome, and it can be romantic. And honestly, I have rarely seen it portrayed or like pitched in specifically that way, even if sometimes it happens on the screen that way, where, like, you know, the interaction between Piper and Nya, and Uwu, not too long ago, was fairly wholesome seeming, but it wasn't really painted that way.
Yeah.
Alright, but perhaps I can't exactly blame them for that. There's this interesting experience of why do we find this remarkable? It's happened a lot throughout
It
the
really
game.
has!
It really
I'm like,
has.
I don't understand.
We've never noticed before when someone else has used our name. Still, it's surprisingly welcome after recent events to be just... Of course, I won't call you Hunter. You did not hunt me. Elaine says it laughingly, but something like a mild chill trickles down my spine, coupled with the realization that I best keep my eyes peeled. She isn't Omen. We're more suspicious of her than of Omen? Is that what that is?
Yeah. Or just going like, I need you to remember that she is not her brother. She is not soft and squishy and cuddly and kind of infantile.
Cute and disarming. And
while she plays being infantile, hers is much more, I play at it more than I
she's
am
more
it.
dangerous. He puppy.
Pretty much.
There's a mellowness to her aura that doesn't put me at ease like he does. A mellowness that doesn't put you at ease? Mellowness should generally be like a very chill thing.
What do you think? Okay.
Okay, we're gonna look it up. What does
I need
mellowness
to
mean?
know.
Our lexicon for everyone in this chat is going to expand based on this game.
Here we go.
We have so many words that we're going, mellowness, what does it mean?
Hang on.
Because usually I would find that to be disarming, not alarming.
Let's not use vocabulary.com. Let's use dictionary.com.
I would use Webster. What's the Webster dictionary?
Hang on.
Okay. We're going to go to the authority of the American Dictionary.
Yeah, but this is the thesaurus. Why is the thesaurus?
I would just search mellowness definition Webster. Hold on a second. We're doing our research.
Come on.
I got it.
To make or become mild or relaxed, especially over time. So, I know what she is.
Huh.
She's a Twilight vampire.
She seems like she's specifically soothing us then.
She's a predator. She is a Twilight vampire. She is specifically attractive to lure us in. She has a mellowness to her aura, so that you have to be uncomfortable with it.
Try and
you really got
sorry
it.
try and soothe you, and so we're basically going. There's a level of deliberate soothing here that's putting us off. Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you. But I was like,
it's a hypnotic mellowness of like I'm just sort of drawing you slowly into a trance.
I'm trying to make you calm and comfortable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? I would not have picked that up without looking it out because I'm not familiar with that term as far as mellowness is concerned, especially in describing an aura as opposed to like some sort of intention.
But it'll be okay because we're not Jacob.
Right? It's all right. Hi. Wow. And we're not Bella. All right. That doesn't put me at ease like he does. And as Elaine peers at me with her open amusement and interest, I can't put it into words, but somehow...
Whoa, there's a period there. There's a mellowness to her aura that doesn't put me at ease like he does. And as Elaine peers at me with open amusement and interest... Period. I can put it into words, but somehow I think I know why.
That's a little wild. Interesting choice for a period. I don't know how to parse that at all.
I don't either.
I heard you encountered the creature. She seems sort of like a playful, joyful, like kitten, basically. But sort of like a kitten with where you are the mouse.
Yes.
Where I am bouncy and feminine and playful and childish, and I can tear your life apart, like out of you.
Uh-huh, and I would just knock you around and slowly kill you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm... Now that I understand that mellowness can be taken in that way by our character, that could be the experience. Yes, I did. Did Omen tell you? I wish we would examine the creature's body, dear God, and find people's reactions to the creature's body, dear God. Please,
it'd be so helpful.
Something, somewhere. I would have loved it. Okay, so great tie-in that I feel like they're missing here is Ezra used to examine bodies. And it was taken away from him when basically more secrecy infused itself into the society, into the agency.
Right.
When they just like pushed him out and went like, no, we don't need your help anymore. We don't want you involved. We don't want you knowing things. But if this body had been under our jurisdiction, we could have taken it to him. Piper could have taken it to him to examine if they'd have ever thought of it. Or when they tell August that we defeated it, August could have, sort of bridged that gap even further as we had that sort of, connection and catharsis between them and taken it to him to examine. And we wouldn't have had to tell anyone. Like, no one would have been the wiser that we actually successfully killed the creature unless it was announced. And then you could have performed an autopsy on it with only your small in-group, basically, instead of sort of the suspicious bigger conspiracy group. And I think that would have made this story a little deeper and more complex. I think that would have added, it would have been a really good payoff to the startup of I used to do this thing and then it was taken away from me.
I wonder, actually, if it comes up in Ezra's route.
It also would have been a really
good
payoff.
And so you don't get to find out about it unless you're in Ezra's route.
Interesting.
Which would be really annoying because, to me, honestly, I feel like that's something that would apply in multiple routes, not just one.
I also find that, it would be a really good payoff also for the sort of tense and awkward friendship experience that they're having based on the falling out that they had before between August and Ezra, it would be a really nice sort of completion of, I do trust you now and we can work together again.
Right.
You know, and more so than just sort of casting a spell together, solidifying that it's not just for this one thing of great need. I actually trust you even with things you used to do, and I'm calling back to different trust we used to have.
Right.
I feel like that would have been really good payoff.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, I did. Did Omen tell you? Elaine shakes her head, then shrugs. I'm sorry, though, Uwu. I take it you saw your kin in that chimera?
Well, now we're calling it a chimera again.
What? So she just knows what it is, I guess?
Omen
Omen didn't tell me. I just knew it was a person walking around in the woods. It's
Why
fine.
the fuck would no? Oh, it's fine.
We never interviewed her. We didn't know she would be the right person to talk to. It's fine. We kept trying to get it out of, the one sister, and we just didn't try her.
Mm-hmm.
This time, it's definitely a chill that runs down my spine. How did you... No? I've heard it crying, and I found its presence strange. I didn't investigate, though. I just knew it was a person, a chimera, and like you, from it crying.
What?
Whoa, demon senses are badass.
I'm like, how do humans survive at all in any way, shape, or form?
Like, wow.
What?
Elaine covers her mouth with a hand, her brow furrowed as she stares at the red cloth beneath her seat.
She looks down.
Mm-hmm. I didn't think it was your target. It was sad, not dangerous. There is, of course, a different monster. This isn't the monster. I will love it if they actually follow up on the plot point where everyone assumes this is the monster and they were wrong.
Yeah, we were like, we're not even discussing this at all. Like,
That would
we're having
be
a weird roundabout conversation.
Amazing if they followed up on the plot point that we assumed that this was the monster. No one questioned it or investigated at all. Our entire organization does zero investigation, and then we would be wrong. Not dangerous. You heard it cry. When? A little while ago now. It was a very sad thing. If it were once human, if it just happened to be. I quickly put a hand to my lips. No one knows that detail yet, aside from those I've told. And Lux is just outside the door. Yeah, but it's also a really huge church and you're way far in it at the pulpit/podium, whatever. It should not be something they could hear at all.
That doesn't mean that your character's not nervous, though. Sometimes people are nervous going, oh no, they can see right through me, person.
They could
I
be able to
literally have
hear.
no fucking idea why.
Right? I'm just like, did you see part of yourself in it? So she knows we're partially inhuman, and then now she knows that it was a human. Elaine blinks at me slowly, calmly. She tilts her head to the left, then to the right, sizing me up. Then she exhales. Is that disappointment or sadness that I sense? Are you looking for Omen? Not particularly, but there's a distinct and uncomfortable feeling that the more I talk to Elaine, the more likely she'll get upset.
Why?
Upset about what? She seems super chill. I mean, she seems like I'm trying to basically immediately soothe you so you're not a threat to me either, and so I would have the upper hand. But, she seems pretty fine.
Why would she,
also
get upset? Also going, are you just being then basically
also
racist?
I'm not here to talk to Omen. Why did we come here? We haven't told ourselves why we've headed to the Aibek.
I don't know! Our character is making decisions that the writers aren't telling us as to why we're making them.
It's fine. Our character did not actually think in their own head the reason that they're heading to the Aibek for. Head empty, just horn.
Yeah, right. Head empty, just
Head
horn.
empty, just kill things.
Monster horn.
Head empty,
Sad.
just only police.
Only police.
That feeling is accompanied by the gut-deep knowledge that the princess is not like the prince. She wears a human glamour as firmly and as easily as Omen does.
Except she wears it better, according to the way that our character has literally pulled Omen's glamour apart.
Mm-hmm. And their eyes have the same kind cast. That's a sentence. I should have read that differently. I thought it was going to keep going. Right, she wears a human glamour as firmly and easily as Omen does. And their eyes have the same kind cast. But she looks at me like a demon looks at a mortal. And I don't know if I want to see the version of me that's reflected in her eyes. Not right now.
What does that fucking mean?
Is that even an option?
What does that mean?
That she sees...
what does a demon look like at a what are you fucking Stop being abstract!
I would assume, based on the other setup and the way we've done so much racial profiling and that we think everything is horrible monsters that's not human.
She looks at me like I'm a wolf.
that basically she's looking at you like you're food, like
And
you're
I'm
prey,
hungry
like you're a
the
victim.
wolf.
And so the only thing that I can extrapolate here
Horny like the wolf.
is that we assume that they're trying to describe that she looks at us like we are a target.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Not with Harry and what he's done. Wait, not with Harry and what he's done, weighing on my soul like a stone-hard burden. You don't want to know how she sees you with Harry on your mind? Okay, now I'm lost. Are we more concerned that she's judging you somehow?
Totally.
Yes. Do you know where he is? We're asking... Wait. Who's he? We haven't...
Omen.
Oh,
Omen.
Omen. Oh my god. Except for we just said no. We just said that we're not looking for him, and now we said yes?
Yes.
Oh my god. Stay here. Elaine hops off, grabs her embroidery hoop, and ducks into one of the side rooms. As the last flash of her tail vanishes, the front of the temple also changes. Clean swept stone floors become dusty and cobwebby again, save the imprint of her boots on the ground.
She literally changed what the area looked like because she wanted to look dramatic.
She's spreading her glamour around to have her preferred environment. Like Faye do. That's hilarious.
That is the ultimate, like, I am lazy as fuck.
I won't clean anything, I'll just make it look
I'll
pretty around
pretend, and then I will get grumpy when I realize there's dust crawling up my butt crack.
Oh my god. I just...
I don't even, because that's what that is. If they're not actually wearing clothes and they're just wearing a glamour, you realize she's just been sitting on a completely dilapidated, basically, altar.
Uh-huh.
And just, like sucking in
And basically,
dust.
her demon booty has been sitting on destroyed fabric and dirt and dust.
Pretty much. Yep, powerful glamour.
I just powerful
Powerful
glamour.
glamour.
Amazing. The altar returns to its dusty state, and there's a butt imprint on it. Honestly, okay, if someone followed through with they're nude, they're just wearing a glamour, and she's actually wearing real clothes, boot prints, not footprints. Her brother makes footprints, and she made boot prints. Hang on. She's wearing real clothes.
Or she's
wearing real shoes. She's wearing nothing but shoes.
It's gross. Ew.
She left her boots on. You know that trope, leave the boots on?
Hang on, leave the boots on.
Leave the boots on. She
Just
left her
leave
boots
them
on. Oh my god. All right,
Anyway.
but I would love it if someone followed through with they're naked but only wearing a glamour with when they sit in places, it makes an indention like a nude bottom, and they leave, toe footprints around and stuff like that, or if they, lean against something that, there's this sort of like smooshing experience, that kind of thing.
Right?
I would be thrilled if someone really followed up with they're nude, but they don't look like they're nude. All right. The red cloth thrown over it just straight up evaporates. An illusion. I didn't even notice. I didn't even sense that there was anything wrong with such a large swath of the room. Before I can dwell too much on how Elaine managed it, however, a familiar figure emerges. Poik! Owen gives me a one-over. Isn't that a once-over?
I think it is supposed to be once over, actually.
Okay, a one-over as he approaches, and the expression on his face is sincerely, almost insultingly sympathetic.
Sincerely, almost insultingly sympathetic.
How dare
He
you
looks
have
like a
pity for
pathetic
me?
baby.
We're offended that he could look down upon us and have sympathy for us. I am more proud than sympathy, my dude. You didn't come to pray? No, I never have, so I didn't. He looks at me again, tail swaying gently. I want to tell him my purpose myself, so he won't have to guess, but the words don't come. What is our purpose?
What are we doing here?
Because I don't know. We don't even know what we're doing here? Oh my god, nobody knows why we're here.
Oh my god.
At this point, I'm just wandering aimlessly, trying to kill time, to avoid the inevitable. The inevitable of seeing Harry again, I guess? Also, I don't know when Harry left. Elaine is gone, but I don't know what I can tell Omen that I haven't already. And I don't know if I can put the questions I really have for him, for anyone, into proper words.
I don't.
My sister told me you were looking for me? Something like that.
He's really like, can you talk? So my sister said this. Are you okay?
Let me help prompt the conversation just a little bit. I will assist you in unsticking your tongue. You can do it. Just that very, very quiet, very friendly. So, this thing... I study Omen for a moment. Compared to Elaine, he's closer, maybe even truly comfortable around me. But I shouldn't forget, he's not one of us. I don't care how human they look. It's important to remember that they're not people. I don't care how human they act. It's important to remember they're not people. It doesn't matter how much it seems like they're feeling pain or have real emotions. They're not people! I must apologize. Omen blinks, then inclines his head like, what? The words come out of nowhere. Even I'm not so sure that it is wise I've let them out, but he doesn't seem surprised. I'm so sorry that I've objectified and dehumanized you. I would be amazed. Whatever you want to apologize for, it's not necessary. I caused disturbance when I came here. That much I can't deny. All to be free from my father. Hero's rant. If I hate my position, why me? I thought then that only I would suffer the consequences, but that it... Not that it would affect others so severely. I was a fool. Powerful things always break something else when they attempt any change. Because powerful things have no skill to just change? You're not responsible for the things Harry did. Are we saying that Harry's good reason for making monsters was that there was all this horrible stuff coming out of the Hell Portal, and it was so hard to combat, but the agency was keeping it under wraps, that he developed a project to create super soldiers? Basically?
Maybe.
In desperation to fight the demon hordes?
I'm actually kind of curious right now. I've been kind of quiet because I'm just sort of like, please tell me something.
Weird.
I don't have much information.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up here with a 30.
Oh,
with a theory, because we're basically out of time, okay?
Oh no, we're out of time.
Alright, so, and to respect everyone else's time who has read the schedule of our stream and has planned their day perhaps around it, and or things like that. But basically what I'm getting here is the idea that we figured out there was a Hellgate in a couple of days, and we took somebody that was in the agency and someone that was connected to the agency, both people that Harry knows well, or at least is aware of quite intimately, and went and corrected the Hellgate, so there's no more monsters, no more, as far as we know. I was just say, if that is in fact the solution, and yet Harry went, we can't fight the monsters coming from somewhere unknown, we can't investigate the from somewhere unknown, and so I'm just going to create, and so hunters have started dying again, so I'm going to start creating monsters. Right. I would like to know how old his project is, and if it's 2 years old, basically when Omen showed up kind of thing. Like, that would be really interesting to me.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like this is a good place to end, and I do have to get ready to go to bed for work, because that's, 0 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, so thank you so much, everyone, for being here.
Yeah,
this has been fabulous and engaging and interesting, and I appreciate you supporting our confusion and our outrage, and also, contributing to our understanding of this thing, as well as like storytelling and headcanoning with us. This has been really cool. I appreciate all of your jokes and you being here, and yeah, if you just drop in like Panic Attack Jack whenever, or like Zarslapan late in the stream, you're totally welcome to be here. And also, just for our own like support and self-promotion, if you have the ability to show up and you want to, even for a few minutes, it boosts our average viewer count. So it's very helpful to us if you want to do that. So that's something that I've actually learned about Twitch, that your average viewers on a stream is actually important and is one of the requirements for actually getting to be an affiliate. So if you ever just see that we're streaming and you're like, oh, they've probably been at it for a while, I shouldn't drop in, please feel free to drop in, even if it's only for a few minutes. One, we'd be happy to see you. See, I say in big quotes. And two, it actually actively supports us, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's a thing you can do to help.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, again, we appreciate you guys spending the time that you do with us here, and it's been fantastic. We have a lot of fun with you. Thank you very much, Zarslapan. Thank you, Artiphile. Thank you very much, Panic Attack Jack. Thank you, Delta Whiskey. Thank you, Nanakigu. Thank you, anybody else, because I've noticed actually once or twice there's been a couple people who've popped in and out, but I do not know who they are, but thank you all anyway.
Yes, and if anyone is here quietly in the chat, thank you to you as well.
It's been great. So I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!